am a numbers guy, ladies and gentlemen. As a numbers guy, I got to say this right now before we get started, okay? I brought in this brown guy. He's Muslim. His name is Mehdi Hasan. And as you know, I will never have Hassan Piker on the stream, on the broadcast, because he will never be able to value tame people. I only have people that are going to value tame people. As a numbers guy, I'm going to chat GPT it. I'm going to grok it, and I'm never going to Claude it. You already know. It turns out this Mehdi Hasan guy, he knows a thing or two about the numbers, because throughout this conversation, I was chat GPTing it. I was grokking it. Okay. I said, Vinny, help me out. It turns out Mehdi Hasan knew what the f he was talking about.
Story. Okay. So tell me your story, your background.
My background is, if the accent didn't give it away, I'm a British American. I'm a dual national, British American citizen, citizen of both great countries, born and raised in the UK. My parents, immigrants from India, moved to the UK in the 60s.
What part of India?
South India, Hyderabad.
Okay.
Best biryani in the world.
Best beer?
Biryani.
Biryani.
Yeah.
That's the best beer.
I'm not going to be the guy who gives you beer recommendations.
Best beer. Okay, got it.
So
I went to Mumbai 8 years ago, and I spoke at IIT Institute.
Oh yes, big,
incredible experience.
Incredible place.
Yeah.
But Hyderabad has better food. So I have to say that as a Hyderabadi. So my parents moved in the 60s and 70s to the UK. I was born in 79. I think we're similar in age. And I moved to the US 12 years ago, come February. So it's been over a decade I've been here. Became a citizen in 2020, been a journalist all my life.
What do you prefer? UK or, and I know, listen,
oh, this
Mom's
is a
watching,
controversial question.
Just asking,
Mother,
I don't want to upset Mom, so
friends,
you don't have to answer
family,
it if you don't want to.
They both have their brilliance. I go back to the UK all the time. I'm heading out there next week. I get to go for work and pleasure. And
wow, flex on me, Maddie. At least one Hassan is allowed into the UK. Oh, look at me. Oh, I can go back to the UK willy-nilly. Oh, look at me. This is why I'm the better Hassan. I'm allowed on the Patrick Bet David broadcast, and I'm allowed inside of the boundaries of the United Kingdom. Oh, I can go anywhere. Hassan simply cannot. Look at me.
Going back to the UK, but the US, I gotta say, the US has given me opportunities and open doors that even the UK I don't think could have done.
Really?
And I think...
Wait. Okay, 447,000 views came for the comments, and they do not disappoint. This is what happens when your training ground is Vinny and Adam. Adam and Vinny watching from the back like, thank God that's not me today. This was brutal to watch. Patrick, what's your point? I bet you Patrick won't listen to the market on this debate. Adam lending Patrick his body bag. Patrick got owned. Adam is going to sleep like a baby tonight. This was almost as bad as Dave Rubin shellacking on Jubilee. You know what's really funny? I genuinely don't understand why these guys like think they can go toe-to-toe with Mehdi Hasan. It just doesn't make any sense. He is literally the maximum debate lord. He is the ultimate debate lord. I have never seen him on the back foot on any debate, even including people that I agree with and favor the ideological position of as opposed to Mehdi Hasan, right? There are some out there. He's just an incredible debater. I mean, he wrote an entire book about debating. He'll lose if he talks about China. No. I've actually had some private conversations with him about China too, like because we've tried to figure out like where our disagreements are. But he's just a fantastic debater.
I think you hear that from a lot of black and brown folks from the UK, because I'm someone who's criticized racism, obviously, in the UK and in the US. But what's interesting is you talk to people in the media space, entertainment space. You look at someone like Idris Elba. You look at someone like my good friend, my old school friend, Riz Ahmed, Oscar-winning, Emmy-winning actor. They've all talked about how when they came to the US, they got more opportunities than they got in the UK.
Why do you think that is? Is it just capitalism? Is it just business? Is it incentives?
I think there's also, I mean, the country is a bigger country. I think we can sometimes forget when we live here how this is a continent of a country.
Yep.
So just geographically, space-wise, there's more places to just do things. The UK is very heavily concentrated around London. Right, the entire country, to the great consternation of people in Manchester, Birmingham, the entire economy is centered around one city. Politics is centered around Westminster in London. And I think there's also, in England, we don't have the legacy of, plantation slavery and the black struggle for civil rights in the US, but we do have a different kind of legacy of empire and that form of, history to overcome. I don't know what the right word I'm looking for, like staid, stodgy. It's just a kind of an old way of doing things. You hit a different kind of glass ceiling in the UK. I'm not giving a pass to all kinds of racism and bigotry there still is in the US that we're still fighting with. But there is something about being a person of color and just having a little bit more ambition in the US is going to get me in huge trouble.
Look at the two of
people.
us.
I'm
You take forever to explain, bro. I know, I do.
Next week, if this airs before the next.
Both of us are brown and winning in America, which is a good thing.
Yes, from different parts of the political
That's right.
divide, I think
That's
fair to
right.
say.
By the way, in high school, if I was in high school with you, you're 15, 16, who's Mehdi Hasan? What were you doing?
I was the same person I am now. I was a debater.
Okay, let's get to the good stuff.
I was an arguer. I was the guy with the big mouth. I was the guy getting thrown into the hallway. I was the guy going to detention.
I know they talk about me. I know. He hits the clip copy for Mehdi, and there's one that he doesn't know the context of the landlords let the streets roam red in capitalist blood, and he gets flubbed apparently on that one.
Answered back. I talked a lot.
Teachers, students, professors, didn't matter.
I found report cards recently that my children and I sat and went through. It was really embarrassing. My daughter sat with me. We went through the report cards. Every single one is, he doesn't stop talking. He answers back. He thinks he knows everything. He won't stop asking questions.
Is that a family thing or is that a youth thing?
It's a family thing, for sure.
Got it.
Yeah, I wrote about it in the book. My father passed away last year.
Sorry.
Thank you. He was a very disputatious individual. Loved to debate, loved to argue, super provocative. Even in the Muslim community, the story I tell. Remember in the late 80s, you'll remember this because you're of Iranian heritage, Ayatollah Khomeini gives the fatwa against Salman Rushdie for satanic verses.
Yes.
Muslims in the UK are furious, especially in the UK, more than
By the way, he helped them sell millions of copies by doing
Indeed. So listen to this. So in Bradford, big Muslim city in the UK, they even burned copies of the satanic verses. Got huge issue we could talk about another time. But anyways, huge issue in the UK. My dad goes out and buys a copy of the satanic verses, reads
as a Muslim,
and puts it on our dining room bookshelf right next to the table. So every time our friends, family come over for dinner, it's there. And people are saying to my dad, what the hell are you doing here? Why do you have satanic verses on your bookshelf? And my dad said, have you read it? And I said, no. They said, well, how do you know what to object to about it? And I think that attitude of his, which was quite provocative at the time, and even till his death, he was known as a provocative individual. I think I borrowed a lot of that. The ability to be able to ask questions, be offensive if need be provocative if need be. Don't give a shit what people think. If you need to ask the right questions, you need to say what you want to say. That very much comes from my father, from my household growing up. My sister is also a journalist. We very similar in that sense. Was
he a journalist or no?
No, he wasn't, but he was very political. He was a very traditional, he was a civil engineer. My mother's a doctor. They're very classic Asian, Desi, Indian couple. But he was very political from the moment he moved to the UK. He loved British politics. Till he passed away, he was asking me questions about Trump. What's he doing? Is he going to survive? Like in 2024, all he asked me was like, why are they running Biden? Why are they running Biden?
At what age?
This was at 80. He passed away last year at 87. So this would have been at 86.
Good for him.
So he was super.
Was he sharp to the very end?
No, unfortunately. He wasn't sharp at the end. But even when he wasn't sharp at the end, he was still very political. Just want to talk about politics whenever I call him.
Never had a desire to run and do anything? Just opinion?
No, just loved it. There's a certain generation of Indian immigrant men who have a lot of opinions.
Well, the opinion part, I agree.
Like but he also read broadly, read widely. He could quote Shakespeare.
Who influenced him? What influences politics?
His uncle growing up. My dad grew up as an orphan. His father died when he was 2. He was raised by his uncle mainly, who was a kind of polymath. And I think he absorbed a lot of that. So my father was someone who could quote Shakespeare, but he could also quote Allama Iqbal, the famous Urdu poet. Like he could switch between different cultures, different intellectual references. So it put a lot of pressure on me and my sister.
But was he a devout liberal himself? Like, would you consider him would he today be a progressive himself or no?
I think he very much would see himself as a liberal.
Okay.
My parents are very different. I think my mother is more conservative, more practicing. My father was more intellectually engaged with the religion.
Like a literal conservative? Like conservative?
So economist, if you're into that level, being a journalist, it's just, I didn't know what else to do. I did to run for office. I know Zoran well. I've met him a few times. He actually spoke at our anniversary party recently, and I had to speak after him. And I'm kind of arrogant. I think of myself as a good speaker. I got nervous that day. I have to speak after Zoran Mamdani.
Wow.
What the hell? What am I doing here speaking
Did
after
you feel the
Mamdani?
energy that he had?
He was Muhammad Ali. I'm looking straight there at Ali there.
Yep.
He is the Muhammad Ali of politics right now.
He is so good. Son of a bitch. He is so goddamn good. And Mehdi is also very good as an orator as well.
Just the energy in the room, people going crazy, his every move, hanging off his every word. He's got that. If he was American born, he would be one of the top runners and riders for 2028 easily.
Super capable.
But here's the difference between me and Zoran Mamdani. There are many differences. The big one is he has this charming, electric smile. He is he's the guy who kisses babies at events. He wins people over. I have what's called RAMF. I have resting angry Muslim face. So when I'm talking to people, when I'm listening, I look mad, right? People have told me this over the years. Producers have told me in my ear, you look angry, smile. Not in a misogynistic way, like say to women, you should smile. But people tell me, smile.
Yeah.
So for me, running for office, I look angry all the time.
Yeah.
You can't win like that. You need to smiling. If you're brown, you need to be smiling.
Or people, family that are taking pictures. Patrick, can you smile, please? I'm smiling. You're not smiling. So it's not, maybe it's a Middle Eastern thing. I don't know.
But I think for brown and black people, sorry to come back to racism again, I do think there's that extra pressure to show you're not an angry black man, angry brown man. Yeah. Obama was always seen as beloved because he was like, oh, you could imagine your daughter marrying him when he comes in the room. There was always that kind of sensibility around Barack Obama.
So you think that's the part with Mamdani? He's got a little bit of that Obama-esque thing going for himself.
For sure. I mean, he won over your guy.
Yeah. You talking about Cuomo or are you talking about Sliwa?
I'm talking about Donald Trump.
Oh,
he won him over. He went to the White. You saw him in the White.
Tell me you don't love the fact that you're saying my guy. That my guy said. Just tell him how you feel. Tell me you don't respect that.
That was an amazing move.
Tell me you don't respect that.
I respect Mamdani for pulling it off.
But do you respect that Trump's like? Just tell him you don't like me.
I don't respect it. I don't understand it.
You can't say that.
I swear to God, I don't.
Dude, you know you respect the fact that.
I've studied Donald Trump.
Oh, okay. Point one for Patrick Bet David. See, this is Patrick in his element, right? The debate hasn't started yet, but he already won in this conversation because he's doing the muscle guy technique. Okay? He's kind of like, come on, you like it. Classic move, definitely. He's going in hard.
Unfortunately, through no choice of my own, for 12 years. I moved here months before he came down that golden escalator.
You respected that.
I do not respect Donald Trump. But I watched that clip, and I'm someone who, you could ask me about Trump, I could talk about Trump all day long. Yeah. I know everything about Trump. That moment
he's doing what we like to call big dogging. Exactly. He's big dogging. He's like, come on, big dog. Come on.
He looks at Mamdani the way I've never seen him look at anyone. I've never seen him look at Melania the way he looks at Zoran Mamdani. Right? In love. Just in awe. He goes on Sid Rosenberg's radio show. Yeah. You see that? Yeah. Sid Rosenberg, he's a jihadist. Mr. President, he hates you. Nah, he's a good guy. He's at the State of the Union.
Doesn't get you to say you
I don't understand
Trump.
Why. But can you tell me why?
Yeah, I think he respects talent. But honestly,
like game recognizes game.
No, look, you're here. I like your talent. And I watch and I see what you do. Yeah. Listen, we may not agree on 50%
he's not like that with most other people.
But no, he is. He respects talent, and he's got it.
Fawning over people? Trump doesn't fawn over people.
To bring the guy over. He's done it with a few different people.
Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, Zoran Mamdani. Those are my
What does that say about your Mamdani, though? You got to be careful with that.
That's why I don't understand.
You just put him in a bad place.
That's why I don't understand.
So be careful what you're doing.
That's why I don't understand. I genuinely
Mehdi Hasan compares Mamdani to Putin and Kim Jong-un. Don't do that. Why
out of context. This is why no one likes right-wing media. Out of context.
Just say you like the fact that they got along with.
I do like the fact they got along.
I do as well.
Because Zoran Mamdani went, in his second time he went to New York. He's so smart. He knows how, Trump is very easily won over. Mm-hmm. He takes a front page of a newspaper, right? He takes a fake newspaper front page. Yep. Why has people not thought of this before? With Trump saving New York, gives it to Trump. And then he goes, can you free this Palestinian student who ICE just picked up? By that afternoon, Trump has freed that student. Right? That is a mayor who knows how to get results and win over Trump without giving up his own self-respect, without fawning over him like I think Wes Moore was in one clip where they used it against him, where he was very, very friendly.
Will you give any credit for the fact that by the afternoon, the most powerful man in the world gave him what he asked for?
No.
You won't.
I'll tell you why. Can I tell you why?
When is your birthday? Where's the July 10th, 79? You are this stubborn?
Wow, you've done your homework. I'll tell you why I don't respect it. Because I'm glad Zoran Mamdani did it, but what does it say about our leader, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, the self-proclaimed leader of the free world, that it's so easy to play this guy? World leaders have been doing it for years. This is the problem with him. It's so easy to manipulate him. He's so easy to be won over. And I'm glad when my guy's doing it for a good cause, but people do it for bad causes too. I'm sure we're going to talk about Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu did it to get him into a war of Iran. That's my problem. When Trump first went to Saudi Arabia after he got elected in 2017, there was a story about how when he drove from the airport to the embassy or hotel, wherever he was staying, the Saudis, this is in 2017, remember his first trip as president was to Saudi Arabia. The Saudis put up on billboards his tweets. Can you imagine that? How smart that is? That Trump is driving along and he's seeing his own quotes. Like, these people know how to play him. They know how to suck up to him. Kim Jong-un.
His good quotes or his bad quotes?
No, good. They're praising him, right?
All right.
Every foreign leader knows how you can suck up to Donald Trump. You praise him, and now in the second term, you give him money. You can now bribe the president of the United States.
So do you think there's an element, you've never been in sales before, but you're a businessman now, right?
Yeah, I'm selling. I have to unfortunately
You're now sales.
do that stuff. Yeah.
And that's
subscribe to
Dude. Okay, Patrick Bet David waiting in a territory where he's most comfortable. He's a numbers guy. He's a businessman. Okay, I see what he's doing. He's like a panther. Okay, setting a trap. Mehdi doesn't know what he's arriving into. He's in the Vietnamese jungles, and he's about to step into one of those like bamboo traps, and he doesn't even know it yet. This is Patrick's environment.
Join to Capitalist, which I'm so happy.
All the cameras. ZETEO.com.
By the way, respectfully, you leave mainstream. You're at MSNBC. I think you're the number one guy for them with the eyeballs you guys are getting. I don't know
for young people online, for sure.
Yeah, for young people online, you're number one. So, and then I don't know what the story is, what happened there.
Stop wishing this was you. Okay, I am a little jealous. I'm a little jealous. Oh, God, I wish I could bro out with Patrick Bet David so bad. I want to bro out with him. If he said, I'm a numbers guy at any point, if I had an opportunity to go on a show and he told me to my face that he's a numbers guy, I would lose my mind. I don't think you guys understand. You would never see me again. I would die on the spot. I'd be like, oh my God, you said it.
A lot of different stories. They were giving you another job. You chose to leave. You do independent. And then independently, you have what, $3.5 million in reoccurring revenue 12 months later.
Yeah.
12 months later. That's amazing to be able to do that. And then today being a business guy, so it's great to have.
And I've never run anything in my life, so I was very worried.
So maybe that PPE degree you got in economics, that capitalist was inside of you, and we brought it out. So that's great.
Okay.
Welcome to the Club of Capitalists. It's great to have you with us.
I'm a socialist/capitalist. There you go.
A multi-millionaire socialist, which is great.
Nothing wrong with that? Bernie's a millionaire.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But let's go to the part about you brought up Trump and Bibi. So Axios brings out the story. At this point, you've seen it. So, Rob, if you want to go down so I can read the whole thing, you're effing crazy. Trump fumes at Netanyahu in call on Lebanon. Go a little bit lower, Rob, so I can read the whole thing. So President Trump last out of Israel over Israel escalation in Lebanon and an expletive Latin call on Monday. 2 U.S. officials and a third source briefed on the call told Axios why it matters. Early on Monday, Iran threatened to abandon negotiations with the U.S. over Israel, saying actions in Lebanon. On the call, Trump called Netanyahu crazy and accused him of ingratitude, according to 2 of the sources. He also put the brakes on Israel's plan to strike Beirut. Behind the scenes, 1 U.S. official told Bibi that following through on his threat to bomb Lebanese capital would further isolate Israel from around the world. 2 of the sources said Trump claimed he'd help keep Netanyahu at a jail. He said, if it wasn't for me, you'd be in jail right there. You're effing crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you. Everybody hates Israel because of this. Do you think this call happened?
The call definitely happened, but both sides are spinning it in their own ways, and they're spinning it with the classic people. So just background on this. This is an Axios piece. The author of this piece is Barak Ravid, who is an award-winning journalist, won a coverage, co-authored by Mark Caputo, former colleague of mine at NBC News. But Barak Ravid is famous, or should I say now infamous in media circles, for being the guy who the White House always goes to leak stuff about conversations with Israel.
Is this the guy that leaked it, that Bibi got up, that Biden got upset at?
Yes, same.
This is the same
So
guy.
he did both.
Okay,
He's bipartisan. Whether you're Joe Biden.
He's a fair guy.
Well, it's not about being fair. It's the point is that whoever's in the White House, they know that this is the guy who does the stories about split between Israel and America. So we've had about 2 dozen of these stories over the last 3 years.
Is this a guy you trust?
Unfortunately, no. Now it's not that I don't trust him. I'm not saying he's making stuff up, but I'm saying he's clearly become a useful vessel for information from the White House that they want to get out. They know if you're Joe Biden or you're Donald Trump, you know that if you want to get out that you're pissed at Netanyahu, Barak Ravid is the guy you go to. Now, on the other side, you have Amit Segal, who is one of Israel's most famous journalists, very close to Benjamin Netanyahu. Channel 12, I think, is his network. This guy is now reporting today, the day we're talking, that actually the Israeli side is saying, no, Trump never swore at Netanyahu, never mentioned jail or prison, and they disagreed about how to handle Hezbollah in Lebanon. So the question then becomes, for those of us who were not in the room, who do you believe? Serial liar Donald Trump or serial liar Benjamin Netanyahu? Journalists who act as vessels for leaders on both sides. It's very hard. This is why people have a real issue with mainstream media right now. Because what do you do in a situation like this where both sides are spinning furiously? And I can believe either version. I can believe that Trump told him you're fucking crazy. We wouldn't put that past Donald Trump. I can also believe that they lied to make Trump sound stronger than he is. And Netanyahu's telling the truth. I don't know.
Okay, so how do they typically get the credibility? Because anybody can say this was said. So can you go back to the article when it says 2 sources were there? What is the... You're in this world.
Yes.
Is there a system or a standard to be able to... Because this is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal too. I mean, look, all the traditional rules of political journalism went out the window when Donald Trump came along, right? So, my colleague Swin Subsang reports on the White House for Zateo. He has very good contacts. And, he tells me some of the crazy stories he gets from behind the scenes in terms of people trying to screw each other over, right? In the Trump administration, there's a very unique dynamic. And, he's referred to it as a Reservoir Dogs dynamic. It's been referred to where everyone's got a gun to each other's head at the same time, right? So they're all trying to screw each other over. So that's another issue is, are 2 of the sources people who are allied with each other? Are they from different wings of the White House? Pat, with this Iran war, there are different elements in this administration. Some people want the war done, finished. Some people want it to keep going. So there's different pressures on
This
Trump.
is not 100%, 80% story. This is...
So there's different people leaking for different agendas to try and end a war or escalate a war.
Give me how this makes Trump look good. How does it make it look bad? Who's winning with the story? Who's not?
So
optics, purely optics.
Trump, you know the MAGA base better than me. Many of them are your viewers. Many people in the MAGA base, not as many as people suggest. My good friend Cenk Uygur, I know you had on the show, he thinks there's a big split in MAGA. I'm less of that view. I look at the polls, 80% of MAGA still loves Trump, 70% love this war. But there is...
Why are they Googling? This show is so funny, dog. They're just Googling Amit Segal and then Cenk Uygur.
A growing minority who don't like what's going on with the foreign wars, with the betrayal of anti-war promises. And a lot of them see Donald Trump as being, I can't come up with a better phrase than Netanyahu's bitch. And this would help Donald Trump say, look, I'm telling Benjamin Netanyahu, fuck you, you're fucking crazy, I saved you from prison. I'm the dominant partner in this relationship. And by the way, this is not just a Trump issue. Every American president who's dealt with Netanyahu has come out getting screwed over. Joe Biden got completely screwed over. He gave his entire presidency to save Netanyahu. Look at him today, destroyed. Bill Clinton in the 90s came out of a conversation with Netanyahu. You know what he said to his team? He said, who's the fucking superpower here? He was so pissed that he got talked down to by Benjamin Netanyahu. So American presidents have been dealing with Bibi for many years, and they've always tried to assert their dominance, and many of them have failed to do so. So I think for Donald Trump, it's good if people believe it. The problem is, those of us who know the Axios reporting on this, we're very, very skeptical.
So let me ask you this. If you're Trump's advisor, which you're not, but let's just say if you were Trump's advisor, and Trump hears you, and he says, screw this guy. That call did happen. That's exactly what I told him. What does he need to do publicly for even a guy like you to say, shit, this happened?
That's a great question, because Donald Trump's word means nothing to me. I've been documenting his lies for many years. No one's told more lies than Donald Trump in the public sphere. So actions matter more than words. Same issue with Biden. His people would leak, Biden's very upset with Netanyahu. Okay, but what the fuck are you doing about it? Right? Many of us frustrated with the genocide would say. Same question now. What are you going to do about it? Donald Trump has given Netanyahu everything he wanted, right? Even if this conversation is true, he's saying, I saved you from prison, in the sense that he demanded the Israeli president.
Did he? Don't you think he did, though?
In many ways he did, because every time this war continues, Netanyahu avoids trial, right? Every time there's an escalation in the war, he doesn't have to go back to court.
That's right.
And Trump has publicly called on Herzog, the president, to pardon him, which he hasn't done yet, but I'm sure he's feeling the pressure from Trump publicly calling him out. So he has helped Netanyahu. But worse than that, you look at what's happening in Gaza. He's given Netanyahu everything he wanted. And this really bothers me, because in 2024, I spend a lot of time pointing out to people on my side, leftists, Muslims, Arab Americans, people in Dearborn, Michigan, who welcome Trump. And I said to them, you're going to get screwed over by this guy. No. He's more anti-war than Kamala and Joe. This is what I was told by Arab Americans who voted for Trump. He will be the anti-war president. Stephen Miller said he won't send our boys to die. Trump said, remember what he said? He goes, Liz Cheney will go to war with Kamala and kill Muslims. I won't. Sorry, they all believe that shit. Then he bombed, 6 countries last year, 7 countries last year. Now he's in a war with Iran. In Gaza, he had this ceasefire at the beginning that people were very happy about. But since then, he's allowed Netanyahu to do whatever he wants. And earlier this week, Netanyahu went on camera and he said, we now control 60% of Gaza, and I'm going to take 70% of Gaza. Even Biden, Harris, Blinken, none of them said that would be possible. Trump has basically given Netanyahu carte blanche to do whatever he wants in the Gaza Strip. So when your answer to your question is, what does he have to do to prove he's holding?
A guy like you.
He has to hold.
It's impossible to win a guy like you.
I will give credit. I'll say it now. On
if
camera.
What?
If he manages to get Netanyahu out of Lebanon and out of Gaza, which he won't. But that's what I would want to see. because that's what's happened on his watch. On his watch, Netanyahu's taken more territory in both those places.
Right.
Prove to me that you actually care about Middle East peace. Prove to me that you have control over Netanyahu and American weapons, and get him to pull out. Because right now, Greater Israel is happening in front of our eyes. Netanyahu's doing the project that far-right Israelis have always wanted. He's taking Lebanon, southern Lebanon.
Saying Egypt,
he's taking
Turkey,
Gaza.
all this stuff.
Who knows what's coming
next?
next?
What you're thinking?
Well, if you embolden the guy, what is the lesson of the last 3 years? There's impunity. You can do whatever the F you want, and America will never stop you.
Okay, do me a favor. Differentiate between what Bibi's vision is and what Israel's vision is.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so for instance, you could have there's a difference between what America's vision is.
Yes.
Be the greatest country in the world versus what AOC's vision would be if she became president versus Trump, right? So what do you think?
Which is the worst country in the world, obviously. AOC, if she's president, she wants America to be number 200. AOC would be inventing countries to make sure America lasts. Trump, number 1. AOC, maybe like number 60 at first.
Bibi's vision versus Israel's vision.
That's a great question. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad tidings. We do this thing in the US, especially on the liberal side, where we say, look, we're against a Netanyahu government. We're not against Israel or the Israeli people. The problem is the Israeli people have made it very clear over the last 3 years that they're totally behind all these wars. There's been no real anti-war movement. In Israel, there's no real...
There's a little bit. It's not a big number.
It's tiny. It's tiny. You look at the polling, 80% of Israelis support
20% is what I was going to say.
Every military operation blindly. You look at the polling, some of it's horrific.
Yeah, Benji says, nope. He said it's not the Israeli ruling class, it's the Israeli people that are at fault.
Like 80% of Israelis support removing Palestinians from Israel. From Gaza, and another small majority support ethnically cleansing them from Israel itself, Palestinian citizens of Israel. Israeli society...
What percentage was this one?
So I think it's 80% say they're fine with getting them out of Gaza, like forcibly.
Right.
And there's another majority or big plurality of Israelis Israeli Jews who say even Palestinians in Israel should ultimately emigrate.
West Bank and some of that.
No, Israel proper, within the Green Line.
Got it. Okay.
1/5 of the population of Israel is Palestinian citizens of Israel. So the polling is horrific. There was a poll done last year by Penn State, I think it was, where almost half of Israelis said that when we capture a town in Gaza, we should treat it like the Bible and Jericho. We should kill all the inhabitants, all the men. Like this kind of crazy. So, okay, all these polls, you take them with a pinch of salt. I get it. But anyone you speak to in Israel who's a serious commentator on Israeli politics will tell you that over the last 5-10 years, Israeli society has moved to the right, to the far right, in a way that American society has not. Donald Trump is polling in the 30s right now. Even at his peak, he got 49.8% of the vote in the last election. He's never had a majority.
True.
In Israel, the right-wing parties, the far-right parties are dominant right now. Maybe in the 90s, early 90s, there was a peace camp. There was Oslo, all this stuff. That's gone now. You can argue about why it's gone.
He's not wrong when he says about American society has not shifted to the far right in the same way that Israel has. He's right about that. As a matter of fact, you can even point to the polarization of the Democrats and how much more open-minded Democrats are to more radical, more left politics than they ever have been before.
How is that possible? How is it that in Israel, the guy is being that aggressive and his support is getting higher?
I don't think his personal support is going. We'll see what happens in these elections. Because you
just said 80%. I mean,
the war, right? This is what I'm saying. This is why I'm saying don't focus on Netanyahu. It's a very good cop-out. Even Bernie Sanders, who I'm a big fan of, he often says, Netanyahu. A lot of Palestinians say, Bernie, it's not Netanyahu, it's Israel. It's the Israeli political establishment. So if you swap out, I'll give you one example. If you swap out Netanyahu tomorrow with Naftali Bennett, who's an opposition leader, former prime minister, I interviewed him once. Naftali Bennett is also on the right, also likes war, has threatened Turkey, has threatened Lebanon. You've got another opposition leader, Avigdor Lieberman, former defense minister. You know what he said this week? He said, flatten the suburbs of Beirut. We should be going in and don't listen to Trump. So the opposition in Israel are equally hawkish, right-wing. So this idea that it's all about Netanyahu, it's a myth, I'm sorry to say.
Okay, so you're saying the two are the same, is what you're saying.
On issues of war and peace, yes. I'm sure in some domestic politics, tax rates, I'm sure there's
smaller stuff. Is going to be
domestically within Israel, I'm sure they are. When it comes down to the region, Israel's role in the region.
Tell me what the vision is. What do you think their vision?
I think Israeli domestic politics is even funnier when you learn about like what the major distinguishing factors are, especially because even on the domestic agenda, they only go further right. So because the entire culture, the entire society is anchored around the ethnic displacement of Palestinians that are treated as like an ever-present threat all the time. And it's like supposed to be this security threat, this security state. It inevitably creates unbelievably reactionary politics on the domestic front as well. So like, yeah, you have the Ashkenazis, the older Ashkenazis that are like a little bit more woke, I guess, as woke as you can be, which is not woke at all, obviously, when it comes to genocide. But most of the distinguishing factors in Israeli politics on the domestic side, if you're going to, think about Palestine as a non-issue because everyone agrees with it, it goes unbelievably far right. Like, should women be able to read? Far right. Like, should women be allowed to learn how to read? Now, of course, Israelis that are like liberal Zionists or whatever will refuse to acknowledge why that's the case. They'll talk about how, it's because Benjamin Netanyahu is a far right figure and he created this coalition and gave a lot of legitimacy to the worst elements like the settlers. We don't like them, all this shit. But the only reason why these guys are allowed in polite society and have a growing movement and a voice is, well, one, because of demographics. They're the only ones who are and having 8 kids. The more fundy you are, the more fundamentalist you are, the more likely you are to have children. That's why the next generation of Israelis are far more radicalized than the older Israelis. Yeah, the liberal Ashkenazis they don't have children. And it's only the ultra-Orthodox population that's just repopulating. That's part of the reason why Israel hasn't actually run into the same developed nation issue of demographics. And because of their lack of interest in addressing the whole society being anchored around far-right militarism against and ethnic cleansing and justifying ethnic cleansing against the Palestinians, of course, the guys that are more radical are also going to be radical on other shit too.
What do you think Israel's vision is?
There's a best case scenario and there's a worst case scenario.
Okay.
The best case scenario is that they have this idea of we must be in a state of permanent war footing, right? I think there's a phrase for it, I forget the name, combat between the conflicts. Mm-hmm. There's a military doctrine that says even when we're not at war, we carry on doing preemptive strikes, we carry on doing cyber warfare, we carry on doing assassinations, so that Israel remains the regional hegemon. We keep our superiority, our military edge. We let everyone know in the region who's boss, even when we're not in a formal state of war. That's the best case scenario, that this is just a security doctrine that says we will bomb and invade whoever we like just to remain top dog in the region. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is it's ideological, that these are fanatical, messianic people who believe that all of the territory is theirs, given to them by the Bible. I interviewed Naftali Bennett in 2017, nearly a decade ago, for Al Jazeera. He was the education minister at the time. I never forget this interview. I said to him, we were talking about peace treaties and two-state solution, and he said, the Bible says it's ours. I'd never heard someone say it that bluntly to my face. I can't imagine Ilhan Omar going on TV and saying, the Quran says this, right? This guy's openly saying, the Bible says the land is ours. Where do you go with that? There's no debate after that, right? That's just a kind of religious, ethnic nationalist, messianic vision. So Benjamin Netanyahu, even though he's not a religious man, has signed off on a greater Israel. He was asked about whether he believes in it. He said, absolutely. The opposition leader, Yair Lapid, who's a kind of centrist, supposedly a liberal, he was asked after the Mike Huckabee, Tucker Carlson interview. Mm-hmm. He said, do you agree with Mike Huckabee that all of the territories from the Bible, it's all yours? He said, yeah, our borders are biblical. This is what the opposition leader said. Forget the right-wingers Smotrich and Ben-Gvir.
What do you think is the likelihood their vision becomes a reality?
Right now, more likely than not, because the United States of America has allowed Israel to get away with a genocide.
How long? I mean, long-term,
long-term, no. Long-term, it's perpetual war for perpetual peace.
And by the way, deep down inside, do you really think Trump wants his war to continue?
No. Trump doesn't like long wars.
No.
He likes short wars. That's why he's been humiliated by Iran, because he thought this would be over in a few days.
By the way, nobody thought Iran was going to be able to, not nobody. A lot of people on his camp, when they sat there and talked about it, it is a very fair argument to say that. No, let me make my point on what I'm saying. It is a very fair argument to say that unlike Venezuela, which we...
This is such bullshit. Of course, everybody knew this would happen. There's a reason why no previous administration has ever done it. Literally, everyone knew that this would happen. I am not a numbers guy, as you guys know. And even I knew. Why did I know? Because the generals, specifically Dan Kane, came out and leaked to the media that this was a spectacular failure if implemented. And he only did that after he couldn't convince Donald Trump. So literally everyone knew that this was going to happen. His analysts knew that this is what would happen, down to expending their standoff munitions that they have developed for their peer and near peer adversaries that they've stockpiled for Russia and China. As a matter of fact, the only aspect that they didn't know, they knew that they would, close off the Strait of Hormuz. That was always an imminent threat. Collapsing the global energy markets. That was always an imminent threat. The only thing that actually surprised even the American analysts was how effective the Mosaic defense structure would be at pummeling American targets. They didn't know how much intel Iran already had. That was one of the major, that was one of the new things that we found out after this, right? We always knew that they had the capacity to close the Strait of Hormuz with relative ease. We always knew that they had a capability to withstand tremendous American attacks because of the missile production facilities that they have underground. The stockpiles are underground. But no one, I don't think, knew exactly how accurate their strikes would be, the Iranian strikes would be. But everyone understood that this would be a very difficult task. We didn't know two things. One, how effective they would be at destroying American targets. And two, how effective they would be at propaganda with Lego videos. Nobody knew how good the Lego videos would hit.
We went in, we got Maduro, and we're out. Most likely, Cuba is going to be the same way as Venezuela, probably even easier when they go through and get it.
Sure.
Iran showed up strength to the world.
Yeah.
And you got to give them credit, no matter what anybody says, conservative or on the left.
You can give them credit militarily, obviously not politically, but Trump, I don't think we can defend him with nobody knew this. But he did this line recently. Nobody knew they were going to hit the Gulf states. We all knew they were going to hit the Gulf states. They've been saying this for years.
Iran was going to hit the Gulf states.
Iran was going to hit the Gulf states.
Do you think
that's been their doctrine for years.
Do you think that unified the Gulf states even more?
No. I think we've wrecked our long-term relationship with the Gulf states.
Tell me why.
I think in private, all of these Gulf states will, in public, they'll say what they've got to say, but in private, they know the U.S. security umbrella does not extend to them anymore. They know that even if they give Donald Trump a $400 million plane, even if they put $500 million in his crypto business, Israel will always take precedence over them.
Do you think the Gulf states prefer Iran to be led by IRGC, or the story we saw recently with Pezeshkian, who's a moderate, stepping down because he's like everything's being run by. Who do you think the Gulf states would rather have?
I think the Gulf states are not a monolith, first of all, Patrick, because the UAE is very different to Qatar and Kuwait, right?
But they're neighbors.
They're neighbors, but they have different foreign policy.
I understand.
The UAE is an outlier. The UAE is very hawkish, very pro-Israel, very pro-America, very anti-Iran. Which is kind of crazy because, if the US and Israel move on with their lives, the UAE is exposed to Iran for the rest of their lives.
Isn't UAE succeeding the most out of most of the Gulf states?
Are they?
Financially?
Are they? So many businesses have cleared out. Tourism has fallen. It's a huge industry based on tourism.
For the time.
You think people are going to go back? I think my thing is...
I think so.
I think that their image has been...
Brother, what are you saying? Bro, this is a brief glance into Patrick Bet-David's mind. He just knows Instagram. He's a numbers guy. He knows Instagram. All of his buddies are going to Dubai constantly. So he's like, UAE's doing really good. That's incredible. Why are none of your buddies that are normally in Dubai currently in Dubai? That's so funny. He's like, I don't get it. They're popping on Instagram.
Permanently destroyed. I don't think you could put it back in the bottle. They had this image, especially to kind of white Westerners, as this business, tourist, even residential utopia. You go there, there's no crime, you chill out, everything's cheaper, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's gone now. Once Iran has done this, I think they've destroyed that image. Now, if you're Amazon or you're whatever it is, Chase Bank, you're going to go back into Dubai, Abu Dhabi, knowing that Iran can then do this again at any time they want. As long as Iran is still run by the same government, I don't think these Gulf states get that image back. And I think the Qataris understand that, even the Saudis understand that. They want a region, I think privately, and I may be wrong, and the few people in the Gulf I speak to say this to me, they recognize that Israel is the real problem in the region. They may not say so publicly. Some of them are signed up to the Abraham Accords like Bahrain, etc., UAE, but I think they understand that Israel is the destabilizing force in the region. It's Israel that bombed 6 countries in the Middle East last year. It wasn't Iran that did that. It's Israel that went to war now and brought the United States into this conflict and led to Iran bombing Kuwait and Qatar and Saudi Arabia and the UAE. And I think that is the situation we're in. I think you're going to see these Gulf states, if they're smart, making overtures to the Chinese and to the Russians in future years. They have to kind of diversify who they rely on.
You know.
Say it, Mehdi. Mossadegh, Turkey. Messed up that he won't say it. See? He won't say it. He's afraid of the Turk.
Maybe it's me being a Syrian. Maybe it's me being Armenian. Maybe the fact that I lived in Iran could be the reason for this. But nobody, sells Israel as this incredibly powerful organization and brains than those who hate Israel. All they talk about is how powerful Israel is. I don't think there's anybody that's the Don King promoting how smart, intellectual, brilliant Israel is than those.
That's cap. Israel is the king of lying about their capabilities. Are you kidding me? I know the argument he's trying to present here was just like, oh, Israel's small being nation. Israel's enemies actually end up up and making Israel look good. That's bullshit. Israel literally constantly lies. Israel lied to Donald Trump. Israel lied to Donald Trump about how easy of a campaign this would be and how much intelligence they had. Remember, oh my God. Remember when they killed Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and every mainstream news reporter was like, this was a brilliant act of espionage. And it was like, dude, you killed an 88-year-old guy in his house. What do you mean this was a brilliant act of statecraft and espionage? And he was in his house alongside his family. You did not identify where he was. He wasn't in a unique position. He was in his house.
Who cannot stand Israel?
Well, I'm not one of those.
But if
let me just go through the list. I'm not somebody who said Iran would roll over. I said Iran would make Iraq look like a walk in the park.
I'm talking about
right. I warned that Iran and America would not be able to destroy Iran in the way they thought they could destroy Iran. It was insane. It was hubris to think they could do that. I've been saying that for 15 years. I've been saying it since Iraq, 2003, when I was a 23-year-old marching against that war. When Bush was thinking about Iran, I was saying.
Are you afraid of Israel?
Am I afraid of?
Are you afraid of Israel?
What do you mean?
Are you afraid of Israel's aspirations?
Oh, yeah. But aspirations are different, right? Can they pull it off? I agreed with you that just because they have this messianic vision doesn't mean they're going to win.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree with that.
To me, it's like, okay.
No, they didn't win in Gaza.
Bro,
Patrick, I said in 2023, this whole plan, when people were like yourself and others were saying Israel has a right to self-defense, destroy Hamas, I said, you can't. There is no military solution to your problem.
Yeah, so you know what it is for me? Don't talk to Mehdi, because Mehdi's going to do this. No, I want to talk to Mehdi. No, I'm telling you, be careful. No, I want to talk to Mehdi. Oh, don't talk to Bibi because I want to talk to him. I wish you had an hour and a half to talk. No, don't talk to Nick. No, don't talk to this guy. I want to talk to him. I don't sit there and see that, my God, everything, they're so powerful. They're going to control America. They do this, they do that.
What the does this have to do with people warning you not to talk to Mehdi Hasan? Also, now I'm wondering, who's been telling him don't talk to Hassan Piker?
I mean, you're kind of giving them too much credit.
I mean, you're mixing different things together, though. One thing is militarily, can they win on battlefields? No, not always. Hezbollah defeated them in 2000, famously. That was the first time they were defeated by an Arab force on a battlefield when they withdrew from southern Lebanon. They're back now. We were told Hezbollah was done. Do you remember a couple years ago? Oh, the pages and the assassination of Nasrallah. They're done. It was a paper tiger. They just killed 30 Israeli soldiers in the last few weeks, right? They've injured hundreds more. Who knows what the real numbers are? So clearly they're not done for. Hamas is still around. And the Iranians still have, 70% of their missile stock, according to US intelligence. So the idea that these were all paper tigers was bullshit. That's a different argument. I'm not a military expert. I'm not going to sit here and adjudicate, who has the strength in the field. Politically, though, in this country, does Israel still have power? Sure. They still have politicians who support them. They still have lobby groups that advocate on their behalf.
China. So does Qatar.
No, not on the level of Israel. Come on.
Okay, let me...
Oh, come on. You are a literal slave to AIPAC if you make this idiotic argument. Dude, it is so funny. Like, there is no comparison. There is no comparison to the level of influence that any foreign ally or adversary has inside of the United States of America to Israel. Nothing. Nothing comes close, dude. The Qatar meta is so funny.
Let me ask you a question. If you had $5 billion to win over influence in people in America politically and inject your way of thinking, would you put that money to buy over congressmen and senators, or would you put that money into winning over kids? Where would you put your money?
Both.
No.
Either or.
Okay, then diversify. Seriously, use it as a mutual fund. You got $5 billion. How much you put in one, how much you put in the other one? Honestly.
I don't know. I
want you to think about it.
50-50. I think they're both important.
You talk
about, when you say young people, you mean like TikTok?
Universities. I'm talking about universities, TikTok, social, give money to universities, give money to places to get the kids' influence.
I mean, I'm sure Mehdi has already picked up on what PBD's trying to do here. He's going to say the amount of money that Qatar spends on university is far larger than Israel. That's what he's going to say. That he thinks he's setting up a trap, which is, again, insane because opaque funding structure that exists for pro-Israel institutions and pro-Israel groups in the United States of America go far beyond the influence of just like directly funding university initiatives. Every Hillel on campus is objectively and openly pro-Israel. It's just true. That's not a part of the funding mechanism. You know what I mean? There are ideologically Zionist college professors that are, defending Israel unconditionally. There are Jewish advocacy organizations that almost entirely involve themselves with pro-Israel advocacy. There is no comparison that you can make between Israel and Qatar. And of course, this is just on the influence peddling side of things. You can also look at the impact of this lobby, right? The impact of the pervasive influence peddling operation. Yeah, there's alumni funding too. Obviously, it's just, there's no comparison. When people hyper-focus on AIPAC, they actually don't tell the entire story at all. That's not even the tip of the iceberg, honestly. There is, once again, no comparison between Qatar and Israel, and that's precisely the reason why there's no other country that we have a level of allegiance with like we do with Israel. Yeah, in terms of influence peddling, Israel is in a league of its own. After Israel, you have Saudi Arabia, and then further down UAE, Qatar, and then probably China, but none of them are near Israel. Not even close. None of them can engage in advocacy in the country without fairer restrictions, except for Israel. Try to play it off, oh, well, I'm an American Muslim, and that's why I believe it's appropriate to get my notes from Saudi Arabia when I do advocacy for Saudi Arabia. If you think you can pull that shit off, let me tell you, you are getting slapped with a FARA violation so fast, your head's going to spin. Imagine I'm American-born Chinese. So I went and I met with the Communist Party of China, and they told me like what to tell the American government and how to lobby the American government. It's over. You're going to jail. It's not happening. Whereas there's one group of people that can do this. Americans, not just Jews, Christians as well, can go and fund an Israel lobby that goes to Israel and literally talks to the Israeli government and is in constant coordination with the Israeli government. And that lobby is not seen as a foreign lobby, even though the foreign name is in the name of the lobby, AIPAC.
Where would you put the money in?
But let me take your example, take it a step further. Okay, let's say I put it all in students. I win over young people. That's already happened. Have you seen the polling? The young people hate Israel.
I know.
But does it translate into policy? No, because the Congress still controls the...
Oh, yeah. Israel's economy is fake. I forgot. That's the other side of the story. Israel's economy is entirely fake and also entirely propped up by American billionaires that just basically dump boatloads of money into Israel. There are a couple industries in Israel that are actually viable, that are, growing. Obviously, pharmaceuticals is one of them. But outside of that, they have nothing. They have no natural resources, and their economy has been fine, all things considered, in spite of the genocide. And there's a reason for that. That's because it is literally like a parasitic tick on the side of the American economy. And the American economy, oh yes, the Russians too. Before I forget, you're absolutely right. Russians use Israel as a launching pad into the European markets and the international markets, but also it's literally like a skin tag that just sucks all the whatever it can from the American economy. Russians use Israel to evade sanctions. Americans have an incredible amount of loyalty to the nation state of Israel, and they will literally just dump boatloads of money. And now it's got a growing defense sector as well, obviously.
That's true. So I'll give you one example. 8% of Democrats support Israel's war in Gaza. 8%, according to a poll last year. In Congress, it's the other way around. It's like 80% of Democrats support Israel, only 8 or 10% are voting against weapons or genocide. I'm ballpark figures here. So what's the disconnect? The disconnect is we have a Congress that doesn't represent the public on either side of the divide. I don't think the Republican Party fully represents its base, but more so, Democratic Party certainly doesn't represent its base on Israel, the leadership. You look at these primaries, we're sitting on a day where there's going to be a bunch of primaries. So my big point here is, yes, it's great that young people have been won over. It's great that everyone under the age of 50 in the United States of America, whether Republican or Democrat, does not want more weapons going to Israel. That's the latest polling. Under the age of 50, everyone.
That makes sense to me.
Right? But Congress does. So the disconnect, this is why we have such a crisis of democracy. This is why Israel matters so much in our political system. It's not just a foreign policy issue. It's an issue of our democracy where we have members of Congress and a president who does not follow American will, does not follow the will of the voters. And so to answer your question, yeah, you do need to spend money lobbying Congress because ultimately they're the ones voting on weapons. They're the ones voting on aid. They're the ones voting.
And there's more domestic considerations as well. Not only is it like obviously rerouting money that could be going to the United States of America to like endless warfare that we're fighting now, literally at the behest of Israel, billions of dollars of funds burning in real time every single day. But also on top of that, because of the unbelievable amounts of unprecedented influences a foreign country has on American domestic policy, it actually turns into a real fundamental problem in American society, like in regular society. Censorship, First Amendment violations. Like whenever someone tries to tell me, why do you care about Israel so much? It's like, well, there's only one foreign country on the planet that has been able to destroy the American First Amendment, and we'd never even talk about it. We don't even talk about it. Most people don't even know that this exists. In 38 states, the Israeli lobby has directly written and has advanced bills that make it illegal for American citizens to demand boycotts, to demand divestments, and to demand sanctions from the state of Israel. That is a clear-cut definitional violation of the First Amendment. And it's ironic because many of these states are hog states. Texas is one of them. I'll give you an example. In the state of Texas, if you want to be a teacher at a public school, you have to sign a loyalty pledge to the state of Israel that says that you will never boycott, that you will never demand boycotts, divestments, or sanctions from the state of Israel. Isn't that fucking crazy? Every time I bring this up, people go, nah, you're lying. Google it. Google it in many of the red states. Google it. That is a direct violation of our First Amendment. And we don't have that for America. We don't have that for Russia. We don't have that for Estonia. We only have that for Israel. So how can you sit here and tell me that Israel doesn't get special privileges, that Israel's lobby is not a malignant force in American politics that absolutely interferes with regular frequency on American domestic affairs? It's ridiculous. No other country comes close. That's it. Dude, if I want to cut the grass at the intersection ditch in Tennessee, I have to sign an anti-BDS pledge. Yeah. You have to sign a loyalty oath, not to the United States of America, but to the state of Israel to work for the municipality. And you can always get fired at will in these states too, because there's no labor protections. There are also numerous, at the local level, there are numerous initiatives against protesting Israel, right? They're obviously hidden under hate crime statutes where they claim to be combating anti-Semitism, like the bill that Scott Wiener unironically wrote, championed, and advanced in the state of California. Nothing comes close to this level of direct involvement. Israel, on top of that, also subverts the democratic process. This is precisely the reason why they hate AIPAC Tracker, they hate DropSite, and they call them out by name. Because AIPAC doesn't ever run ads about how much a candidate loves Israel. AIPAC knows how toxic of a brand Israel is, or how little people give a shit about Israel in American elections, right? Or at least for the past couple of years, they knew that nobody really gave a shit about Israel before October 7. So they run ads for candidates that are pro-Israel, and they run ads against candidates that are even like a little bit critical of the nation state of Israel, and the ads never feature Israel at all. No other advocacy organization does this.
To censor our speech, saying anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, all of that stuff is coming out of Congress, and people say, oh, Qatar and this. I just gave you an example. The Qataris gave him a $400 million plane. The Emiratis gave him $500 million for his crypto fund. The Saudis have sponsored multiple multi-million-dollar golf tournaments at his properties, hotels. Did it come in useful? When it came down to it, he picked Israel. He picked Miriam Adelson. He picked Benjamin Netanyahu. Yeah. He picked AIPAC. He picked Marco Rubio.
I don't know about that.
He picked all these people. What do you mean? We've seen it with our eyes.
I don't know about that. Listen, let me ask you this. Do you think, and by the way, you didn't answer my question. So I want to stay on the money part, and then I'm going to go to the next question.
I did answer. I said, I could spend it all on the kids. It doesn't matter.
No, but so
because ultimately Congress is still more important.
So you would put all the money in Congress and Senate?
No, both. I said split.
You would do 50-50?
50-50. Win over the people, and then win over the people who represent the people.
So where does Qatar put their money? They put $6.5 billion in universities. Where does China put their money? $5.5 billion in universities. What type of influence do you think they got long term? You think long term, like you think China thinks short term? You think Qatar thinks short term? You think they're trying to buy influence long term when they get in front of the kids?
You think, do you have evidence? It's a serious question.
The dollar?
No, I mean, no, I'm talking about, do you have evidence that, well, first of all, what Chinese investment has gone into university?
Do you want to pull it up, Rob? I mean, this, you know.
I know that the Qataris are sponsored. I've been to Georgetown, Qatar. They spent a lot of money on US universities. But it's great. I'm asking about what's China's sponsored university?
Oh, China's given donations.
He's talking about the Confucius Institutes, but he's failing to make the point because he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm fairly certain he's talking about Confucius institutes that used to exist in America. I think they made it illegal now or something. I'm pretty sure. I remember there being some controversy about it. But once again, it doesn't matter because what level of influence does China have on American foreign or domestic policy? There is no comparison. Israel also has the highest number of companies in the American stock market. Far larger number, I believe, than even countries that are far larger than Israel, like India.
The Chinese government sponsors American universities. I did not know this.
Let me pull up.
I'm happy to show my ignorance.
By the way, I don't know where the money is coming from, but I'll show you here. China has invested an estimated 5.6, I was short by $1 billion.
Okay.
6.4 billion American universities over the recent decade, making it one of the largest foreign. So why are they doing
No, hold on. You didn't read the third sentence.
Which is what
these funds you think research partnerships with the Chinese is making kids on campus pro-China?
No, no. It's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
Mehdi, you're very smart. So you went to Oxford. You got the PPE degree. It's like not the PPP loan. You got the legit PPE degree, right? Do you not think if these schools are getting this types of money, which phone call you think they're picking up?
Oh, you think we know, Patrick, because we just saw what happened the last 3 years. Did Colombia go pro-Israel or pro-Qatar?
But what did Colombia do?
They went pro-Israel. They silenced all the pro-Palestinian.
But what did they do? But what did they do?
They rolled over for Donald Trump and they rolled over for the Israel lobby.
Dog, most of these universities don't have literal campuses in foreign countries like China as they do in Tel Aviv. That's one. Most of these universities' alumni, even if they are Chinese, are not actually making administrative decisions at the behest of a foreign nation like our American alumni are at the behest of Israel. That's a huge part of this problem. Some of this stuff is not going to show up for a numbers guy to find out after ChatGPTing it, okay? After grokking it, ChatGPTing it, grokking it.
Was the event that happened that got him to get there?
I don't know which event.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. I don't know where you're going.
You follow the stories. You tell me, who was it? It was 3 universities, right? Columbia was one of them.
And there was a bunch of universities that cracked down on pro-Palestine centers.
Why did they do that?
Multiple reasons. Pressure from politicians who are pro-Israel.
You think maybe
pressure from donors who are pro-Israel. Pressure from activist groups. This whole ridiculous debate where we conflate criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. I remember when I launched...
I'm not with that. Just so you know, like in Florida when they're saying you can't debate and criticize Israel, I'm not part of that camp.
Not just that. DeSantis is one of the many governors and Republicans
I'm not part of that
who have said that if you're an American business that engages in BDS, you can't get contracts with the state. That's insane. That American business can't do what it wants to do.
But by the way, what I'm trying to tell you is I think the reasonable people are not with that. Short term, some of these things may come and go.
The media created campus anti-Semitism crisis an Israeli propaganda campaign completely divorced from reality. Universities' own internal reviews find campus anti-Semitism to be on par with campus Islamophobia, yet one is covered 63 times more than the other between October 2023 and April 2024. We call it the P word. Chicago professor suspended after assignment mentions Palestinian school. The Art Institute Chicago professor put under investigation after student complaint about a case study. Professor in the U.S. was just suspended for mentioning Palestinians just days after Hassan Piker was barred from the U.K. for condemning a genocide. Your rights are being stripped away in service of Israel's impunity.
Long term, they're not. I had Randy, what's his last name? Randy Fine. I had him on and I asked him the question about where he's at. I think you may have even tweeted something about it when we talked about it. I asked him a couple questions, pointed whether he was pro-America, America first, or Israel first. If you're in America, hey, I have a problem with you not being America first, but I want to go back.
Oh, yeah. Randy Fine was being honest with you when he said America first, right? Come on, man.
Back to this. If they give $6 billion, You think they're dumb that they're just giving $6 billion to universities? You don't think they want things in return?
No,
you don't think
everyone. I think you made that point earlier. There are many lobbies trying to get their way. I'm not disputing that there are many lobbies. In fact, I'm the one who says, let's not treat the Israel lobby as a unique lobby. People are like, oh my God, AIPAC. I always say AIPAC, NRA,
great, all of them.
Big Pharma, all of these people.
All of them.
I want to get money out of politics. I'm on the left.
As well.
I'm a Bernie, Elizabeth Warren.
I want to get money out of politics.
Let's get rid of Citizens United. Yeah, Citizens United, West Supreme Court decision.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but let me come back to your direct point about influence. I'm not disputing that they're spending money, they're lobbying, everyone's doing it. I'm saying Israel's winning, and the evidence is what's happened.
See, I'm saying Israel's losing.
I've not only do I have a kid in college, I have multiple Muslim friends, leftist friends with kids in colleges.
Kids are now Jewish.
I have kids who've been arrested.
Yeah.
I have kids who've been doxxed. I know kids who have been suspended. I know kids who have been expelled because of their criticism of Israel. I watched a video of Rumeysa Öztürk, a young Turkish student at Tufts, be picked up by 8 ICE agents and detained because she wrote an op-ed in her student paper saying we should divest from Israel. And Marco Rubio had her detained for a year, right? So don't tell me that Qatar is winning this argument. Qatar is not winning the argument on campus.
So
that's just a complete, last 3 years is a complete denial.
I get your argument, but I would dispute it in the following way. Everybody is...
You are delusional, man. Okay, Mehdi's being way nicer than I would be at this point, by the way. I mean, I've already brought up a bunch of talking points here but like, come on, dude, come on. This is one of those things that like, even the dumbest guy you know would be like, I don't think that's the case. The dumbest guy you know heard his favorite content creator, Patrick Bet-David, present this argument and went, I don't think that's the case at all, and I don't trust you anymore.
Trying to win influence. Everybody.
Agreed.
And they're spending money. So
Agreed.
No matter what it is,
We
everybody. But the question is, whose money is working and who's not? The part where I go that's not working is, do you think Israel's popularity in America has increased or decreased in the last 5 years?
No, because that's a different argument. That's because people saw a genocide live stream to their phones.
Also, does it even matter? We literally don't have a real democracy. This is the point that I've been trying to drive home every time I do one of these media hits in the UK or in the United States of America, where I keep reiterating this point over and over again. I'm like, right now there's a crisis in democracy because the enmity towards Israel is so overwhelming by the masses that these countries in the Western world are basically having to make very difficult decisions on whether or not they even maintain the appearance of a democratic process or if they just cast it aside completely and go full tilt authoritarian fascism. Because eventually people are going to keep demanding, keep protesting. Protests are going to increase in their intensity, because you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And at that point, people are going to start realizing, okay, what the is democracy at all? What good does that do for me? You know, I've been out in the streets, I voted, nothing works. And eventually, they are no longer just going to oppose Israel. They're going to oppose their local governments, their domestic, their state governments. They're going to oppose the concept of democracy in and of itself. This is a real violation of the social contract. And I don't think those in power understand what they are teaching people.
Right, and you can't buy your way out of it.
It's more than that's one of it.
That's one of the big issues.
It's one of the bigger issues, but it's more than that. So whatever they did, like even when Charlie Kirk, the letters came out when he was having a conversation with Bibi, and I don't know if it was the 7 things he wrote, the 6 things. Do you remember that when he wrote a letter? I don't know if you remember that or not.
I wasn't a big Charlie Kirk reader. You'll be shocked to hear.
Yeah, well, you would have liked him. It was a special guy.
No, he didn't like me. He wanted me deported. He called for me to be deported from this country because he's such a free speech champion he was.
What was his reason for it?
Because I said something about COVID that he didn't like.
What did you say about COVID?
Something about the whole school.
What difference does it make, Patrick? Are you going to agree with Charlie Kirk and be like, you know what? He was right. You should be deported. Like what? Again, are you a defender of the First Amendment or not? If you are, then you recognize that Charlie Kirk was wrong to say that. God damn.
Position on, lockdowns, vaccines, whatever it was. He didn't like it, but instead of debating me on it, he said, who's this guy? He should be deported from the country.
Can you tell me specific what it was, Rob?
Rob can pull it up. There's a lot of...
Now, if you said something crazy shit on Twitter and he responds back to you...
Hold on, even if I said something crazy,
he can say crazy too.
First Amendment doesn't cover crazy?
His First Amendment, he can also say that.
But you think we should threaten people with deportation?
I don't know. You said some crazy shit. What did you say?
No, I didn't say anything crazy. I'm just saying, let's say I did say something crazy.
No, but even
if I didn't say anything crazy.
But let's just say he said that. That's his freedom to be crazy.
Of course, it's his freedom.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like the guy. You're like, I would have agreed with
that's
him.
a different
That's how we got onto Kirk. I'm like, why would I agree with the guy who hated Islam?
No, you don't have to.
He hated Islam, and he wanted me deported.
That's a different story.
That's a different story.
But by the way,
Rob is fast.
Rob is fast.
We need you, Rob.
Charlie.
This is speed.
Charlie was a phenomenal guy. But let me go back to it.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
Yeah, that's totally fine. So, but where was I going with this? We were talking about influence, and then we went to universities. What topic were we on until I brought up Charlie? Rob, do you know where I was
You were
going?
saying talking to Netanyahu and the stuff.
Oh, yeah, when he talked to Netanyahu with the 7 points, and he said to him, he said, you're losing the kids. Whatever you're doing, the propaganda, you're losing the kids. So it's not working. So if you say the influence of AIPAC or whatever they're spending their money to win over Congress and all these other guys, guess what happened? I think they gave money to John Cornyn. AIPAC did. He lost. He's been there for 40 plus years. Paxton won.
Yeah.
So what happened with that guy winning? He was a guy that was not even supposed to win. He had issues. Letters came out with his wife, all this other stuff. It wasn't a pretty thing. So I don't know if their influence. Don't get me wrong. When you talk about Mary, you know, she's put up some real money there. I mean,
Trump's been very open about.
She's put up some real money there.
And can I say, I don't think we're disagreeing that much. I think we're not actually disagreeing. I agree with you. I'm the first to say I'm very happy to see young people switching on this. I never thought a day would come in my lifetime where polls showed that the American public supports Palestine more than Israel, which we're now seeing from Pew and Gallup. That's an amazing change in public opinion for people like me. But what I'm trying to say to you is all of that is valueless, worthless. Why the AIPAC calculation might make sense to AIPAC is, well, who cares what public opinion say? If we can, it is short term, but if we can control, but they don't think long term.
No.
Maybe the Chinese do. The Israelis think short term.
No,
the Israelis
I'm not talking Israeli.
Okay.
I'm talking about those who wanted to make sure, like whatever their belief is, whatever your belief is, folks that are not pro-Israel, right? Yes. And hey.
Yeah, they've not won hearts and minds. We agree on that.
Oh, no. I think, I go to schools and I talk to kids. First thing I ask is, who do you watch? Used to be Charlie Kirk. Who is it now? Really? What's your position with Israel? Oh, boom. I mean, it's like zero to anger towards Israel. So guess what that means? Whatever the propaganda was, correct or not, it worked for those that are anti-Israel.
But guess what?
I need to say something here. I think this is a moment where the less you know, the better you perform. I think Patrick Bet-David is a more difficult person to debate for Mehdi Hasan than like the average, you know, like Shannon Kestenbaum or Rabbi Shmuley or whoever because he is throwing some of the dumbest arguments that I have ever heard. This is basic level shit that you have to describe to him. Like you have to describe to him, you know, shapes and colors before you can even come to terms on what the debate even actually is about. Because he keeps advancing this point where it's like, well, Israel is so powerful. Why does everybody hate it? And it's like, I don't know, dog. Maybe because they did a genocide and they were unbelievably arrogant and annoying throughout the entire process and have actively demanded people get fired and have gotten people fired and have also subverted democracy, the democratic process. They've gotten congresspersons to lose their goddamn positions of power for even daring to criticize the state of Israel. Perhaps all of that combined pisses off a lot of Americans, even the dumbest Americans are like, yeah, this shit sucks. It is actually because of Israel's profound influence that is the reason why it has profound enmity. This is a really stupid argument. And I don't know if he's like weaponizing his stupidity here or if he just like genuinely doesn't think this is he genuinely is like, what do you mean? But everybody hates Israel. Like, how could you say this is a powerful lobby?
They've made a lot of progress.
Guess what's scary?
What's
when
that?
The pro-Israel side hear you say that, when they see the numbers of people watching Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes, God help us, when they hear that, they don't go, shit, we need to work harder to win hearts and minds. What they say is, we need to crack down on democracy and free speech because that's the only way we stay in power. That is why Peter Beinart, my good friend who used to be a hardcore Zionist, now a liberal.
That works anymore.
Peter makes the point that you're going to see a lot of Zionist groups in this country allying with the right.
Damn, he said liberal Zionists. He didn't say anti-Zionists. He said liberal Zionists. He's right, by the way, I think, to a certain degree, Mehdi.
Right. Traditionally, American Jewish groups have been pro-Democrat, liberal.
Yeah.
But now they're allying with Trump and MAGA because they see a way of suppressing speech and joining with authoritarian forces because they can't win the argument fair and square.
I think that's a mistake.
It is a mistake.
But
that's what they're doing. Jonathan,
I understand that. But what I'm saying to you is it's very important to win over the kids. Very important to win over kids. And
Agreed.
when I see China, Qatar putting that kind of money in schools, you know, their long-term thinking is let's win these kids over and then let's see what happens. So I don't think Israel is winning when it comes down to winning over.
Did you see the Jerusalem Post conference in New York this week?
No.
They hosted a conference that ties in with the Israel Day crazy parade. They had Ronald Lauder, the Estee Lauder guy, the billionaire, giving a speech. His son-in-law is the Federal Reserve guy, Kevin Warshie. I don't remember his name.
Is he Jewish? He's Jewish?
Ronald Lauder is a very leading figure in the American Jewish community, big supporter of Israel. He gave a speech at Jerusalem Post conference, and in that speech,
There you go.
he said that Mossad and Shin Bet, the Israeli intelligence, domestic and foreign intelligence, should be working hard to get American kids to support Israel, influence operations. Openly called for it in a speech. There's a clip doing that. It's insane, right? So when you're talking about, this is what I'm saying to you, it's not that they don't know what's happening, but their solutions are so batshit crazy.
Go back to that story.
And so authoritarian.
Israel is losing the information war.
So they get it. They agree with you and me.
Yeah.
But their solutions are scary as shit. They're authoritarian.
It's not going to work today, though.
I hope it doesn't work.
You know why it's not going to work? You know why it's not going to work today? Why is it not going to work? Are you with MSNBC today?
No.
Okay, where are you at?
I'm independent.
What can you talk about?
Anything I want.
Anything you want.
Yeah.
As long as you don't say something crazy that you get a strike on YouTube, you're good to go.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Look at TikTok. When Mitt Romney had Antony Blinken on stage, do you remember that famous conversation a couple of years back? And he said, everyone's like, oh, they're going after TikTok because of China, because of China, because of China. And Mitt Romney just sits with Blinken and says, every time I go on TikTok, you see 6 times, 7 times as many pro-Palestinian posts as pro-Israel posts. We got to do something about that. Blinken's nodding. I'm like, Mitt, you're not supposed to say that out loud. You're supposed to say that in a smoke-filled room. He said it on stage, right?
He's wearing them down at least. Here's what's interesting about that story too. You guys notice how that never got any coverage whatsoever? Like the Israel angle that was pretty apparent, like pretty out in the open, got a lot of coverage here, got a lot of coverage in Zateo, Dropsite, and independent media, and yet never really saw that take shape in mainstream outlets at all. Wonder what that was about. Interesting. They're about to talk about you? Hell yeah.
He made it clear that the TikTok, taken over TikTok by the Ellisons and co. was always about Israel more than it was about China. And that does worry me because you could say, oh, well, I wonder today if, God forbid, the genocide restarted today at the level it did in October 2023 after the horrific massacre on October 7th, what would we see on our social media screens today? I think you'd see much less than you saw in October, November, December of 2023.
So if you, okay, fair on what could happen there. But to me, I think the independent content creators, Israel wasn't used to these guys 20 years ago. And this is a very different game.
Yeah.
Who's he talking about?
So they were not accustomed to these guys coming on and not meeting anybody and just sit in front of the computer, play video games and talk. And nowadays you have streamers. Streamers are influencing kids. Gamers are influencing kids. How long this is going to last, I don't know.
But look what the UK government just did.
Who are you talking about?
Cenk Hasan.
Cenk and Hasan.
Yeah.
So again, that's the short-term crackdown. We can't win the
What was
argument.
the reasoning, by the way? What did they say?
Anti-Israel.
But what was a specific
They didn't
thing?
give a specific as far as I'm aware.
Well, I mean, UK, you know your country.
I didn't
How
see,
many
I haven't
times?
seen the details because
Rob, do you
have
know
I know that they didn't say, look, banned for criticizing Israel, they say. I don't know what the UK government has said. But
they're saying this. You don't know if that's the position.
I don't know. I don't know the exact. But my point being, this is exactly what we just talked about, which is, again, we can't debate with Hassan Piker, the streamer, so we just prevent him from coming to speak.
You can do it here, though. This is specifically in UK.
But my point is, but they're doing but they do it in reverse, right? So with the UK, you pressure the UK
I don't know
government.
about Cenk, but you want to pull up some of the stuff Hassan said? You want to give him feedback on what he said? Like,
I give him feedback. I know Hassan very well.
Have you heard about some of this stuff?
He knows that he said some
capitalist blood on the,
He said some outrageous stuff.
He said,
he knows
is he the guy that's
a lot of stuff is quoted
happen again or something?
No, what he said. Okay, come on, hold on. What
Can
he
you
said,
just pull up the crazy shit he
No,
said?
hold on. I'm not going to
I know
extend
you're
this
going to do.
Yo, get his ass! Get his ass, Patrick! Get his ass! Yo, cook him! Cook his ass! He's a fraud! Pull the clips up!
Defend him, but I want to know what's.
I'm not going to defend him, actually.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to defend him from falsehoods. I've spoken to Hassan very bluntly and said, you've given your opponents.
9/11.
Yes. What is the context of that?
Tell me.
The context, he was talking about American foreign policy and, the quote-unquote famous line about, chickens coming home to roost. It was a very provocative statement. He's apologized for that, by the way.
He's on the back foot! He's on the back foot, Patrick! Hit him! Hit him more!
To be clear.
Sure.
But even Robert Kagan, you know who Robert Kagan is? The big neocon.
Yeah.
He came out recently and said, you know what? 9/11 was a result of our bad foreign policy. He just said it in a more diplomatic, Atlantic magazine-friendly way.
So you're supporting him saying that, Hasan Piker saying that.
No, he shouldn't have said it like that, because America deserved 9/11, makes it sound that those people died was worth it. No.
Right.
But did America bring 9/11 on itself? 100%. Our U.S. foreign policy created Osama bin Laden, created Al-Qaeda, created all of these wars in the Middle East, created that jihad in Afghanistan.
He's doing too good of a job defending me. Get his ass, Patrick.
110%. That was a blowback from U.S. foreign policy. Every serious scholar who's looked at that admits that now. We're coming up to 25th anniversary of 9/11. Even Robert Kagan is saying.
When do you think, Rob, can you pull up how many arrests happen in UK versus other countries on social media? I don't know if you've seen this. It's worth watching.
Okay, Patrick is flailing a little bit. Patrick, stay on message. Stay on message. Cook his fraudulent ass, Patrick.
It's a little bit out of context.
But you know, when you talk about Piker, Sam Piker, what he said, to me, you can say anything you want to say. The only thing I have a problem with is when it comes down to a threat to someone's life.
Yes.
Give your opinion. Hey, I disagree with this guy's this guy's a that. But when it gets down to that, and then
he's never threatened anyone's life.
When he said capitalist blood, let them die. Can you pull up that clip?
Yeah, get his ass. Get his ass. Mehdi was not ready for this one. I don't think he had ever seen this one.
Clip.
I don't know that clip. I need to see the full
Hasan
context.
sat right here. I'm 47. You're 46. I think we're a year apart. You're 79, right? 7K. So we're the same age. So when you sit down with a young guy like that, and we've made some major mistakes in our career.
You. I talk to Hasan all the time. Don't give your opponent sticks with.
Here's the one. Watch this.
The guy is a non-violent guy. He doesn't support war or killing. He just says provocative things.
Do you have it, Rob, with audio or no?
My understanding is that the property owners who have properties there choose just not to rent it at all.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
Yeah, that's a dumb.
Oh, wow. Where's the rest of it? Damn it. Get his ass, Patrick. Get his ass. Cook him. Cook him. Let's see how Mehdi defends this one.
Good looking.
Masterful pearl clutch, Mr. PBD. I almost believed you cared. Yeah.
Dumb thing to say.
Talented guy, good speaker. Why would you say something like that?
He did. He literally did text me while that was happening. He's not even lying. He straight up texted me. He was like, what the f? The ultras who called you an opportunist were 100% right. You're flip-flopping on yourself. I just ChatGPT it. I'm a numbers guy. ChatGPT told me this Hasanabi guy, very dangerous. Argument done. Why are you hating on Mehdi? He stood up for you. Man, I'm joking, dude. What are you? God damn it. How can I make it more clear that I'm joking, chatter? I'm literally defending Patrick Bet-David shitting on me. What the f? End joke. Back in the day, the way to do end joke was by saying in a video game, which is ironic because that clip cuts before I say in a video game. But regardless, that's a LARP. It's LARP. And there's a reason for why. That is the classic unearthed example from 2018 where I'm talking to someone who I used to be friends with, no longer friends with him, and he's a massive stalker of mine, as a matter of fact. Bro, defending you, it's so hard because they always bring up some obscure clip of you in 2018 saying like based Pol Pot, more like gold pot. Yeah, guys, you don't have to take this shit seriously. It's like when people will be like, excuse me, right here he says in 2017, oh, now people care about dead Syrian children. And it's like, you do understand that they are deliberately robbing everything of its context on purpose. Like this is not an active policy that I'm implementing or initiating. I'm literally talking to a landlord at that point. It's LARPing. No, Mehdi was like, I've never seen that clip of you. You sound so angry. That's what he said.
After this and say, you screwed me over on the Patrick Bet-David, because I'm not going to defend that. I don't know what the context for that is. But look, even you said, let's park Hasan Piker. Cenk Uygur said a lot of things that are very provocative too. Sure. Not like that, but about Israel.
Yeah.
The point is, to come back to my wider point, which is there's still a way for them to shut down the conversations, to censor speech critical of Israel,
Cenk
to
is
stop
pretty loud. Cenk is everywhere today.
But now he can't speak in the UK, is my point.
Well, that's the argument for UK's dumb policy.
Well, it's not just the UK. You don't think the US?
Bro, pull up the numbers.
Way. Come on.
Pull up the numbers. Yeah, he's a numbers guy. Get him, Patrick. Get his ass. Ah! Stop. Pull up the numbers. Oh my God. I just realized he literally leans into ChatGPT anytime someone standing in front of him starts opposing him a little too good. Anytime an interlocutor actually starts cooking him even a little bit, he's like, I'm a numbers guy. Stop it. We got to ChatGPT it. We got to grok it. That's how he centers the conversation back.
Let's compare. The U.S. is much worse.
Dude, well, look at this here. The number of arrests for hateful messages. Social.
Marco Rubio locked up students in this country for their speech, for speaking. For a young woman in a hijab from Turkey wrote an article in a student paper. She said we should divest from Israel.
I don't know the whole story. So
pull it up, whatever you want.
I don't know the whole story.
A judge threw it out. He said it was a chilling free speech in this country. He had her released from prison. Multiple cases. I'm going to give you one.
Was she a U.S. citizen?
No, she was a Turkish student.
She was a Turkish student here.
Legal student. Studying at Tufts.
Student here and criticized American policy.
No, she said, she didn't even criticize the American government. She said, my university, Tufts, hey Tufts, we should divest from Israel. Marco Rubio locked her up.
Right here?
This is one right here.
F1.
The judge threw the case out. He said it was a complete assault on free speech. In fact, a Reagan judge, Patrick, you don't have to trust lefties. Let me quote to you a Reagan judge, a guy called William Young, appointed by Ronald Reagan. When he looked at the cases of all these students, he said Donald Trump has launched a, quote, this is his words, full-throated assault on the First Amendment. Right? Marco Rubio is deporting people like Mahmoud Khalil, who you may not be a fan of, not because they did any terrorist activity or called for the killing of anyone, but because under some random 1952 immigration law, the Secretary of State has the power to deport anyone he says is undermining U.S. foreign policy through their speech.
Can he?
Well, it's never been tested at the Supreme Court. There's one judge who adjudicated on this law. You know what her name was? Guess what her name was? Judge Marion Barry Trump. Trump's sister is the only judge to ever look at the 1952 law on its merits, and she said it was unconstitutional. But it then got rejected by another court on procedural grounds. Yeah, it's never been tested. You and I, if I just describe it to you, you and I think it's insane, right? The Secretary of State should not have dictatorial powers.
I don't know the laws behind it.
So let's assume I'm right.
Sure.
Assume I'm right. You would disagree.
Yeah, Trump's sister is woke.
With the idea that the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, Marco Rubio, whoever it is, has the power unilaterally to throw out people who have broken no laws because he didn't like what they said. Surely you as a free speech guy would be opposed to that.
And by the way, the way you're making it seem like is you're quick to forget what happened under Biden. You're quick to
just said Blinken too.
Speech was
just said Blinken's name. How can you say I'm quick to forget Biden?
You know how many...
No, hold on. How can you say I'm quick to forget Biden? I just said Blinken.
I'm just reminding you how many people on YouTube got strikes, videos taken down, what things we couldn't talk about. We couldn't criticize anything about vaccine, COVID.
That's not true.
You know how many strikes I got?
You're exaggerating. You couldn't criticize anything about vaccines. I was there at the pandemic. People were criticizing vaccines. You were criticizing
and videos were disappearing like this.
You did not go to prison, okay? Let me tell you something. You did not go to prison. You did not, you weren't threatened by the federal government like I am with bullshit subpoenas. None of that shit happened. You did not get deported.
I can do easy research for you, send a report to you. Okay. Videos were disappearing like that. People that were talking, creating content, massive YouTubers were disappearing.
So hold on. You've just made my point for me. A minute ago, you said America's much better than the UK. Now you're saying America's dictatorial too, so we're agreeing.
No, I'm not saying America's better than UK. When it comes down to arrest, we don't arrest.
What was Ramey Sostek? I just showed you.
You want me to...
Joe Biden, under Biden's watchful gaze, 3,500 peaceful campus protesters were arrested. Okay, so yes, we do arrest people. You're wrong. That was just under Joseph Robinette Brandon, mind you, who's also just as bad as Donald Trump is on this issue. Okay, let's be real. 3,500 just student protesters. Nuh-uh, if PBD doesn't know the numbers, it didn't happen. Grok it. ChatGPT it now.
I can go through the list. Should I go through the list? Mahmoud Khalil.
Are you really going to defend
I know these people.
UK versus US?
I'm going to say right now the US is much worse than the UK.
Stop it.
And actually, by the way, the UK...
Stop it.
Hold on. The UK is really bad right now.
When's the last time somebody knocked on your door and said, Mehdi, be quiet, you're talking too much?
You know the UK is...
Wait, they did that in Florida like the other day. They do that in Florida all the time. Like literally, you'll have the sheriff show up to someone's home and be like, what's this post about? Straight up.
By the way, I don't want to defend the UK. The Labour government in the UK passed a law that criminalized Palestine Action. You heard of this group, Palestine Action?
No.
It's a group that went and threw paint on some, it broke into a military base and threw paint, and I think they assaulted a police officer, fought with them. I can't remember what the charges were. But they were classified as a terrorist group alongside ISIS and some far-right white supremacist groups. Insane. There's no intelligence for this. They rammed it through Parliament, got it voted on, and then they started rounding up people. I don't know if you've seen the videos. Every weekend for the last few months in the UK, people were protesting against the genocide. Little old ladies, a guy in a wheelchair, vicars, priests, grabbed by 2 police officers, arrested, you're a terrorist, because they said Palestine action. You can't say Palestine action. So I'm not going to defend the British government. They're deeply repressive right now. But funnily enough, Elon Musk never talks about cases like that. He always brings up the cases about
Tommy Robinson.
All of that stuff.
I'm sure you're a big fan of Tommy.
Oh yeah, and he's a big fan of mine. But the biggest threat right now, there's no more repressive law than this law they did to basically, if you go out and say Palestine action, you say the 2 words. If I go to the UK tomorrow and say Palestine action, I will be arrested.
So what do you think about what happened to Henry Nowak?
Who's Henry Nowak?
Henry, you don't know who Henry Nowak is?
I will if you remind me.
Can you pull it up, Rob? Henry Nowak. This is the guy in Southampton, England, last year, December 3rd, 2025. 18-year-old kid is going home, murdered by Vikram Digwa. The video just came out. The Vikram guy stabs Henry Nowak. That's the problem. Media is not even talking about this. Stabs Henry Nowak. I don't know how many times. Cut and stabbed Nowak a total of 5 times with a knife.
What does this have to do with free speech? What does this have to do with anything that they were just talking about? He just went, what about this guy? He got killed. It's like, okay, that's devastating. It's a horrible story. It's devastating. What do you want me to say about this? You know? Bro, this is boomer leftovers. It's just him saying, I'm scared of this. Look. This scared me. When I found out about it, it scared me. I couldn't even chat GPT it. Huge story in the UK right now. Okay. So Henry Nowak, 18-year-old British university student, was murdered by Vikram Digwa. Digwa was a 23-year-old British Sikh man, cut and stabbed Nowak a total of 5 times in the night. When police arrived, Digwa accused Nowak of assault and the officers handcuffed Nowak. He died shortly after being handcuffed. What the f? Shortly before the stabbing, Nowak filmed Digwa walking away from him during a verbal altercation. Digwa maintained that he acted in self-defense after Nowak continued pursuing him, made racist remarks, and punched him. Prosecutors argued that these allegations were baseless and fabricated in an attempt to justify the stabbing. The jury convicted Digwa of murder on the 28th of May, 2026. Digwa's mother was found guilty of assisting an offender. The judge rejected Digwa's accusations that Nowak had physically or racially abused him. Digwa received a life sentence with a minimum of 21 years. The police response to the crime recorded on body-worn cameras was referred to the independent police. They're trying to use this as a case to counter to BLM and want to portray that people against police violence or reptitude only care about it if the person is POC. Yeah, here's the thing I don't understand. Like, we're having a conversation about, like, out of the 2 countries, like, which one respects free speech less, right? I don't even know if I agree with Mehdi's take that, like, America respects free speech less than the UK. But this has nothing to do with that. This is just, like, regular police incompetence. Is there like a real systemic problem with like white people being stabbed and then being arrested falsely because the black or brown perpetrator falsely claimed that the white stabbing victim? First of all, why are cops handcuffing stabbing victims? Like, even if they're a perpetrator, why are you handcuffing them if they have been stabbed? That's a little insane. And like that in and of itself is very strange to me. But also, is that like a real, they didn't believe that he was stabbed? What the f? They thought he was faking. No, because the Sikh guy lied. Sure, I got that. But why didn't they check? Like, what do you mean? There's just a dude who was sitting there stabbed and he's like, I've been stabbed. And the cop is like, step right over here. You're getting arrested, scum. Like, that's what they, who trained these guys, dude? Reno police department? Who the f? That's like American levels of police incompetence. The BWV shows that the officers attending didn't believe he had been stabbed. I don't think so, mate. I think is one of the officers' words. The policing problem where instead of assessing the situation properly, they just immediately go to restrain people. Yeah. The argument is that the police showed racial bias favoring non-whites. Are people sincerely making an argument that police are woke in the UK? Is it upside down world over there? What the f is going on? Like, people are sincerely using this one incident, this one instance as a clear-cut example that, like, police in every single circumstance will favor the non-white person. Like, that's Is this a real like common issue? I'm still confused as to what this has to do with the argument that was presented about free speech protections in America versus the UK. So no one is blaming the cops in general or blaming police malpractice here. Or rather, if they're blaming police malpractice, they're saying the real malpractice is that the cops are too woke, I guess, and always believe black and brown people. They call it two-tier policing. Okay, are UK cops actually woke? I don't think so. Is that a thing? The police are blaming DEI training? Wow. I guess it's cool seeing other countries be just as stupid as we are, you know, in some ways. It makes me feel like I'm not so alone. Henry Nowak died the same way civilization dies, abandoned, handcuffed by authorities who neither trusted nor cared for him, and accused of hate crimes he did not commit. His murder is as tragic as it is enraging. I mean, it is tragic. It is enraging. I mean, it's totally ridiculous. Nigel Farage. The fear of being called racist was greater than dealing with Henry Nowak's murder. We should respond to this with pure cold rage. But the fear of being called racist was greater than dealing with Henry Nowak's murder? Who's afraid of being called racist? I have not met people that are afraid of being called racist. As a matter of fact, it almost feels like they love being called racist, the way that they behave usually. I just don't think that that's I don't think there's a real fear in any Western society at this point where people are just like, oh no, I'm going to be called racist.
When police arrived, Digwa accused Nowak of assault and officers handcuffed Nowak. He died shortly after being handcuffed. The video came out, I think, yesterday, Rob, if you want to pull it up. And it showed the guy can't breathe. He's having a hard time breathing. He's telling the cops, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. All of a sudden, he dies. And they said, no, you said some racist comments. Rob, I sent the video to you in the notes if you go to it. So,
okay.
So
what's the point of that?
But I'm going to tell you what's the point of, no.
It's horrible.
No, but because the cops sided with Digwa, they said Digwa told them.
Okay, what's the broader point, Patrick? This is a horrible situation. Like what when guys like this bring stuff like this up, I wonder always like, what you think I'm going to be like? Like, what do you think Mehdi's going to turn around and be like, that's awesome. He deserved to die. Is that what you think is going to happen here? Like, what's the point? Like, yes, I'm not exactly a fan of police. I don't think they do a good job.
That he made racist comments. And with the guy saying, I was stabbed by these guys, he's running away. They caught him. The guy had an 8-inch knife, the typical, the Sikh, what do you call it? Ceremonial knife that they have. You know which one I'm talking about.
Yes, which now,
so he gets stabbed.
Now they want to ban.
Can you?
I did see British politicians say they want to ban it, and I didn't realize the context. This is the context.
And this is the context. And they said they wanted to ban it. Keir Starmer came out today and said, no, we're not going to ban it. But you know what you can't have in England? You know what you can't have in England? You can't even have pepper spray. Pepper spray has not been legal since 68, but they can have that knife. How does that make any sense? So for me, you and I can cherry pick stories on both sides to create rage on why this or that, but the stats are the stats.
What?
So when you're saying...
Wait, do you think the stats are on your side on this incident? Is there an epidemic of white people being stabbed and then being lied about and then cops coming up on the scene and being like, well, we're woke. Well, I'm woke, governor. Got to arrest a white stabbing victim in it. Is that what's going on? What are you insane? What stat is there for this incident? I mean, this is a horrifying situation. It's you know, through and through police incompetence. Okay, classic case. But I just don't think that this is like a commonplace situation. The father of Henry Nowak wants to make it illegal for Sikhs to carry kirpan's ceremonial dagger now. Reform wants to ban too. The Sikh community is saying the knife used was not a kirpan and has condemned the murder. Yeah, dude, England is so strange because they do have knife bans. I don't have an opinion on this. I don't understand it. I don't even understand why like the Sikh population want to have kirpans on them. But I also don't even understand why there's like knife control.
That story about America and UK, you hear a story like this. Where is the rage with this? Where's the outrage with this?
That's not even a free speech story. We were talking about free speech. You brought up stats about social media arrests. And I'm saying to you right now in the US, you can be arrested by this government, detained for a year without charge because you said something the government doesn't like about Israel. by the way, about a foreign country. It's not even about the American government.
Yeah.
You're not even criticizing the American government. You're criticizing a foreign government.
I'm going to go look it up, and I'll give
Please
you my
do.
response to you personally
Look up,
myself.
have them on your show. Have Mohsen Madawi on your show. Have Badr Khan Suri, who's in court right now, on your show. Georgetown student. These guys were picked up off the streets by men, masked men, unmarked
These
cars.
people love America.
Yes.
They
Why
love
are they here?
America. I don't know. Are they planning on staying here or going back home?
Mahmoud Khalil is married here, has a kid. He had a kid while he was in prison. Donald Trump, the Family Values Party, the Republican Party, didn't let this guy be with his wife when she gave birth, didn't let him hold his baby.
What do you say about Henry Nowak, what I just showed you?
I think that's horrific.
That's UK.
I think that's horrific.
But this is the
I don't know
part that's
I don't know the details, but obviously the police got it wrong.
This is the part that kind of, so you represented the media on the left, okay? So Rob, can you go back to that story, that New York Times, if you search the two different words, of George Floyd versus what happened with Novak. You just had it up right now a minute ago.
What is the argument, man? What does this have to do with what Mehdi and you were talking about moments ago? This thing has gone completely off the rails, man. I am Valutain, though, as always.
Oh, come on. You're going to do this?
No,
the
he's
media
gonna be
is
fine.
The media is.
But wait a minute. This is New York Times. Go to the first one.
I'm not a fan of the news.
You type in Henry Nowak. How many names? Results 19. Go to the next one, Rob. George Floyd, 6397. There is no incentive to tell this story because it doesn't go with the narrative.
So I disagree with you. I grew up in the UK. Right-wing media has been telling these stories all my life. All I've seen is black people and Muslim people on the front pages. Have you looked at the front pages of the Daily Mail, the Daily Express? What do you mean the UK is being destroyed?
You think UK is doing good?
Yeah, I mean, no, but not for the reasons you think.
Why do you think UK is not doing good?
I think economically it's doing very badly. It had very bad leadership for the last 15 years. I was there. The Conservative government that came in 2010 did an austerity program after the financial crisis.
You put it on
destroyed.
Cameron is...
David Cameron and George Osborne
Yep.
did an austerity program that basically gutted the British state, gutted our competitiveness, didn't cut the deficits, actually ruined our fiscal credibility, downgraded our credit rating, destroyed our growth over the course of a decade, undermined our health service.
Do you put anything tied to immigration to that?
No.
None.
Immigration's been a boost for the British economy. In fact, cutting immigration is bad. Look at Brexit. Brexit's been a disaster for the British economy. Do you know how many people in Britain want to rejoin the EU? A majority. Pull that up. The majority of Britons want to go back into the EU.
Yeah, he said, I'm a numbers guy too. I can be a numbers guy too. You're not a numbers guy, Mehdi. Don't try to be a numbers guy. You don't get to tell Vinny to pull shit up.
What do you think that is?
Why
do you think that is, Pat? Why do you think Britons want to go back into the EU? You just said Britain's being destroyed.
No, but have you looked at
EU.
the crime numbers? What's going on in UK?
Crime is very low.
Have you looked?
I think one of the funniest things that I genuinely love about Patrick Bet-David is, in his mind, he's truly white. He behaves with the confidence and the swagger of a white man. And I think in his mind, he's like when people go, hey, you're not white, right? Like, he's just like shocked by it sometimes. He literally thinks he's part of the team, like 100%. And I love it. I love him, and I love that for him. And it's really funny because I don't think anybody that's in his immediate vicinity reads him as white at all. The only reason why he can have this level of delusion is because he's in Miami, and Miami is the place for guys who are not white who think they are. So he's surrounded by other Patrick Bet-Davids who are just like, yeah, I'm a numbers guy too. What do you mean?
Crime is very low, Patrick.
So let me ask you.
Do you know what the crime rate in London is?
So did you see the tweet that came out yesterday?
I know you're not a fan of Sadiq Khan. You're not a fan of my good friend Sadiq Khan, are you?
What EU did, you saw the tweet that came out, what EU was saying they're doing, that they want to find a way to get rid of illegal immigrants?
Okay, you're jumping around, Patrick. Britain is not in the EU. We're talking about Britain. You just said Britain's being destroyed, which is nonsense. And then you said crime rate. Have you looked at the London crime rates? Last year, London had its lowest per capita murder rate since records began, had the lowest volume of homicides for 30 years under Sadiq Khan, third-term mayor, who people in America, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, get very worked up about. I don't know if you guys get worked up about him. Been a very successful mayor, and crime has come down by record numbers. Violent crime and murder.
When you're looking at EU, do you know which country?
When the numbers guy encounters the other numbers guy. Oh no, he's getting numbers mogged. No. Bruh. He's getting numbers mogged.
Bruh. The EU has the lowest rape rate.
Talk about the UK, Patrick.
Stay with UK. Stay with
the UK's not in the EU anymore, sadly.
Yeah, he's just trying to dance around. He's like, oh yeah, what about the EU? What about the UK? Okay, how about Italy?
To me, I'll put them somewhat together in the same area.
They left 10 years ago.
By the way, so you're saying immigration coming from all these countries has been a successful project for the EU?
What's your definition of success?
Many different ways.
Economically, the EU desperately needs migrants. Have you seen the age rate? Pull up the demographic.
Okay, so
it's a dying continent with a very low birth rate, as Elon Musk likes to point out.
So when you think
they got no one there to work, to pay taxes, to look after the elderly, to run their health services, etc.
Maybe the one argument I'll go to see what you'll say about this. Do you think the West, when it comes down to West, Muslims can coexist with the West?
Took a handbrake.
I'm curious.
We went from Britain's being destroyed to London crime to EU to Muslim.
I'm curious.
Okay, we got to Muslim.
Tell me where you are with this. Do you think they can
coexist? Muslim.
Okay.
What do you think?
Do you think they can coexist?
Do you think I can coexist with
I think you can coexist.
Why me?
Educated. You're a worker. You're now a capitalist. You're contributing. You're creating jobs. I would say you're net positive.
Do you not think most Muslims do that?
I don't think depending on where they're coming from, they don't. Because if their countries did a good job, why would they leave it?
War?
Can't argue with that. He's so racist. Dog, you're brown. Do you? You're Iranian and a business owner talking to a British Indian guy who's also a business owner in America. And you're like, well, we are the good ones. That's awesome. Oh, this is so stupid. Look at Mehdi's face. He's like, what? That's great. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Patrick Bet David. And thank you, Mehdi Hasan. This has been wonderful so far.
That we caused?
War that who caused?
That we caused.
So they're leaving because of us.
Well, the big controversy in the UK over the boats, the small boats coming across the channel. Do you know what the top 3 nationalities are in those boats?
Tell me.
Iran, number 1.
Okay.
Afghanistan, number 2. Iraq, number 3. Now, Iran is a current war. Let's park Iran. But are you telling me we're not responsible for the mess in Afghanistan and Iraq? Come on.
When you look at this, let me show you this. Rob, can you pull this up? When it comes down to...
yes.
Let me see which one I got here.
I love Rob bringing up these...
No,
I love he brings this up.
I know you like number.
No, I love it. I love being proved right.
He said, I know you like number. Oh, he's doing new ones. He's using new sound bites. I know you like number.
Bringing up these...
No,
I love he brings this up.
I know you like number.
No, I love it.
I know you like number. I'm a numbers guy. I know you like number. I will show you. Rob, bring the numbers up.
Being proved right as well. It's
per capita.
For my ego.
No. Per capita. When you look at the countries, Rob, I think you got it. Gulf states, how they perform per capita versus some of the other Muslim nations.
Okay.
Look at this one here.
Because they got oil and gas.
You think it's only oil and gas that's causing them?
Did you know what these countries were like in the 60s and 70s?
He didn't just do that. That's so dumb. That's awesome, dude.
Iran has plenty of oil.
Yeah.
How come they're not in here?
Maybe
Iraq has got oil.
Can I answer your question?
But this has been going on for a minute. This is not a one-year thing.
Can I answer your question?
Sure.
Why do you think Iran's not doing well economically? Should I go through the list?
You're going to say it's sanctions. You're going to say it's because of America. You're going to say it's America's fault.
Not just America's fault.
So how come?
But partly. Hold on. How much? Okay, you left Iran during the Iran-Iraq war, right? Is that
I left Iran after Khomeini died. 6 weeks after Khomeini died.
Okay, so Iran-Iraq was done by then. So Iran-Iraq was
15th, 89.
So Iran-Iraq was done. Iran-Iraq was 1980 to 1988.
Yes.
$600 billion of damage done to Iranian infrastructure, the economy, the cost of that war. That was a war that Saddam Hussein.
Oh, you put it on Saddam.
Whose fault do you think it is? Who invaded who?
So, by the way,
hold on, Patrick. Come on.
You don't at all put that on IRGC?
No, I put it on the
You don't put it on Islamic Revolutionary Guard?
I put it on the country that invades the other country. That's how the world works. I blame Russia for the Ukraine war.
Why do they have a hard time getting along with other people?
Why did Saddam Hussein... Are you pro-Saddam?
No. Why does Iran have a hard time getting along with other people?
That was when I said. I said there was an Iran-Iraq war. You said, is America to blame? I said, yes, we backed Saddam Hussein. Did we not back Saddam Hussein? Did Donald Rumsfeld not fly and hug? You can pick up Rob can bring up a video of Donald Rumsfeld hugging Saddam Hussein in 1983 in Baghdad. Were we not supporting the Iraqi invasion of Iran that cost Iran 1 million lives? $600 billion of infrastructure damage. You're saying that didn't play any role in Iran's economic future.
Why don't they...
You're not answering my question.
No, but you don't understand what I'm saying.
No,
but Mehdi, let me ask you.
You want me to acknowledge...
He's dog walking him so hard that he has like reduced in size, which is, once again, as a big Patrick Bet David fan, shameful, and I don't like Mehdi Hasan's performance here. He's hurting my goat too hard. He's hurting my goat too hard. I don't like it. I know you like number. I know you like number. Oh, I mean, that's going to be my new stem probably. I know you like number. I'm a numbers guy. I know you like number. Why the hell are you going to try to debate someone who literally has a book called Win Every Argument? Yeah. I already read the comments. Everyone's talking about how Mehdi dog walked him. This is embarrassing.
No, but look, let's give credit to, for instance, when Mamdani goes to the White House, you and I both gave credit to both of them.
He's like, remember the time when we agreed? Can we do that again? He's literally doing that. He's like, remember how good it was when you weren't defeating me and instead we were agreeing? We need to go back to that.
Being diplomatic.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think Iranian leadership with the IRGC is diplomatic?
No.
Do you
They've
think
been horrific.
Okay, this is cowardly from Mehdi. Yes, they have. They absolutely have. The Iranian leadership has been unfathomably diplomatic. As a matter of fact, until the last iteration of the Operation Epstein's Fury, the Iranian diplomacy side was so aggressively restrained that it was perceived as a weakness by both America and Israel. And that is literally part of the reason why I think Donald Trump was goaded into thinking, oh yeah, we can defeat these guys. They're so scared of us. It's not even a comparison between the United States of America, the serial violator of all international rules and norms, and Israel also, and Iran. Yes, it sounds insane to say this, but as far as international diplomacy goes, international relations goes, 100% Iran is far more aware, far more restrained, and far more diplomatic than both Israel and the United States of America. Like, this has nothing to do with like internal repression, domestic repression, things of that nature. Obviously, I'm not defending things that the Iranian government does in that regard. But as far as like international relations goes, yes.
In their leadership, I think they've given themselves, they've given their opponents a stick with which to beat them. I was a big critic of Ahmadinejad back in the day. He said dumb things.
So do you think Khomeini was good for Iran?
Do I think Khomeini was good?
Do you think Khomeini was good for Iran?
No, in hindsight, of course not. If you look at the record,
so
today,
then we're on the same page. What I'm trying to do is,
I've said this before. I went on Piers Morgan.
Wait, okay. Once again, hard disagree on that issue as well. I mean, if you don't want Khomeini or Khamenei, don't intervene in the Iranian affairs. Like the revolution doesn't happen if America doesn't install a puppet leader and instigate a coup.
Sure. Just to be clear, for people who don't know, I'm Shia. Right? I'm a Shia Muslim.
I know you're Shia.
Which is the majority religion in Iran.
Sure.
Right? So I do, but there are two types of Shias. This is a very crude, I'm trying to explain to your audience. Religiously, theologically, politically, there's two types of Shias. There are those who believe in what's called Vilayat-e-Faqih, WF. They believe that Khomeini, this was a political theory, some say a religious theory, pushed by Ayatollah Khomeini, that said that the clerics, the Ayatollahs, the mullahs, whatever you want to call them, they should rule. Power should be with them. That is the model that Iran has followed. There is another school of thought that comes out of Iraq, mainly out of a city called Najaf, and an Ayatollah called Sistani, who is the leading Shia Ayatollah in Iraq today. And they say, no, we are all for religion. We're all, we want everyone to practice Islam, Shia Islam, but we're not going to rule. After the Americans toppled Saddam, Ayatollah Sistani did not do a Khomeini. He did not say, I'm going to become supreme leader of Iraq. He said, have elections, democracy, vote. I'm going to stay in my house and I'm going to give you advice, religious advice when you need it. I follow the Ayatollah Sistani view of the world, crudely put. Sure. I don't follow the Ayatollah Khomeini view of the world. So when you say to me, was he good for Iran? As a governmental system, no, I don't support the governing system of Iran the way it is. But you're changing the subject. You're avoiding you are.
I'm not.
There was an 8-year war. We were talking about Iran's economy.
I lived there. Trust me, I lived there. I witnessed it.
I understand.
You should entertain the idea of living in a Muslim majority country, see what it's like.
I understand.
I lived there.
You're jumping.
Oh my God. What the f does this have to do with guys? The conversation started because Patrick Bet-David said something unbelievably racist that was so racist that I thought it was funny because he just like casually said, why would Muslims leave their countries if they were run so good? And that's the reason why Muslims actually don't succeed in the Western world. And therefore they're not a benefit, but a burden. That was the implication. That wasn't like 3 or 4 arguments ago. That was the argument. And now we've arrived at, I lived in a majority Muslim country and it sucked. And that Muslims can't coexist for the most part in the Western world with others.
Around it.
I'm
We'll talk
not.
about-
What I'm.
Well, you were talking about the
said
economy.
Iraq, Iran. I'll let you finish your thought, and then I'll go back to my question that I have.
So
Go ahead, finish your
I'm going
thought.
to finish my thought. Well, it doesn't. It's a thought that requires a response from you, which is if there's an 8-year war that Iraq started and we supported that cost $600 billion to Iran, that took out 1 million members of their population, and then was followed by crazy sanctions. Are you telling me then that it's fair to compare that economy with Abu Dhabi? Are you seriously telling me that's a fair
Can you go back to that chart again, Rob, for me? So you just defended Iraq, right? That we backed up Iraq.
Yes.
That went against Iran.
Yeah.
How come they're not on the top GDP? Per capita on this list.
Do you know what happened to Iraq after the Iran-Iraq war?
So now you have another reason. It's America's fault again.
I mean, do you study history, Patrick? Do you know what happened in 1991?
But do you
we did a Gulf.
No, but
Why do you got to bring up information like that? Who cares if America just did sanctions on Iraq? I'm a numbers guy, and these are numbers that I'm unfamiliar with. I didn't ChatGPT it. I didn't grok it. Look at the numbers I put in front of you, and don't look at any other numbers or other events that have happened throughout history.
The Gulf, Saddam idiotically invaded Kuwait.
Victimhood language for you to say. So on one end,
Wow.
on one end you're saying this. On the other end, you say no. It's because
You're
of this.
comparing countries. You're showing me a graph comparing countries that have never been bombed, invaded, and occupied with countries that have been bombed, invaded, occupied, and then you say, why is the GDP per capita higher in one, not the other?
Why haven't
That's an insane comparison.
Why
with
have
respect.
they made so much progress? Why? They're Muslim majority.
Yeah.
Okay. Why have they made so much progress?
I mean, first of all,
and by the way, at this point, just so you know, the argument is now not about Muslim.
I know it's not.
I know, but the argument is why are some winning, some are not?
And I
why
explained war plays a big role in this.
Well, Mehdi, a part of it
I
makes
just pointed out to you the 3 biggest refugee groups on the boats going into England are
Say
Iran, Iraq,
Sure.
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Coincidence? No, those are war-torn countries.
I'm not disputing that. What I'm trying to tell you is even with that, if you sit here and say every single time everything is America's fault, what responsibility do they take? Do they take any responsibility that they're not making the right decision for their people?
Just to be clear, people can rewind. I know Rob does screenshots, but people on watching on YouTube can rewind. Never did I say it's all America's fault. I've never said that. Have you read? You said you've read my stuff. You've seen my stuff.
I've seen your
I'm
stuff.
very critical of Muslim majority countries. I am very critical of the Iranian government. I'm very critical of the Saudi government. I'm very critical of the
feedback would you-
Emirati
what do you
government. I've
think they
criticized.
can do?
I do a show for Al Jazeera, and I grilled the Qatari foreign minister on that show about the lack of democracy.
Dude, I've seen your
I'm
stuff.
critical of
I know.
Arab
I've seen your-
governments, Muslim government, Pakistan.
Do you
I'm critical
think?
of all these.
Do you think the Middle East is a safer place with IRGC in charge of running America, or somebody like a Pezeshkian, more the moderates?
Of course, I'm more of a moderate. I would like to see. And again, who undermined the moderates?
Okay, I have a better argument here. I think IRGC and its militancy would have caused sufficient military deterrence against Israel and may have even allowed Iran to develop a nuclear weapon, and therefore would have created an environment of long-standing peace far before this current iteration of the conflict ever took place. There is a real argument here that, I mean, he said IRGC running America, but I think he meant Iran for the record. So I'm just like skipping past that point because that'd be really funny. I don't, but yes, there is a real argument here for there being more regional stability if Iran had shied away from the path of strategic restraint and moved in the direction of deterrence. Yeah, it's the North Korea argument, obviously.
Iran. Sorry, it's going to be the answer
I
you don't
agree.
like.
Oh,
The
but
United States of America.
No, I disagree.
The United States of America.
No, I disagree. I don't think that's the
did?
case.
Who undermined?
Israel.
Oh, well.
No, I don't. Put
Our
it on-
proxy then
No, but
undermined.
listen to you were not expecting my answer.
No, because I don't
they-
accept this fake split between U.S. and Israel.
But this
Sorry.
is not it. But let me tell you I do, because what I see going on right now is I see Israel, in a way, I actually like what's taking place. Let me explain to you why I like what's taking place. A part of what's going on right now is the world is able to see Bibi's motive versus Trump's motive. Like, you remember that one time when the Trump and Bibi are on stage speaking, and he's saying, yeah, we're thinking about taking over Gaza, and we're going to build a hotel here. And then you see Bibi goes like, wait, what? You never told me that. He kind of got, I don't know if you remember that session or not.
And it was
Okay.
the West Bank equivalent.
So a part of it for me, I like that this is happening because I prefer this to be in the public's eye. I prefer for Trump to show, hey, listen, if I want to go become a prime minister of Israel, I would do it. You're there just because of me. I like him saying that publicly.
All right.
I like that that is taking place. But to me, who wants IRGC to be gone?
So a couple of things. On the Trump point, I agree it's better these things happen in public, and there is a weird upside to Trump having such a big mouth and saying crazy shit all the time. There is a pro to that. I get that. But let's not forget, Patrick, you saw the New York Times big piece where we discovered from Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan that Benjamin Netanyahu went to the Situation Room and made the case to Trump with Mossad joining via Zoom or wherever it was, and he persuaded Trump that this will be a walk in the park, cakewalk, all of that shit. That happened in private.
What's your percentage that happened?
That happened in private.
What's your percentage that
high
happened?
percentage.
Give me a number, 80%?
80%.
I don't know what to even add as feedback. It's hard to continue the things that he's weaving into the conversation are so strange and irrelevant.
I'm 50-50 that happened.
Okay. You think Trump did it on his own without Netanyahu?
No. I said I'm 50-50, meaning I believe there's a 50% chance because...
but you don't deny that behind the scenes, the Israelis are putting pressure on the U.S.
Of course I know.
Okay. So then to come back to your broader
I don't think he's Bush. I don't think he's Obama. I don't think he's Biden. I don't think he's those guys.
In many ways, he's worse.
No. I don't think
he doesn't have any independent views.
The one thing I know with you, Mehdi, is the fact that no matter what he does, he's not going to get victory from you. We have to put those two.
Again, you can go back on YouTube, rewind an hour. I said if he restrains Netanyahu in Gaza and Lebanon.
You said
if. He won't. I know he won't.
No, I understand. But have you ever given him any credit for anything he's done? When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function.
Ain't no way, dog. That Patrick Bet David has a shoe. Okay, we got to watch this ad. I'm sorry. He has a shoe that says "Future
Luxury.
Looks Bright."
We had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless.
Oh my God. What the is this, bro? Oh my God. It looks so bad. Oh, what do you do? What do you do when the homie rolls up in them Patrick Bet Davids? Ah! Yo! Yeah! What the hell is this? It's like, is it casual? Is it supposed to be dressy? He made these shoes. First of all, there's no laces, but he wants to have the appearance of laces. And it's supposed to be like a casual shoe that you can wear under a suit. Nah, Loki, get a pair. Ain't no fucking... Wait, what? $600? $600? $600? Ain't no way! Oh my God. He chose to make them neither fast, nor cheap, nor good looking. Brother, this is incredible. God, Patrick Bet David, you're actually a legend, dude. Holy shit. You are a goddamn legend for this.
In the first term, I wrote a piece for The Intercept. I got a lot of shit for it because I said credit where credit's due. He's going to withdraw from Afghanistan. Remember, he laid out that timeline that Biden then got attacked for following. It was a Trump timeline to pull out of Afghanistan.
He did it. The Biden, the way
Trump
he did it.
would have done it better. Come on. It was always going to be a disaster. No matter how you pull out of Afghanistan.
There was many military personnel said there was better ways to leave.
No, I don't agree on that. But
many military.
Can I come back to your wider point?
Tell me.
Oh my God, he's showing me. I need to take a shower now. Bravo, Donald Trump is the headline. Rob's too fast. All right, so let me come back to the wider point. Forget Trump.
I always knew. I introduced him properly at the beginning. Big MAGA supporter.
That's 2020. 6 years ago. We all grow, evolve, learn from our mistakes. So the broader point about America and Israel, Iran, to go back to your IRGC point, forget Trump for a moment. Let's just take US foreign policy as a whole. Mm-hmm. When you say it's Israel, I don't accept that. I think this new thing on the right where you say, Tucker Carlson, Joe Kent, all this line, which is like, America's good, it's bad Israel, making good.
Also, Trump's Afghanistan deal wasn't bad, which is why I also gave Joe Biden credit for that too. Ironically enough, Donald Trump literally delivered that deal to Joe Biden's administration, and then Joe Biden actually pulled the trigger on it, and then Trump never let him go. Trump consistently yelled at Joe Biden over the Afghan withdrawal, which was his deal. But yes, pulling out of Afghanistan objectively was a good thing, okay? What the
America. I'm not saying you did, but I'm saying others. It's becoming a very consensus view, which is America's really good, and then evil Israel comes along and makes good America do bad things.
No.
We need to take agency and responsibility. We are the superpower. And when Israel's murdering Iranian nuclear scientists or murdering Iranian diplomats who might do a deal with them, we have to take ownership for that. They don't do that without an American green light. They didn't kill Khamenei without an American green light. They don't do shit without an American green light. So I don't buy this idea that Israel is some rogue force. Going back to the Barack Ravid point about there's all these splits between the president and the prime minister. 9 times out of 10, America and Israel are on the same page. 1 time out of 10, they're on a different page.
Yeah. So
we had moderate presidents in Iran. They got screwed over. Khatami, Rouhani. They got screwed over by Western governments that wouldn't do a nuclear deal.
Israel went out and killed the 50 guys. You know, we could have worked together, whatever. They kept, and Trump kept saying, everybody we're negotiating with, they're killing them. Who's they? Who's he saying
and you think Israel can do that if Trump wanted them to stop? Come on.
No. What I'm saying to you is Israel, when they get their intel and they want to take somebody out, you remember the pagers. They got very good intel. They don't have a problem going and doing what they're doing. I understand Israel's motive.
So do I.
I understand Israel's motive.
But I'm saying they get a green light from the U.S.
I don't think as much under him as others. I do think they're an ally for the Middle East. And I'm not, like, you're a business guy now. You're a capitalist. So one of the things you'll experience, because you're a capitalist, it's nothing wrong. You should be proud of it. You should be, look at the smile on your face. You're making more money than ever before.
You're a numbers guy.
It's a good line.
Are you making more money?
I'm a numbers guy. You're a business guy. Okay? And I know business. I'm a numbers guy, but I'm a business guy. Taliban in power is a good thing. Objectively a better thing than us still occupying Afghanistan. Yes.
You're less money right now.
I'm making more money.
That's good. There's nothing wrong. We should be proud of it.
Did I say that? That's not my definition of capitalism.
But here's where I'm going with this. In the last couple of years since you've been private, how many opportunities have you had to do deals with people?
Many.
When you're on the call, do you know their motives?
No.
Their motives are typically beneficial to who?
Themselves.
Is that something that you and I would be surprised with? No. Why are you here today? Why do I have you on today? It's going to be a good show for us. Why are you on here today? You don't live down the street. You came. There's a motive.
Yes.
Both of us have a motive, so both of us are winning from this exchange that we have. Okay.
Understood.
In that sense, the way they negotiate, then it goes to who's the better negotiator. Then it goes to who gave up more. Then it goes to all the other stuff that you got to go through, and you got to make adjustments.
Well, Trump is a horrible negotiator, and as Benjamin Netanyahu said, these are Benjamin Netanyahu's words, for 40 years, I've dreamt of attacking Iran. He's the only president who would listen to me. Those are Netanyahu's words. I'm paraphrasing.
For 40 years, Trump
Every president said no.
In 1987, he would go and take over Carrick Island. He said that in 85. You make it seem like this guy's not an independent thinker.
Well, he's not an independent
Trump
thinker.
said that in 85.
Hold on. He also said, none of us knew they would hit the Strait of Hormuz. None of us knew they would hit the Gulf countries. You idiot. Everyone knew this.
You can't give him credit that he said this 40 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know how he got that one thing consistent.
Oh,
but what about
I don't know how this one thing he did.
Wait,
I don't know how he came back.
Dog, who gives a f? Yeah, we hit Karg. It was a bad decision. So it was a bad decision in 1987. Who cares? It has remained a bad decision. Wow, you don't understand. Donald Trump was wrong in 1987, and he kept being wrong in 2026. Okay, what am I supposed to give him credit for? Who gives a f if he was stupid all the way back then? Now he's stupid with actual intelligence on his side.
Patrick, you keep asking me to give him credit. The Iran war, you praised him.
Here's the thing. Also, Donald Trump himself said voting for Kamala Harris would mean going to war with Iran, like waging unnecessary wars. So expecting consistency from him is unbelievably stupid. So yeah, if you're trying to claim that this is like his decision because he's consistently wanted to wage war with Iran since 1987, well, okay, he's either consistently stupid and wrong, and we're currently living through that, or if you want to recognize the reality that he's not an independent decision maker in this situation and he totally got goaded into it in large part by Benjamin Netanyahu, if you don't want to recognize that reality, rather, then you have to still recognize that Like he either independently made this bad and stupid decision, but that's not exactly a good thing for Trump, or he got goaded into it by Benjamin Netanyahu. Neither outcome is good.
On day one of the Iran war, would you accept today it's been an absolute disaster because Donald Trump is not a war leader? He doesn't understand foreign policy. He doesn't understand war. He just said this week, I'm bored. You know what he said this week? I'm bored of all this.
Mehdi.
Like a child.
Mehdi, let me tell you what it is. You know, I have a local doctor I want you to go see. He specializes in TDS. And I think you would work very well with him. Over a 6-month period, he'll be able to get rid of your TDS.
I have a guy who's a psychologist, and he deals with cult members.
Yep.
And I think he'll do well with you guys who can't get out of the Trump cult.
See the difference?
I asked you, I gave you an opportunity in front of your audience to criticize Trump on Iran. You can't do it.
I will.
It's been a disaster.
Can I tell you?
Please.
The difference between you and I is I will sit there and I'll give credit and I'll criticize. I'll give
him credit. What should I give him credit for?
I am more supportive of him than you are.
What should I give him credit for?
Because the longer you're a capitalist, you're gonna want somebody that's pro-capitalism.
The economy is horrific under him.
Because
my business is doing badly because of him.
It's
because of the war. Who started the war? He did.
I take ownership that he started the war.
So when you say give him credit,
can I finish? You're gonna allow me to finish my thought?
Please.
Did you give him credit with Venezuela?
No, of course not. Illegal action.
So that's also no.
He broke international law, American law, the Constitution.
So that's a no for you as well.
He killed a grandmother.
Let me ask you a question.
And he brought this guy into a court case that he might lose.
If they take over Cuba, would that be a victory in your eyes? So give it already criticism up front.
You think I'm supporting? You want me to come here to Florida and support imperialism? You support imperialism.
So
you support just invading other countries.
So you go back. You go criminal. Well, how the hell do you think America got so big? What do you think they did? It was an expansionist James Polk idea.
Oh my God, dude, this is why Republicans win, though. Straight up. Because, like, a lot of people are just very dumb, and they're like, what do you mean? If you got it, you got to use it, man. It's good. I guess the counter to that literally is, like, liberalism, internationalism under a liberal world order is a progressive force in history. And the question at that point is, okay, do you think that we should still have, like, warring factions and unlimited tribalism in the world and go back to an era where, you know, the French and the Englishmen were fighting each other for 100 years? Like, do you think that is a better situation? Because that's what happens with might makes right. The American design had to abide by at least some boundaries. The American design had to abide by certain restrictions. Obviously, America violated it all the time, but there was at least like some kind of lip service offered to the international rule-based order at times, and that kind of kept things intact. Might makes right is the reason why currently America's getting its shit pushed in by Iran, because Iran was like, all right, if you don't play by the rules, we can't play by the rules either, and that's the reason why we're going to close the Strait of Hormuz.
Let's go out there and buy all these other places.
Was there international law, the UN Charter, the Geneva Conventions at the time?
But you're sitting here complaining about something like this where you're living in a country. It's because of the byproduct of the visionaries previous to us that they made it what it is today. Why do you?
Oh my God, it's Zen fascism. He's doing it. Mehdi, you don't understand. You're also a beneficiary of American imperialism. You're a part of the labor aristocracy, my friend. Don't you realize that this American bounty that inevitably comes back to you is the reason why we have such a robust system? If we don't extract natural resources from the periphery, someone's got to do it. I'm a numbers guy.
Feel so safe here?
Bizarre argument.
Why do you?
I know you really like the numbers.
Alaska, we should go conquer Cuba.
No, that's not what I'm telling you.
Sounds like it.
If they're expanding, I don't mind an expansionist president. I don't.
You like imperialism. So how are you different to the IRGC?
I don't mind an expansionist.
How are you different to the IRGC? Everyone says
what?
Everyone says
Islamic Revolutionary Guard.
They're accused.
Everything is about.
Wait, what? Mehdi, what the has the IRGC done that is dude, come on, Mehdi. God damn it. Let him finish. Okay.
They're
God
accused.
tells them what to do and not death upon America.
They're accused of being expansionist, of trying to take over the Middle East. That's the big allegation that the Gulf states make against Iran. And yet you're sitting here saying, but we should take over the Western Hemisphere.
By the way, do you know what I would actually say?
I'm not imperialist.
Let me ask you a question. You got how many subscribers do you have with your channel right now that are paying you?
On Substack?
On Substack.
I'm not going to say that number.
Let's say it's 100,000 people. Okay. There you go.
It's not.
He did it again. He keeps asking these questions. As soon as Mehdi retaliates and offers a reasonable counter, instead of addressing the counter at all, Patrick Bet-David immediately moves on to a totally separate question. Oh my God.
Not sadly.
Okay, but let's just say you have 50 to 100,000 people. You're doing well. You're making good money. Yeah. Okay. Have you taken any viewership from anybody else?
What do you mean?
Are people watching you that used to watch somebody else on YouTube? What an expansionist you are. What a shameful expansionist capitalist.
I've been with you for 1 hour, 20 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. That might genuinely be the stupidest argument I've ever heard in my entire life. Straight up. And I've seen a lot of, like, I'm talking like, you know, Twitter posts, subreddits. It sincerely reminds me of when people try to make the comparison that I'm basically Jeff Bezos because I react to other people's YouTube videos or whatever. And it's still somehow dumber than that. I would much rather have to deal with someone sincerely believing that I'm basically Jeff Bezos and I'm exploiting other people's labor by reacting to their YouTube videos. I think that's a more intelligent argument. And it's not an intelligent argument at all, but it's still a more intelligent argument than the one that Patrick Bet-David just advanced. Yeah. If that argument is 2 + 2 = 5, this is 2 + 2 = fish. Incredible. This is beyond a non sequitur. I've actually never seen the nuclear grade enriched uranium version of stupidity until this very moment. And he's so happy about it. Look at his face.
This guy's expanding his YouTube channel, but God forbid anybody else does it.
I've waited 1 hour, 20 minutes for you to say the dumbest thing with respect, Patrick. That is not an analogy.
Every time you say the dumbest things is when you get cornered. What do you mean you're expanding?
That is the worst analogy.
You're expanding.
Did I go into the New York Times? Hold on. Let's take your analogy. Did I walk into the New York Times and abduct the editor-in-chief of the New York Times, put a bag over his head,
do you have any employees?
Take him out in order to undermine the New York Times?
Do you have any employees?
Yes.
How many of them came volunteer? How many of them did you recruit and hire away from another company?
How many of them did I get with a gun and a special forces team? You're making a ridiculous analogy.
Oh my goodness.
Expand as a business. That's the same as illegally occupying other people's land.
What la la land are you living in? Like, what do you think happened to this world?
World of law.
What do you think happened to this world?
You do realize the problem that the MAGA folks have when they say this is you lose any credibility to criticize anyone else. You can't criticize Iran then. You can't criticize Hamas.
And I don't.
You don't criticize Hamas?
No, I don't criticize. If you're able to expand.
So if Hamas goes into Israel, you're for that?
It's not about if I'm for that or not. If you're able to successfully do it, that's your vision. I know I have to defend against it. What?
Oh my God, he's so awesome. All right, I'm back in. No, he literally is so one-track minded on being Sigma grind set that he literally said if Hamas were to militarily occupy Israel, then that's their vision. And they went out there and they said, I'm a numbers guy. We're going to ChatGPT it. We're going to grok it. And we're going to seize Israel. And they did it. You got to defend it. You got to defend it. I'm a numbers guy. Listen, the problem with Hamas that I have, Patrick Bet-David, is that they're not Sigma grind setting hard enough. They're not locking in. If they had actually bought my new shoes, that would have given them the confidence. If they were wearing my $600 shoes, that would have given them the confidence during October 7th to seize control over the Knesset. Okay? At which point I would be defending it because they locked in. They have the vision. He said, like, look.
Able to expand.
So if Hamas goes into Israel, you're for that?
It's not about if I'm for that or not. If you're able to successfully do it, that's your vision. I know I have to defend against it. What do you think companies do? How do you think companies work? What do you think companies are supposed to do?
I think it's insane that you're comparing business expansion to us going around the world killing people.
Mehdi, why do you think we have military? For what?
Ourselves.
Against what?
Threats.
Against
but
another
you
one
want to be
expand.
the threat.
I'm not saying that.
You think Cuba's trying to expand right now?
No.
You think Cuba's trying to expand? Where are they expanding to? Miami?
No.
You've been living in Miami too long.
By the way, maybe
I think you've been drinking too much Miami water too long.
I actually rarely go to Miami. Maybe that's their fault. Maybe that's their fault.
What's their fault?
Maybe their ideology, communism, created a poor country and their people want something better.
But that doesn't give us the right to go and take over the country.
How do you think all this stuff happened in history?
Okay, lots of things happened in history that weren't right.
Yeah, but guess what?
This is 2026.
Dude, you understand. You've taken...
Dude, it's actually shocking. Patrick Bet-David's lack of knowledge and lack of intellectual curiosity is genuinely confusing me. I did not realize that people like this actually existed in the real world. Like, he has expanded. His first principles are, it's a dog-eat-dog world, everybody capitalist, everything capitalism, everything business. And because that's his only worldview, that's where it begins and ends, he is applying that to international relations. And what's shocking about this worldview is that It would literally justify chattel slavery. Every single awful thing that has ever happened throughout history, you would justify with this mentality. It's awesome.
Market share from other people. Your viewers were somebody else's viewers that came to you.
So you support,
kudos to you.
So you want just to be clear, you want some kind of law of the jungle where might is right, power.
What do you think the law
you're
is?
You're fine.
But what do you think the law is?
I noticed you don't answer any question.
No.
It's a very simple question. Yes or no? Do you support a law of the jungle where might is right?
Do you believe in non-compete?
You can't answer a question with a question. You have to answer the question. Do you support a might is right view where law of the jungle, whoever's powerful gets to do what they want?
I'm trying to find. I'll answer it for you. I'm trying to find out what other law of the land you think we live in. Help me understand.
We have domestic law. We have international law. We have criminal law.
What is the what?
I don't know where you're living.
What do you use? Do you use?
You've been in Florida far too long.
Do you use ChatGPT or do you use Claude? Which do you use more?
Probably ChatGPT more.
No, I can't. No, I'm sorry. This guy never answers a question. I'm realizing he never answers a question. Every single time, bro. Every single time. It's always a non sequitur.
GPT more than Claude? Okay. Do you know when it first started who had the biggest market share?
ChatGPT.
Oh, who do you think's killing it right now?
Claude.
Claude's picking it up. Why?
Because they invaded another country, kidnapped the president.
Because they produced a better product.
Did they?
And this is why.
Did Amade? What's the guy's name? Dario Amade. What's his name?
Yeah.
The guy who runs Claude. Did he go into Sam Altman's house in the middle of the night, take Sam Altman and his wife, put bags on their heads, and fly them back to his compound, and kill a grandmother in the process?
The only difference is that, but war is never.
That is the big difference, Patrick. I can't believe you don't see it.
No. I understand what you're saying in the argument of that, but the reality of it is, which is what?
A law of the jungle where the might is right. Do you support a world? Do you like living in a world? Are you pro? Do you support the idea of living in a world where powerful countries should be able to do what they want?
Can I ask you a question? What country?
You keep answering question with a question.
Why do you live in America? Why do you live in America? The most
because I like the law.
In the world.
You know what I like about the U.S.?
It's the most powerful.
No.
Go live in Iran.
No.
Go live in Iraq.
I don't live here because it's the most powerful country.
Why do you live here?
Because many reasons.
Give me.
One is it's a country that's governed by laws, principles, free speech.
Yes.
I love the First Amendment, the Constitution.
Yeah.
I don't favor presidents and people who say we should just break the law because we can.
I didn't say break the law.
What do you mean? Taking over Cuba is breaking the law. UN Charter. That's the law of the land.
If they come and they try to take over.
Who's coming?
Whoever it is. Trump's already talking about it. Rubio's already talking about it.
The Cubans are not taking over anything.
No, Cubans are not.
I'm going to keep it $1.50. I get why millions, tens of millions voted for Donald Trump. Like, this guy's an intellectual giant on the right. Think about that. Like, we're over here dunking on him. We're like, he's so profoundly stupid, right? Meanwhile, there's motherfuckers out there who not only watch this guy, hang on every word of his, think he's brilliant. They buy his $600 shoes. Those guys vote. And you bet your ass they're voting for Donald Trump. Okay? We were wondering why they keep saying like Cuba is going to do an attack. There's an imminent threat from Cuba. It turns out Patrick bet David.
Not taking over anything.
We are launching a war of aggression like the Nazis. Nuremberg called it. You know what the Nuremberg Tribunal called a war of aggression?
I'm assuming
Supreme international war crime.
Is it fair to say you were against tariffs on day one?
Yes.
I was for tariffs. Guess what Supreme Court ruled?
Against tariffs.
Okay, great. Yeah. Guess what? You just.
Okay.
That's what happened. If they go.
You want to live in a world where Trump says, F the Supreme Court, and that's what J.D. Vance has said on the record.
Not at all.
J.D. Vance has said this on the record. But you just said you want
I'm not.
People
but let me
get to do what they want.
Look, let me tell you.
You said it. Everyone
today,
can watch it.
Trump's the president, okay? A few years ago, Biden was the president. In 2028, AOC could be the president. Newsom could be the president. Rubio could be the president. Somebody else could be the president, right? Every time the opposing side is the president, the opposing side thinks it's the end of the world. What ends up happening to America? What ends up happening?
Bad things.
No, not necessarily. Eventually goes back to normalcy. And it's like, I'm going to go there.
I look at the Trump first term and I see 500,000 people killed from COVID because he couldn't handle a pandemic.
But do you know why, though? What protects America the way it does?
I would argue our laws, constitution, principles, history.
I like Supreme.
And you're saying I want to throw it all out.
No, but
to have an imperialist nation.
If a leader comes in that is a visionary leader that wants to expand and grow, and he can do it within his terms, and Supreme Court and law allows it, I don't mind him doing
First
that.
of all, the Supreme Court law doesn't allow it. Venezuela was unconstitutional. Congress declares war in this country.
Yeah, then if that's the case,
the president.
Well, we saw that with the 60-day rule with Iran.
He's violated that.
I understand that, and they're working around that right now in different ways.
American law. What about international law? Even if the American Congress votes to attack Cuba, that doesn't make it legal in international law. You can't attack other countries.
Mehdi, let me ask you: if For instance,
tomorrow you'll say
innocent
9/11 was
people-
just. Do you support 9/11?
innocent.
Do you support 9/11?
No.
Why?
No,
Al
I
Qaeda
don't
could do it. They did it. According to your logic, Al Qaeda had every right
No,
to do it.
there's a difference between me supporting it and then them doing it and then me retaliating to you. Like right now, if you and I were sitting,
But you don't think it was illegal?
do I? Of course, it's illegal.
Why? According to you, it doesn't matter.
No. Of course, it's illegal.
Oh, so 9/11's illegal,
No.
but us attacking Cuba is legal.
I didn't tell you.
I'm trying to follow.
You never heard me say attacking. If they can go and take it over without attacking, and the laws allow it, guess what? I'm for it.
None of those things happened with Venezuela, and actually the exact opposite of those things happened with Venezuela, and you are still supporting it. Who cares? I genuinely think he's like flailing around here to try to hold on to some kind of counter position because he has nothing. Straight up, he's got nothing. Like, there is no real disagreement here because there is no argument here. He's just operating off of vibes and being a pure contrarian because Mehdi is woke and a libtard. And he has to like defend Donald Trump. That's it. Because like, look, the principled stance here, the right-wing principled stance here, the pro-American intervention stance here is already laid out. He just doesn't know the talking points. Like, you have to say that, you have to lie, basically. You have to say that Venezuela is an imminent threat. We have to actually redouble our efforts to make sure that our own neighborhood, our own backyard is clean of any sort of like foreign intervention. Venezuela was a launching pad for Russian aggression against the United States of America, Chinese aggression against the United States of America. Venezuela also happens to be a major oil provider to Cuba, which is, again, 90 miles off of our coastline, imminent security threat. Like, there are talking points that you could advance, but he hasn't even read the talking points. He doesn't even care. By the way, I'm not saying these are correct, okay? I'm simply saying he hasn't even dignified Mehdi Hasan with a clear-cut, agenda-driven worldview as to why what Trump is doing is good. He is just a pure reactionary. He is a pure reactionary that is simply going, no, Trump did it and is good because he's got the power, he's got the bitches.
That's a whole different argument.
It's not
if
a whole
the Cuban
different.
people vote in a referendum to become the 51st
Don't
state.
spin right now and make it seem like I want to go kill people and take
You
stuff over.
defended Venezuela. We killed people to get him out.
I never said if. But by the way,
You said give him credit.
Wait, you never defended Venezuela? You did. I know you like number.
Venezuela, you did say that.
you don't think that was a good move?
No.
You don't think that was a good move?
I don't believe you should. I don't support regime change. I don't support assassinating foreign leaders.
You
What
don't
did George Washington say? Don't go abroad looking for monsters to slay. Or was it Adams? I forget. Founder.
So you don't support what he did. You
I do not support the United States government.
Well, I thought that was a
attacking
massive
foreign
victory,
countries,
especially the way they did it.
and killing foreign leaders. Even if it has a good outcome, I don't support it because I support laws and principles.
Well, I do also support laws and principles. But if you say you support laws and principles, you're trying to tell me Obama followed everything?
No.
You telling me
he violated the law in Libya? I criticized him for
every one of them.
because I'm not in a cult. I criticized Obama in 2011 for doing Libya.
Do you know what's the difference between you and I and them?
I criticize people on all sides. You don't.
Yeah, we do. We do it as well. But you know what's the difference between you and I and them?
Go on.
What's the difference?
Wait, what criticisms does he have of Donald Trump? As much as I hate to admit it, your accent is getting better. I know you like number. Moving to another question. Yeah, it's actually crazy. He's genuinely asking because he doesn't know.
We do it as well. But you know what's the difference between you and I and them?
Go on.
What's the difference?
You and I and who?
You and I talking, giving our opinions, and Obama and Trump. What's the difference between you and I and them?
We're not politicians.
They made it into the White House.
Okay.
And so they're going to be able to do whatever they're going to do. You and I can talk about it, give our opinions.
We don't have an imperial presidency. We
Dude,
shouldn't have
what? He's like a child. He literally, okay. I think this is his actual worldview. I don't like, a lot of chatters initially were saying, oh, he's like, acting aloof. He's being obtuse on purpose to like try to manage the argument. No, I think he has like toddler brain. He's like, no, those guys are powerful. They won their races and they're the big business guy. I'm a business guy. I'm a numbers guy. They are the biggest business guy. If they want to me, they can. I have to open up my butthole and say, go on in, Mr. President, because they actually did it. They actually did it. They became the president. If you're the president, you are the big boss. You do whatever you want to do. F my wife, please. You can f my wife all day. It's okay. There's nothing I can do. I'll sit around. I'll say I'm a numbers guy. I'm a chat GPT it. I will grok it. but that's how it works. Like everything is a business. Anyone with any power deserves the level of power that they have because they've worked tirelessly to get it. And whichever way they abuse that power, it's actually valid because they have the power to do it. If it's successful. If it's unsuccessful, well, then maybe we can have a different conversation. But of course, if it's Donald Trump doing it, I'll still act like it is successful, as is the case with Iran.
Imperial president.
We did. That's why we have the freedom of speech of giving our opinions.
We also have a vision of America, which is supposed to be a restrained commander-in-chief. The founders came to, we're celebrating 250 years of American history. They came to this country, from where? From my old country, the UK, to get away from a mad king, not to recreate a mad king.
Okay, so we can get past this. I mean, when maybe the next time we'll do the podcast, we'll do it in Cuba or Venezuela, just for the sake of what we'll enjoy ourselves with. Anyways, let me get to the next story with you. By the way, Mamdani, Spencer Pratt, what commonality do you see between the two of them?
Very little.
Very little.
Very little.
Tell me why.
Because I know this is argument that says all of these candidates who make a lot of noise, do well on social media, are similar. But I think people have underestimated what Mamdani is. Mamdani, yes, is charismatic, had a great social media game. I interviewed his team that made his social videos. Great people, smart people. The video he did where he jumped into the water, freezing cold, to show freeze the rents. The video he did for halal.
You're saying Mamdani or
Mamdani. I'm just talking about his campaign was brilliant online. No doubt about it. The halal.
Maybe one of the best.
One of the best, yeah.
Maybe one of the best.
One of the best.
And the guy that
came out of nowhere, 1%.
Yeah,
Only
I
1%.
I agree.
But what happened is a lot of Democrats took the wrong lesson from that. They said, this guy is so good on social media. We got to hire the same people who did his social media campaigns. We got to do video. Did you notice after Mamdani won the primary, suddenly you saw all these congressional Democrats primaries walking down the same videos, same cutaways, same. And they think that's how you replicate Mamdani. They misunderstand. Mamdani, yes, the social media game helped him get his message across, helped him get the youth out. But at the core of Mamdani was a very clear message. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to compare him to Trump right now.
Be careful.
I'm going to compare him to Trump. Donald Trump, I asked this question to everyone. I can't get fired. So
you're a capitalist. You're free.
I'm free. 2016, I say this to everyone I talk to about politics. I said, tell me. I say this to leftists. I say this to liberals. I say this to Muslims. I say this to non-Muslims. Tell me what Donald Trump's 3 main policies were in 2016.
What was it?
You tell me. What was his slogan? Do you remember what Donald Trump, what did he run on? When he first ran, what did he run on?
Get rid of these rapists and all this stuff.
Ban Muslims. Build a wall. Remember that? That was all his big lines.
Build a wall is one. Yeah.
So we remember all those slogans.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Do you remember what Hillary Clinton's lines were? No.
I'm for her, and that's about it.
No.
First female president.
But her own slogan, which she had a great, 77-page childcare proposal, I'm sure. I'm sure it's better than Trump's. But people don't campaign like that. And I think what Mamdani did is, even now, you ask me, what does our Mamdani run on? Okay, freeze the rents, free buses, free childcare. It was message discipline around a set of policies that people identified with, that helped with this ridiculous affordability crisis, that made him seem like he was in touch. And I think
this is what I try. This is why I try to force candidates into doing this.
If Democrats only take away, or people in the media only take away from Mamdani that, the guy's slick, he smiles well, Trump loves him, he does great social videos.
You don't
That's
think
a
Pratt
mistake.
has that?
I don't think. What's Pratt's main policy platform that's going to get people out for him?
Kill the homeless, melt the homeless, throw them in a vat of acid. Did I win that? Did I get it right?
The fires, homelessness.
Everyone says they want to deal with that. That's
but that's because that's
the
what's
guy is a
happening in
reality
LA.
TV star. I'm not a fan of reality TV stars running for president. I wrote a piece saying Oprah should not run for president years ago. Although I have said Jon Stewart should run in a
Do
primary.
you think
just for
Spencer
fun.
Pratt stands a chance?
Yes,
He does.
Because America's fucked up right now.
You think Spencer Pratt stands a chance?
Donald Trump is president of the United States twice. I'm never going to rule out anything in this country. I thought Trump wouldn't win in 2016. That's how dumb I was in 2016. That's why I don't do predictions anymore. No, 24. I said he would win, and I said he's going to win, and he's going to be a fascist.
When did you say he'd win in 24?
All of 24. I spent all of 24 warning.
Got it.
I said get rid of Biden.
So
I said Kamala needs to change her performance.
You think this is the new era? You think that this is the new era of types of people that run for president, which before used to be general, military, all this stuff?
Yeah,
now
I don't think it's a good thing. And I wrote this piece when they were thinking about Oprah. Do you remember a few years ago, people were pushing Oprah Winfrey's name? And I wrote a piece for The Intercept saying, come on, no, let's not go down this road. I do think you need politicians.
I think Mehdi Hasan's biggest weakness is that he tries to always be consistent. Or rather, he thinks his opposition cares about his consistency. Like, that's the reason why he's bringing up the Oprah thing, where he's like, see, I even said Oprah shouldn't run for office. And it's like, dude, the guy in front of you doesn't understand basic concepts. Like, you don't have to You don't have to literally engage in the ass covering of being like, see, I'm legit. Like it's so funny. Like you have your integrity. I believe you. You don't have to literally defend it. His problem is that he thinks liberalism can be consistent. Yeah, Patrick Bet-David doesn't understand object permanence. You don't have to literally be like, see, I said Oprah shouldn't run. And then he even qualifies and says, well, maybe I thought Jon Stewart should run. It's like, that's too much.
With charisma. And that's why people think of Hollywood stars. That's why someone like, I love Jon Stewart. I would love Jon Stewart to run in a primary just to shake things up.
He'd be fun.
I don't think he'd be a great president, but I think him running would just add to the race. But my biggest problem is I take politics seriously. To go back to, I've been studying, I've been a political journalist for 25 years.
This is your sport.
I did politics at university. I did politics at high school. I do debate. I take this shit seriously. And it annoys me when, look at Donald Trump. What did he say yesterday? I'm bored. I'm bored of the Iran negotiations, like a freaking child, right? You cannot have people who are unserious people.
You can't help yourself, can you, with Trump?
I can't. Unserious people in charge of our countries.
Have you ever met him, by the way?
No.
You've never met?
I've never met Donald Trump, no. No, should I go to a White House briefing?
No, I'm just trying to see if you've ever met him.
Should I go to a White House briefing and try and get called on by Caroline Levitt?
Did you?
I got a few questions.
Did you meet Biden?
Did I meet Biden? I'm trying to think. I was in an event with Biden. I don't think I met him. But
Obama?
No, he was before my time. I arrived at the end of his presidency.
Did you interview?
I was in a room with Obama. I interviewed a lot of his people, Ben Rhodes, a lot of people around him.
Not him.
Not the president.
Okay,
the president gave me an interview then. I wasn't out. Yeah, no.
Got it. Surprised you've never met Trump.
No.
Would you want to meet him?
I'm a journalist. How would I not want to meet him? I'd love to interview.
What would you ask him? What 3 questions would you ask him? You sat with him. What do you ask him?
I mean, I'd only get 3 because he'd walk out after 3.
You think he would?
Oh, he's super thin-skinned.
You think he would want?
Look, he gets upset with like, I regard American interviewers to be softball interviewers. I'm from the UK where we do tough interviews. My biggest criticism of the American media is weak-ass interviews. Nora O'Donnell barely asked him anything the other day. The guy had a meltdown. He's like, you're so rude. You're so rude. You're so disgusting. He just can't handle. He's got such a thin skin. He's the whiniest leader we've ever had.
He asked about, if I'm not mistaken, he asked about the guy's letter.
Yes.
That had to do with rape and pedophilia and something like that.
Yeah.
She started with, and you could tell she was nervous when she asked the question.
This is CBS. This is now in the can for Trump. Let's not forget.
Sure.
This is the guy who says, be quiet, piggy, to reporters. He can't handle tough questions.
So what do you ask him? You got 3 questions. What do you ask him?
I would ask him, I wouldn't ask him opinion questions. It annoys me when people say, what do you think, mister? He loves that shit. I would ask him fact questions about what is happening in the world. I would ask him, it depends on the day, right? If I'm interviewing him right now, I would say to him, you said, my opening question would be, you said a few weeks ago that people say Donald Trump's going to get bored of this war. I don't get bored, you said. And yesterday you said, I'm bored of this war. How do you explain that? That would be my first question later on.
What else?
I would say to him, are you out of your depth in this conflict? And I would give it the evidence as to why he's out of his depth and ask him to deal with each of those examples. For example, the Strait of Hormuz. For example, the Gulf countries. I also wouldn't be able to resist having some fun. I always think someone should ask Donald Trump. I would love for someone at a White House briefing to stand up and ask something that completely exposes this man's pig ignorance of the world. I would love someone to stand up and say, Mr. President, when will you be going to Wakanda? They are building a Trump Tower there and they love you in Africa. And he would say, I love them too. Because he doesn't know that Wakanda is a fictional country.
You think he would say that?
Oh my God. Not only is Mehdi right, Patrick loved it. God damn it. God damn it. You know he's stupid. Patrick, you know your boy is dumb as bricks, bro. That's crazy.
110%.
You think it would say that?
I would pay money to any White House correspondent watching. They get fired on the spot by the network.
It's obvious. Do you put him as an intelligent man? You put him as
depends how you define intelligence.
Well, how do you,
like street smart, getting ahead, getting his way? Yeah.
Sure.
Like he wouldn't be able to get where he got to.
He's probably not a well-read guy in your eyes.
That's an understatement. I think he's one of the most ignorant people I've ever come across. You seen the latest stuff? He keeps being like, I call them Democrats. You have to take the B off of dumb. Most people don't know that dumb has B on it. No, most people do know that. You probably just discovered that there's a B on dumb. You know, there's a Trump tick. I watch him so much. Whenever he says most people didn't know this, it means he just discovered something himself 2 minutes ago.
You literally think he just discovered how to spell dumb?
I know it. And talk to the people who worked with him. We're second-term Trump, Patrick. I don't have to make this stuff up.
Yeah.
Dozens of people have now left the administration, have told their stories, and it's all the same thing. The guy is an egomaniac. The guy is vain. The guy is dumb. The guy changes his opinion based on the last person he spoke to.
This is a guy that won in business. This is a guy that
didn't
won
win in
media.
business. 5 bankruptcies in a row. You're more successful than he is.
This is a guy that took a show from
business.
0
He's
to
not
1,
Steve
15
Jobs,
years.
for God's
guy,
sake.
dude, the guy won presidency two times.
I give you apprentice.
2 times.
I give you apprentice.
See, I'm telling you, oh my God, we are peeling the layers of the onion of his mind. And yes, much like an onion, it might be a little smooth. He genuinely is like, no, you're a business guy. Everything is business. Everybody casino. Everything computer. Donald Trump business. And when you're the big business guy, when you win the biggest business of all, which is the American presidency, you get to do whatever the you want. I wonder how he treats his employees, honestly. With that mentality, holy shit. It's awesome. He truly is like, the presidency is the biggest business, and you've won that. You've won that seat of power, which means you can do whatever you want.
Apprentice, great reality TV star.
2 times.
Great. I'm not going to question his ability to run a reality TV star. I'm questioning his ability to run America.
How do you think about his kids? Do you give him compliment as a parent, as a father?
No. Have you read the stories about
You don't
his
think he's a
children?
good father? Why do you think his kids love him?
You think the kids love him?
You don't think they do?
I mean,
Why
if
do
you
think
read
they wanna be around him all the
if you
time?
read some of the tabloids, well, money and power can be
You think that's
great.
the only reason? I know
Well, if
a
you
lot
read-
of billionaires that
again,
their kids don't want to be around him.
If you read the New York tabloid press that Trump was very friendly with, the kids didn't like him when he was young. They were annoyed that he was cheating on their parents, his respective mothers. Things changed. There's stories about him allegedly. It's denied.
There we
There's
go.
stories about allegedly him, slapping Don Jr. at college in front of his friends, and all sorts of stories. I don't know if they're true or not, but this is what's reported. Tiffany Trump, he never
Coming
talks about.
from a Muslim and a Middle Eastern dude, what did our parents do to us when we were kids? Did you ever get slapped?
That's, of course.
Dude, are you like, you and I don't have the permission to say anything with that.
No, that's
so we
fair.
got to
That's
change the
fair. I
subject.
withdraw that.
Yeah, withdraw
He
that.
didn't go to his son's. He didn't go to his son's wedding so he could do troll posts about Ro Khanna. Ask
Nah, I
yourself
don't
that
think he didn't
question.
go to the wedding because they had to go back for the war and everything that was going on.
Come on.
Question.
Nah, great.
When it comes down to Muslims, 2020 vote to 2024.
I love you.
Curious.
You did whatever you did.
Hang
You
on.
came back
You-
to
no,
Muslim.
you-
Why are you
you
obsessed
like-
with Muslims?
you like
Because you left
stats.
Iran.
I want to give
No,
you
I want to
stats.
know why you're obsessed with
I
Muslims.
want to give you stats.
You know there was a terrorist attack on a mosque recently.
I want to give
Did
you.
that bother
stat.
you?
I want to
Patrick?
give you a stat.
Did that bother you?
Can I, Mehdi, invite me to your show? I'll
Oh,
answer
I'm
questions
inviting
for
you up to
So
this.
here we go.
Sure.
So
you've all heard it. He said
20
to invite him, Rob. You heard it. Everyone on YouTube heard it. I'm inviting you to a
Okay,
show.
all right, so here
Got
we
a lot
go.
of questions for you.
2020, Biden had 69% of Muslim votes.
Yes.
Trump had 24%. 2025, Kamala dropped the Democrat vote from 69 to 50%. Trump went from 24 to 31%. Third party got 12% and increased by 9%. Why did Muslims become Republicans?
Gaza. There are other issues too. The bathroom transgender issue in places like Michigan. A lot of conservative Arab Muslims didn't like that.
No.
They don't like that was happening even before Gaza.
No, it's Gaza, man. Come on. Conservative or not, Muslims, first of all, Muslims are nowhere near as conservative as evangelical white Christians are. And evangelical white Christians are obviously far larger in numbers and have a far more outsized level of influence in American politics. But Muslims overwhelmingly voted for, or the Muslims that did actually vote for Trump overwhelmingly voted because at the time, the Democrats were the ones responsible for the genocide. Yeah, plenty of them just didn't vote. But it's Gaza, 100%.
Not about that. But it was still a kind of fringe issue. What made it an issue in the Muslim community?
the LGBT.
Yeah, there were conservative Arab communities in Dearborn who were like,
And
we don't
I'm
want
glad
this.
you brought that up.
We don't want this. And they brought that up. That was before Gaza. There's no
I'm
debate.
glad you brought that up because although I also, as a numbers guy, don't like the transgenders, I am now going to cynically talk about how the Muslims are barbaric for not liking the transgenders. That's the other thing. Yeah, that's why I said I'm glad you brought that up. These guys always are like, yeah, I think trans people should be forcibly detransitioned. And then they'll turn around and be like, and this is why Muslims are bad because they're against the transgenders. It's like, well, you're against the transgenders. Is it only bad when it plays a role in your argument that Muslims are an anti-progressive force? You're an anti-progressive force.
Some were shifting already to the Republican Party.
Sure.
But they were a tiny minority. The vast majority of Muslims still voted. Democrats still supported, still understood. The Republican Party is Islamophobic. White supremacist adjacent party right now.
You think number
has
one
Randy
reason is,
Fine in it.
You think number one reason why they vote the other
Gaza
side
by
is
a
because
mile.
of Israel?
10 miles.
Okay.
Gaza. No, not Israel. The Gaza genocide. You have to understand, I spoke to a lot of these people. I traveled through all these communities in 2024.
Yep.
And I tried to point out, yes, Biden and Harris are complicit in a genocide. No one's defending the Democrats. I was very critical of the Democrats and what they did between 2023 and 2024. But Trump will be worse or as bad. He's not going to be better. And people bought the Trump shtick. No, he's anti-war. He didn't start any new wars. He's not interested in the Middle East. He's friends with MBS. He's friends with Erdogan. It's going to be great. I met Palestinians who told me Trump will be better on Gaza. He's transactional president. They bought that shit. Look at him now. Look how many Arab countries have been bombed. But Muslims were not voting for Trump as a whole. You mentioned third party too. Jill Stein picked up a lot of votes in some places. Not as many as people thought she would.
12%.
Of Muslim votes, yes.
Yeah.
So in certain places. So
majority was like 2%.
But my bigger picture is every time I said to someone, Trump is going to be worse than Harris, they said legitimately to me, but we have to punish the Democrats. That was the line. We have to punish the Democrats. They can't be seen to get away with a genocide. And when you say Kamala dropped it to 50, well, Joe Biden dropped it to 50. Harris kept it at 50 by not distancing herself from Biden. Her biggest single mistake was going on The View, and my friend Sunny Hostin said to her, what will you do differently to Joe Biden? And she said, nothing. And the minute she said that, I knew she's lost. But that was it. Until then, I had some hope. She could beat him. She was leading in the polls after the convention.
Is this the worst candidate you've ever seen on the left? In our lifetime? This is your sport.
I don't think she's as bad as people thought she was. I think she was definitely handed a poison
chalice. Who's worse than her on the left?
But who's ever had a 100-day campaign? Like she got a shitty legacy. Let's just be fair to her, right? If we're going to be fair, we should be fair that she got a shit. Joe Biden should not have been in the race until July of 2024. No, that was insane.
I'm with you on that one.
She then got
you
coronated.
Saw what Joe Biden came out and said,
what a load of bullshit from Joe Biden. She's like, I thought he had a stroke that night. No, you didn't.
And then the video says, oh, Joe, you did so good.
Yeah, we saw you that night.
Yeah.
If you thought you had a stroke, why didn't you call the White House doctor? Bullshit, but rewriting of history. I did a video that night after the debate in my basement, in my home studio. I got attacked for it by some people saying Biden needs to stand down. It's ridiculous. And I still think Trump should stand down. He's also got mental issues. But Harris was a good candidate for a very short period. She had all this momentum, the honeymoon period. Americans love rehabilitation. You give somebody a chance. She comes in, she gets a boost. She runs this, I'm Joy. Remember that? Goes to the convention. I was at the convention. It felt like a freaking party. I remember a member of Congress was there.
As if it's already.
A Democratic member of Congress said to me, this is bad. We have not won. This is way too early. There's a member of Congress said this to me, a lefty. And I remember sitting there watching, Beyonce is going to be here. It wasn't Beyonce, it was fucking Leon Panetta. But anyways, bizarre. We come out of that convention, and then she starts tacking to the right. She starts saying all this shit about, what was it? Oh, they were shutting down Lena Khan, the antitrust stuff. She had Mark Cuban, Liz Cheney campaigning for her. She campaigned more with Liz Cheney than with AOC and Bernie, right?
By the way, that was horrible move.
Insane.
Horrible move.
It didn't win over anyone.
Did you think that was a good idea?
No, I said at the time. At the time, I said, these people are not going to switch over. Olivia Troy, who's a good friend of mine, former Trump official turned never Trumper, she was part of that. And she admits now, I've interviewed her. She says, yeah, we tried, but we thought there'd be like this mass of conservative women that would come over.
How much money did they raise? 2.1, what was the number? 1.5 billion or 2. That's a big number.
It was a lot.
Yeah. But so
But she also had her brother-in-law, by the way. There's a lot of reporting that suggests Kamala's brother-in-law, her sister's husband, I think it's Tony West is his name, big Uber lobbyist. He was pushing her to drop all the affordability good stuff, drop the ads. There was poll testing
some
done.
Controversy with him as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't
Tony
know.
West, yeah.
But the affordability agenda that she dropped, she should have gone economic populist, right? She did not go economic populist. Instead, she campaigned with a billionaire and with a war criminal. And I think that was a huge problem. And then she went on The View and said, no change. This is a change election. You can't go into change elections. I'm not going to do anything different from the guy who's going out. It was just
So you think, okay, so go to 28.
But she could have won, by the way. He didn't win a landslide. Trump lied his ass off.
What do you mean she could have won? She lost every single state, 7 states.
Have you looked at the numbers? In the 3 key swings.
She helped more counties become Republican in America.
Have you looked at the numbers? If 115,000 people had voted differently, she would be president. That's what it came down to in our ludicrous system. She lost by 1.5 percentage points. One of the narrowest. He got one of the narrowest wins in modern American history. You know that, right? I know he lies, and people like you give him credit. He lies. He says, I won a landslide. He won one of the worst. You can pull it up, Rob. I wrote a piece for The Guardian with all the receipts.
Every county became more Republican in America.
Pull up my piece.
Every
Guardian,
county
2024, Mehdi landslide. Type it out.
Can you please send this chart to this man here?
Pull it up.
The Muslim community is becoming more Republican.
Patrick,
which is great.
Patrick, will you give me permission to read from your screen?
Go for it.
Can we scroll down?
Yes.
This is a great moment for me, taking over your show. Scroll down. Keep going. Stop. So the former president's margin of victory over Harris is a minuscule 1.6 percentage point. Actually, it's 1.5. It went down after that. Smaller than that of every winning president since 1888 other than JFK and Richard Nixon. In fact, in the 55 presidential elections in which the popular vote winner became president, listen to this. Oh, your viewers are getting some good facts today. 49 of those 55 elections were won with a margin bigger than Donald Trump's in 2024. I hope the president is watching your show. I know he's a friend of yours. He's coming on the show.
Can you do me a favor?
Donald Trump, you lost.
Can you show
you won with a
how many
49th
counties?
Who gives a fuck about counties?
Won.
I'm showing you the margin of victory.
Dude, Mehdi.
He won by 1.5. You can raise your voice, but I've already done my receipts.
If there's anybody that has no room to say anything, look at this here.
My receipts are up.
Look at this here. You
Patrick,
run away.
I love this
here.
You know, land doesn't vote.
He converted Muslims into Republicans.
Patrick, you know, land doesn't vote. I love these maps. That's land.
You showed us that.
Land doesn't vote.
Dude,
I gave you the numbers.
Voted for him.
Still more for the Democrats.
No. Muslims went from 24% for Trump in 2020 to 31%.
Patrick, I'm not on the right.
He's winning your people over.
Patrick, and it kills me. Patrick, I'm not on the right. I'm not an election denier. Donald Trump won, but he didn't win 50% of the vote. You know, people say he won the popular vote. You know, he didn't win a majority of the votes. He's run in 3 elections.
I know that, but
you know, he's run 3 elections.
You know who's the
won
last Republican that has?
George W. Bush.
Yeah, it's the last one that did it. It's not that's not like oh my God, he didn't win the majority. You know,
but he hasn't. But he brags and says he does. Yeah, but he's never won a majority of the vote. Today he's polling in the 30s. He's lost. By the way, he's lost all that support from Latinos, young people, and Muslims. Yeah. You accept that, right? That coalition he put together is gone now.
Yeah. So this the part where guys like you come out and they'll say what they'll say.
They'll say facts.
Did you see Did you see his endorsement? How they did? Did you see his endorsement? How they did? Everybody he picked. Did you see how many of them won?
Oh, in the primaries.
Yeah. Did you see?
Great news for Democrats.
Great news. Tell me why.
You think James Tallarico wants to run against Paxton or Cornyn?
I'm actually curious. Tell me why.
No, he picks horrible candidates. Remember, what was the Georgia candidate? They should have won Georgia and they lost. Who did they put up? Herschel Walker. Remember that? Remember Herschel Walker?
I remember.
Remember the dude in Alabama?
He had a hard time speaking.
Remember the dude in Alabama who was accused of child molestation that he denied? I can't remember his name. Alabama guy from his first term. He backed him. He lost.
Talk about now.
He picks.
Talk about now.
Picks bad.
117.
Why would you back Paxton?
117.
Yeah, but why would you back Paxton? Let's just talk about the main.
Tell me why you. So you like establishment candidates? It's like not about 40 plus years.
I hate John Cornyn. I hate Ken Paxton. But who would you want to run against? I want the Democrats to win the Senate, obviously, to save democracy.
So you think Tallarico does better with Paxton than he does with Cornyn?
You don't?
I'm asking you.
I'm asking you.
No, I ask you.
I 100% think he's going
to do better.
Well, the polls show he's doing better.
Yeah.
I mean, just trust the polls. He's leading in the polls.
So you think his power? By the way, do you guys and your family celebrate Pride Month?
Do we celebrate Pride Month?
Yeah, I mean, what does that mean? I'm just asking. Like, do you have a way of celebrating Pride Month? Because Tallarico,
not personally, but I support people who do. Do you see Mamdani yesterday?
No.
Interesting couple of posts. You know, he was like Muslim Sharia. He's an extremist.
What do you say?
People on your side. 9 a.m. he posts Happy Pride Month. Mayor of New York.
Yeah.
Midday, Happy Eid. Hosted Eid at Gracie Mansion. That's modern America. People that want to make this guy into some kind of extremist. You guys on your show, I see you getting worked up about prayers in New York. This guy. Zoran Mamdani.
You think okay, so by the way, I think Tallarico's formidable. It's not like I don't think he's formidable. I think he's a very good communicator. I think he's to be honest with you, I think he's a better version of Pete Buttigieg. I think he's a better version of Pete Buttigieg.
Okay.
I think he's got a bigger upside than Pete Buttigieg.
Okay.
So I think
he's very talented.
I think he's very talented.
I want to interview him again. He's a very, very good talker. His policies are good. Texas is difficult. My wife is from Texas. I spend a lot of time in Texas. I'm under no illusions. It's a difficult state to win, but it's not as red as Republicans want you to believe.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
And I think that they could have probably won with Cornyn, but I think now it's in play. And you have to ask, what is Donald Trump's political strategy? You know, Patrick, that every Republican senator is pulling their hair out wondering, what the hell did Donald Trump do here? He's now put the Senate in play in a way it wasn't in play before. Because even if Paxton wins Texas, they have to divert a bunch of resources from other states which need them more to protect him. That's the problem, strategically.
For Paxton or Tallarico?
For the Republicans trying to save their Senate majority, they're going to have to divert resources to defend.
You know how much money they're going to spend on this?
Yeah, but it could have been spent elsewhere.
We're going to see the money go in there in ways we've never seen
But it
before.
could have been spent elsewhere.
Could be. I mean, that's the part about...
They got a tough race in Michigan. They got a tough race all over.
By the way, just out of curiosity.
They're losing in North Carolina.
I'm curious what you're going to say with this. So out of curiosity, you have two people to choose as a candidate. One is a hardcore Republican, capitalist, pro-Trump guy who's a Muslim. Second one is a hardcore socialist, progressive, liberal who is a Christian. Which do you vote for?
Obviously, I vote for the person whose values and policies I support. I don't vote based on religion.
So you would vote for the second person?
Of course.
Because the values and principles.
Of course. I don't vote based on...
How is that shocking? Why would that be shocking? Who the would be like, oh, I'm voting for the Muslim every time? What the How is that confusing?
Religion. Mehmet Oz ran against John Fetterman. He would have been the first Muslim senator. If Abdul El-Sayed pulls it off in Michigan, he will be the first ever Muslim member of the United States Senate in American history.
Yeah, we've never had one.
We never had one.
Yeah.
Mehmet Oz could have
5 congressmen.
Mehmet Oz could have been the first Muslim
But he would have
senator.
been a Republican.
Exactly. And his policies were horrible.
So for
His
you,
fealty to
that's a no-go.
Yeah, because I don't care. It would be nice
So
to say, hey,
policies
a Muslim
over
of
faith.
course. But then, by the way, who did I back against him? Literally the worst Democratic senator, he turned out to be John Fetterman. But let's put that to one side. But Mehmet Oz, yeah, I don't vote on religion. I think it's crazy if people vote on religion. You shouldn't vote on religion.
Okay, so
Muslims shouldn't vote for Muslims. Jews shouldn't vote for Jews. Christians vote. You should vote based on your policy platform, the principles and values.
Do you think we'll have
Muslims are not a monolith. I don't agree with all Muslims. You just mentioned some of them who vote for Trump.
Do you think long term America will be at a point where we'll have a Muslim governor or a Muslim president?
Muslim governor, I hope. Maybe Mamdani. He can't be president, right? So where does he go next after
He
mayor?
could be governor.
He could be governor, he could be senator, right? He can't go anywhere else. Secretary of State, whatever it is.
Yeah.
He can't be president, sadly.
Not even
tragically.
VP, right? VP, you can't
No,
even be
because
VP.
you have to be-
So Speaker of the House, you could be.
Would you rather have a piece of toast with shit on it, but it's your favorite brand, or a peanut butter jelly sandwich, but it's made with Sara Lee bread? I'm going to get you on this. I'm a numbers guy. I'm going to get you on this, okay?
No, I think that if he chooses to go that route,
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Because
Can you
if
pull
because
that up,
Speaker
Rob?
of the House is third in line to the
I
presidency.
think you could be Speaker.
But then what if the president, vice
I know,
president, God forbid,
on the
die?
same plane, but that's why they're not on the same flight when they go. You'll notice some of the stuff that they do.
Well, I don't know the answer to the question.
Let's-
If you're ineligible from the presidency, can you be in the line
Yes,
of
the
succession?
Constitution does not require the Speaker of the House to be born in the U.S.
But it
So,
means they would have to skip past the speaker if something happened. to
yeah,
the
it would go to
president. Okay.
somebody else.
So he could run for Congress, be speaker, he could be whatever. But to come back to your question, yes, Muslim governor, I think hopefully very soon.
Yeah.
Inshallah, as Joe Biden might say. And president, I don't think for a while. Look, let's first get a woman president. This country is so behind the rest of the world. We haven't had a woman leader. Pakistan's had a woman leader.
He's such a freaking lib. I mean, I know he's angling it to talk about AOC probably, but even then, bro.
Bangladesh has had a woman leader. Most European countries have had a woman leader. America still needs to do that basic thing. And
What do your thoughts on, a lot of people in America, you got things that's happening in Texas with that one city, what is it called? Epic City or something like that in Plano, Texas.
Yeah.
What do you say to some conservatives that are worried about Sharia law making it into America?
I would say, please do not worry. You're being lied to. You're being gaslit. You're being distracted. This is a fake moral panic that's been blown up.
Because it'll never happen, or because Sharia law is not that bad?
Because it's not two different things. Number one, Sharia law's not what you think it is, but that we can park that for discussion for a moment. I'll come to that. It's not happening. There's nobody I know who's pushing Sharia law in this country. It's completely fake, and it's being pushed in ridiculous places, not just Texas, Oklahoma, Indiana. Did you see the lieutenant governor of Indiana said recently, we need to hate Islam. It's a demonic religion, right? And I'm going to fight radical Islam and Sharia. Do you know what the Muslim population of Indiana is? Less than 1%. Like, this is ridiculous fear-mongering.
It has 3x the U.S., I think, in the last 26 years, if I'm not mistaken. Muslim population.
But it's still less.
Not Indiana.
But it's even nationwide. What is it? 1 to 2%.
I want to say 4.5 million.
It's which is
yeah,
what?
you're right. It's 1 or 2%. But by the way, you're 3x and in 26
I'm a numbers guy. One Muslim is too many.
years. It's not like you're not doing a good job. You're growing.
We're growing. Elon Musk wants people to have more kids. But my point being is, it's not going to happen. But also, a few things. Number one, please let's not talk in this demonizing way about Muslim communities being a threat to you, because it has real world consequences. We just saw in San Diego, a mosque was attacked by 2 Nazi teenagers who shot and killed 3 people, including the security guard, who had 8 kids. Police say he was a hero, saved 100 kids in that mosque, in the school, right? Murdered by 2 guys. Do you read their manifesto? I don't like reading these shooters' manifestos.
I read the whole thing.
Some of the lines in there are crazy. They say, what they say?
Towards everybody.
Towards everybody. Jews, women, Muslims, gay. But the line about Muslims is really scary, because they say, we don't hate Muslims. We hate Islam. We hate the invasion of our country. That is rhetoric that you hear on right-wing media. That is rhetoric that you hear in the House of Representatives. That is what you hear from Randy Fine. That is what you hear from Republicans. That is what you hear in America. So that is not just some Nazi shooter. That is mainstream rhetoric that has been mainstreamed on the right, and has real-world consequences. If you say, look, I've seen some of your shows. You've talked about Muslims praying in Times Square, that being some kind of threat. I would say just have a sense of what the real world consequences of our rhetoric can be. Words have consequences. Crazy people out there can pick up weapons and think Muslims are coming to take over my country.
I would tell you, I've interviewed a lot of weird people on my podcast. A lot. You tell them I'll have them on. I don't have a problem talking to anybody. I had a great conversation with Wes Moore.
Yeah.
What was it, 5 weeks ago? I've had mobsters on, Sammy the Bull. I've had Kobe on. I've had, many different people on. You know what's the only one that brought so many death threats? Bibi was the only one. I've had a lot of people on.
Okay.
Multiple presidents. We did a podcast with Bibi. I've never told this story publicly, so they'll know. It was on my birthday, and I come out of the podcast. My security says, there's a guy in the front lobby that just got caught with cops with grenades. I said, this is a terrible joke here, because everybody always tried to prank me for my birthday, and I always catch people. Like, they're trying to surprise me. I'm like, listen, this is not the right way to do it. He says, I'm not laughing. This is an 18 Delta guy. And I said, really? He says, yeah, look at the front gate. So I go to the front gate. I'm looking. I'm like, wait a minute. What is that? Cops everywhere. Guy shows up. I'll show you the pictures afterwards. With grenades, with weapons, with guns that came in here. And the number of death threats that we started getting afterwards, insanity, just for having Bibi.
Dare I ask, what was the guy's background? Do we know?
I couldn't tell you. I know he went away. I know they took his weapons away. I'll show you a couple texts and emails.
Was he quote unquote far right? Was he quote unquote Islamist? Do we know what his ethnicity was?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know that. I have no idea what that was. But the point is, the threat started increasing only after Bibi. So here's the part. When you say that, I think that applies to both sides.
I agree.
If you think about like who in the
100%.
history of America has had more assassination attempts as a president, where do you think that's coming from?
Wait, Donald Trump has not had more assassination attempts. I mean, does he know that American presidents have been assassinated, or at least like literally shot in a much more severe way than Donald Trump has? What the hell is this man talking about?
A fascist, Hitler, this, that.
But he deals it out. He's the one who started the threats and the violence.
I'm not going to sit here and apologize for him.
He calls his opponents Nazis.
He's called a lot of people a lot of things.
He called Biden a Nazi.
But the guys, after how many times they called him, he couldn't get anything right. When he was coming up, the media was just...
Come on, in 2016, he suggested the Second Amendment people should take care of Hillary Clinton. Come on, I have a longer memory. But let me come back to what I was saying. I agree with you. We need it across the board. I don't think we should have political violence. I don't support political violence on any end. I don't justify going after capitalists or anyone else. I'm against violence. So I'm saying to you, for example, you did a show recently, or not recently, I looked it up because I knew we were going to talk about Islam here. You have a show on YouTube called Islam's Hidden Threat to the West. You have another headline, Will Muslims Run America in 30 Years? Now, I know you like to host good faith discussions and debates, but you have to understand, if people get this in their feeds and their social media all the time, are you telling me that people are not going to start, if they hear Micah Beckwith of Indiana say Islam is a demonic religion, and then they hear guests on your show saying Islam's a threat to the West, and they hear Randy Fine saying Sharia law is taking over America, you don't think two Nazi teenagers with guns are going to go, well, I'm going to go deal with this mosque down my street? You're telling me there's no link between that?
Yeah.
Come on.
No, I'm not going to say there's no link between that. Of course,
we have to be careful. Let's not.
Wait, is he just openly taking ownership over like fomenting Islamophobia, which led to a literal terror attack recently? That's crazy, man. I mean, it's honest, but it's honestly crazy. What's the argument? He's like, well, if the Muslims, if they're good enough, if they're strong enough, they actually do a hate crime on me instead, because might makes right. Like, what were you saying? You said might makes right. That's why Muslims got to organize, just like Hamas. If they were going to fly over with their little flying golf carts over the compound, the Patrick Bet-David compound, I have to respect it. They obviously visualized a goal and they achieved it.
Yeah. We know that demonizing minority communities, look what happened to synagogues. Dude. And I would say the same thing about the Jewish community. We have to be careful about our criticism of Israel so it doesn't lead to attacks on Jews.
The question becomes, for me, it's all on data. Meaning, if you live
because he's a numbers guy.
My community, you make it safer, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
If you come and you create jobs, I'm all for it. If you come and you assimilate, you love America, I'm all for it. If you come in, you don't contribute, you take advantage of the programs that we have, you don't want to create jobs, where is the incentive? Why are we bringing it?
That's a different argument. We can have that argument. It is. I'm talking about incitement. When you say Muslims, are they going to run America in 30 years? Of course not. We're 1% of the population.
I don't think so. No,
when you say Islam is a threat to the West. Oh, come on. 1% of the population.
By 2050, you guys are going to be the biggest population in the world. You guys make 2.9
But not in America. Not in America. Okay. We're not even going to be. Pull up the numbers, Rob. What are we going to be in 2050?
The difference between you and I is, I think long term.
And even if, by the way, if we do grow as a community, even that, this is. I'm sorry to go back to World War II and the Nazis, but look at the rhetoric that Nazis used about Jews in 1920s, 30s. These people are aliens. They are parasites. They're leeching off our state. The rhetoric is it's very similar. When I listen to Andy Ogles and I listen to Chip Roy and I listen to Randy,
yes, you think Ilhan Omar loves America?
You know how I know she loves America.
You think Ilhan Omar loves America?
You don't?
Absolutely not.
She absolutely.
Dog, what have you done for Americans other than hawk ugly ass merchandise at them and maybe a multi-level marketing scheme? Ilhan Omar is literally a representative. She has constituents. She has constituent services. Like, of course she loves America and Americans. There's nothing more I love America than running for Congress, dude. What the a country that objectively despises her too. A country that outright yells at her, smears her, slanders her good reputation. I don't understand. In spite of all of that, she's still like, no, I want to do what's right by Americans.
Loves America. You know how I know she loves America?
Tell me.
Because she came to America, she decided to run for office. When she ran for office, she ran as a lefty who devotes her life to trying to improve people's lives. She wants healthcare for everyone. She wants healthcare for every Trump voter watching this show.
Speech of saying she is eventually going to return to her country and contribute to her country. She's only doing this to advance her country.
This is bullshit. Ilhan Omar.
It's her words. Pull up the video.
Listen to me.
Pull up her video.
Oh my God. Yo, Patrick Bet-David actually thinks he's white. I'm going to repeat this one more time. Patrick Bet-David unironically thinks that he is a white man. And also, if Mehdi were to say that about any like Jewish congressperson about Israel sincerely, like not any congressperson, like just like random Jewish, like imagine if, this is like saying that about Bernie Sanders, okay? Like this is the equivalent of Mehdi Hasan turning around and be like, well, Bernie Sanders is Jewish. Of course, he only cares about Israel. That's why he actually wanted to become president, so he could be the president that will do right by Israel. That's the equivalence of being like, well, Ilhan Omar obviously ran for office so she could defend the interests of Somalia. Dude, you think you're white too, Lamau? I feel like I'm a little bit more white passing than this man is. Come on, let's be real. And no, I'm under, I know I'm not perceived as such. Plus, it doesn't even matter because I'm not advocating for white supremacy like he is.
Her words. I just showed you Sam Piker, and you're like, I've never seen that video.
Let me say this to you.
Go ahead.
Donald Trump has made more anti-American remarks than Ilhan Omar. If we're going to go down who loves America, she loves it more than Trump does. She did insider insurrection.
Ilhan Omar loves America.
100 times
you're
more.
saying this.
100 times more.
I'm so glad
not even
the audience
1,000
can
times
see
more.
that Ilhan Omar loves America more than Trump.
Well, one person incited attack on our democracy. One didn't. One tried to undermine American democracy. One didn't.
Well,
one pardoned 1,600 people who attacked America. One didn't.
What happened with her finances? Where did the $30 million network come from out of nowhere?
So now,
it was an accounting.
Hold on.
Wait, what do you mean? No, her husband is rich. Well, that's it. What these are like easily addressable talking points. I don't know why they always do this. Where it's like, yeah, she got married to a rich guy. Like that's it. That's literally the point. That's what happened. I'm so confused about this. Also, really funny to be like, oh, how does she make her money? Dog, you have been eating Trump's asshole, dick, and balls for the last 2 hours. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, there is any metric that you try to disparage Ilhan Omar with, Donald Trump has done a millionfold. What are you talking about? Shit that you're making up about Ilhan Omar, shit that you're suspecting about Ilhan Omar, Donald Trump actually has done 1,000 times more. Not even things that Ilhan Omar has actually done, mind you. Just like even when you make stuff up, when you're like, oh, she obviously made $30 million by being corrupt, and it's like that's not the case. Her net worth grew as a consequence of her marriage to a rich guy, but also Trump actually did do that, and it wasn't to the tune of $30 million. It was to the tune of like $4 billion.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Stay on Elon. Don't go Trump, but Trump.
I am going to do that.
Go do it about
because
Trump.
Your argument now is first of all, I don't want to get into rights and wrongs of politicians' finances. You're telling me Republican congressmen are not corrupt?
You're doing a butt. Okay, got it.
No, I'm just wondering.
Forgiving Ilhan.
I'm just wondering because
just
Patrick,
like have this whining.
No, because
Ilhan Omar amended a congressional financial.
What's that got to do with loving America? You're telling me if people's finances don't have.
Yeah, look. Wait, you grokked it. Her assets, this corrected a major accounting error in an earlier filing that mistakenly listed her and her husband's shared assets as high as $30 million. That's it. That's literally, you grokked it. It says, that's the answer. Mehdi should let him read it and then explain it. Like, Mehdi should have stopped right here and just been like, read what's in front of you. That's literally Gemini, brother. Okay, whatever, dude. I just like saying, I'm a ChatGPT. I'm going to grok it. I'm a numbers guy. I'm going to Gemini this.
Amended a congressional financial
What's that got to do with beloving America? You're telling me people's finances don't have Donald Trump is the most corrupt politician in modern American history. You just said he loves America. Donald Trump is the most corrupt politician in America.
That's your opinion, guy.
He just made $3 billion. No, it's not.
In your eyes.
Okay, Rob, pull up the numbers. Pull up the numbers, Rob. Forbes magazine. How much money did Donald Trump's net worth go up by last year?
Let me ask you.
$3 billion.
Just out of curiosity.
$3 billion. How did he make that?
Are you going to go?
How did he make $3 billion while president?
Are you going to go? Are you going to go and show the same? Wait a minute. If you're going to allow me to rebuttal,
you always rebut with a question.
Are you
noticed that?
If you're going to allow me to rebuttal,
I answered. I said Ilhan loves America.
You're a professional yabba.
I said Ilhan loves America.
Just out of curiosity.
You're the jump around guy. We're talking about who loves America. Now we're talking about politicians.
Are you also going to go?
Look at that line, Patrick. Look at that line. Rob is good.
Can I show you something?
You know, you said capitalists expand, Rob. If you're ever looking for a job, my friend.
Yeah, everybody's been trying. So if you go back here, then what's your argument if you say, look, no, stay on that, Rob, stay on that.
Yeah.
Then what do you say? His first presidency, he lost so much money. Did you ever say that? You never said that. Because that doesn't add to your argument.
But I've always said the second term is the term where he's got no guardrails. He gets to do whatever he wants.
No, but his first term, he lost money.
Okay, but the second term?
What about a second term? Market's gone up. He's made money. Market's gone up. Have you made more money in the last 18 months? He didn't make it from markets.
Do you know what happened on January 19th? The day before he became president, inaugurated?
Tell me.
The Emiratis put $500 million into his crypto fund. You think that was the market going up? They gave a $500 million bribe to Donald Trump. $187 million went straight into Trump bank accounts. Ilhan Omar can work for the rest of her life, do whatever. She'll never make $187 million. Trump made that in one day from the Emiratis. If Biden or Hunter Biden had done it, you'd be up in arms. Now, back to the topic of who loves America.
You said Ilhan Omar loves more than I'm so glad
tell your
you're going to be judged quoted for that.
Please quote me. Let me finish the quote.
And then let's go back to Islam
finish the quote. I will. Ilhan Omar has spent her political career trying to get free lunches for every American child, including the children of MAGA voters. Donald Trump has spent his presidency taking away Medicare, taking away health care from people, taking Medicaid away from people. So yes, Ilhan Omar loves Americans more than Donald Trump loves Americans. And by the way, when she was threatened by a Trump supporter who tried to kill her, he went to prison, tried to kill Ilhan Omar in 2019. She went to the sentencing and she asked for his sentence to be reduced to give him grace. I can't imagine Donald Trump doing that.
Do you know
I do think Ilhan Omar is someone who has actually a very good role model.
Do you know how many endless,
I wouldn't have done that.
Do you know how many endless stories?
You know what's also crazy, actually? By the end of this midterm season, all of these like anti-electoralist ultras that also obviously have tremendous respect for Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, who have been yelling at me for propping up candidates, are going to have like 8 more candidates that they can point to that they love just as hard as Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. And that's what's so ironic about it. That's what's so funny. If you ask every single ultra unconditionally, like if you were to pick 2, 3 politicians that you actually do respect in American Congress, they would all say the same thing. They would say Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. Now there's going to be like 8 of them.
There are of what Trump's done behind closed doors for people. Do you know how many?
Yes, and do you know how many of them are? Do you know how many of them are him screwing people over? Do you know what he did to his niece? Do you know what he did to a baby in his family?
This is all you're gonna do. This is your hit piece, just going on him right now.
I mean, you're doing positive. I'm doing negative. Isn't that the point?
You're building up, man. You're building up Ilhan. Like if there's anybody,
there's no comparison. Anyone who knows Ilhan Omar says she's a good person. All of her friends, Donald Trump's people.
What is
everyone who knows Donald Trump says he's a horrible person.
What is the investigation into her right now?
Why did no one in Donald Trump's cabinet endorse Donald Trump for president second time around?
What is the investigation?
Why did his vice president not endorse him for president?
You know how he is, though. He
Why did his vice president call him Hitler? Why did the HHS secretary call him Hitler as well? That's the other thing that these Republicans do all the time that I find very funny, where they're like, you're calling Trump Hitlerian. You want him to die. It's like, well, you know who else did that? His vice president. You know who else did that? RFK Jr., okay?
He's a guy that he's a team of rivals.
They hate him.
Why did he come back? Why did he come back? Why did he come back?
National security advisor.
Why did he come back? Why did they come back?
Because the Democrats fucked everything up. Joe Biden and Merrick Garland fucked everything up. He should have been in prison.
Whose fault is that?
The Democrats.
Beautiful.
I'm agreeing with you.
But how come
Merrick Garland? I blame 2 people for Donald Trump.
How come unified Republicans?
I blame 2 people for Donald Trump. Merrick Garland and Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell should have voted to convict in 2021 to prevent him from ever running again. And Merrick Garland should have got off his ass and investigated him from day one and not outsourced it to Jack Smith with 1 year to go. And I just do want to come back to the Islam question.
Let's do it.
Muslims love America who live here. According to the polls, according to the Pew polls, 92% of Muslims in America say they love being American.
I don't.
So this is a myth that Muslims don't love America.
No,
and by the way,
I have Muslims who work for me. Right afterwards, come with me. I'll take them to them. If you want to meet.
I love when he does this. He's talking about his Turkish chef, by the way. God, I'm such a Patrick Bet David head. You know his chef is Turkish? He's like, I'm Armenian, and my chef is Turkish. He's a Muslim guy. Very good guy. And he basically parades him around.
So my point is, and their families are worried for their safety right now. Every Muslim in America I know.
They are. I think they feel the safest in America.
Let's talk to you guys afterwards.
I think they feel the safest in America.
Every Muslim I know, Patrick, trust me on this, I spend a lot of time with Muslims. Every Muslim I know is worried about what they're going to do. They have a plan B. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go live? If it becomes intolerable.
Go ahead and leave America. How come they don't?
Because they love America.
That's the point. What if they feel the safest?
No,
here?
but what if it's changing, right?
But if.
You don't think
12 years to
hold on, but Jews feel the
left?
same way, Patrick. You know that, right?
To do
Jewish
what?
communities right now saying we don't feel safe in America. You know this. They're saying it every day.
Sure.
They're saying where synagogues are being attacked, we're being demonized. So Muslims feel the same way, especially when a mosque is attacked by two Nazis.
Yeah.
Republicans can't even bring themselves to condemn it. Do you know that Ted Cruz wouldn't even condemn it until I called him out
about it the
on
day
social media? You did. I'm talking about Republican Congress.
I can't speak on their behalf, buddy. I'm not them.
No, good. But
I'm speaking on my behalf. Whatever they do is their position.
But on your show too, Patrick, come on, you did a whole thing, I watched it, of you obsessing over this Times Square prayer. Like this is some act of domination. Why are Muslims not allowed to pray in Times Square? Why are Jews allowed to do Hanukkah?
Expansion.
Why is Jews allowed to do Hanukkah? Hindus do Diwali.
You know what my argument is
Catholics
against that? You know what my
Easter.
argument is against that? Guess what my argument is against that? You ready?
Go on.
It's going to go back to something you don't like.
Please.
You ready?
Go on.
Here we go. If Muslims do a better job expanding, they deserve everything they get.
But it's not expanding. It's
No,
just the
but it
prayer in
is
Times
though.
Square.
No, it is
It's
though.
changing the subject.
It is though. If Muslims, I'm a capitalist to the core, meaning if you beat me, guess what I do? You got to tip your hat. I don't know if you follow basketball or not.
What if people aren't trying to beat you? What if they just want to pray in Ramadan?
No, but they're visual. You want to go watch how many of the videos like long term we're going to come America? Sure,
have
have
you seen the Christian prayers at the National Mall? They're not the same.
No, you can't.
Have you seen? Are you kidding me?
What is this? Does he actually believe this? He must, right? Like I guess there are people out there who are just like running around constantly thinking like every Muslim wants to kill America. He's just like, yeah, you don't understand, Mehdi. You're Muslim, I'm a Muslim guy. You're a Muslim, I'm a Muslim guy. I know how it is. All of you people are always plotting to do attacks on U.S. soil. You want to do 9/11s.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Patrick, you need to get out more. You're on the right-wing algorithm too much. You watch Ilhan Omar videos, Times Square videos
at one point,
all day long.
Do you know at one point I was sitting down with Muslims trying to find out what things we have in common? Okay? And
Patrick Bet David does a sit down with Muslims to find out what they have in common. You know what the answer was? Nothing.
Literally, I was bringing Muslims to sit down and talk about them. You know why? Because to me, the LGBTQ, specifically on the T side, was getting a little too far. And
What are you saying? What could possibly be in the papers in front of him that he's holding up right now? He's like, this is the time when I went and saw a Muslim, and the Muslim told me he hates America. What do you have to say to that, Mehdi?
I think deep down inside to the core, you're there, but you can't say it publicly because it's politics for you over what your religion believes.
Oh, my favorite dumb guy is like, oh, you also secretly agree with me, but you can't say it. Okay, good argument, man.
As a Muslim, what is the Muslim position on LGBTQ?
There is no one position. Islam is not a monolith, but yes, in general.
Oh, let me read it.
Hold on, let
you.
me finish.
Go for it.
Come on, bro, you're Shia. Talk about how Iran is more woke on trans rights. Perhaps a bit too woke.
Islam in general, obviously, I'm not an Islamic scholar, but Islam as traditionally practiced, like Christianity and Judaism as traditionally practiced, is very hostile to the idea of homosexuality.
Okay,
theologically.
So we have that in common.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Pew polling. Let me give you some polls because you keep talking about Americans, this and that. So in 2017, Pew did a poll of Americans, and they found that Muslim Americans
I have it.
were
I
more
love that poll. Yeah, he's right.
likely
He
to
has
say
it.
52%, I think
He's
it
a
was, of
numbers
Muslim
guy.
Americans said that
He's a numbers
homosexuality
guy.
should be accepted in society. You know how many white evangelical Protestants said that? 34%. 34%.
Protestants was 34%.
34%.
I have that data.
So Muslims were more accepting of homosexuality.
Yep.
Rob, I love you, Rob. They were more accepting of homosexuality than white Christian evangelicals, right? So my question then is, when you talk about integration, assimilation, America is a liberal country. It's a pro-gay country,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not. Muslims, and by the way, we ran a poll.
don't-
We ran a poll this year. One last point, Patrick. We ran a poll earlier this year
Yep.
at Zeteo from Opinium. They polled Muslims in the UK and the US. Guess what they found? Muslims in the UK and Muslims in the US support democracy more than non-Muslim Americans and non-Muslim Britons. Muslims in America and Britain support gender equality
Yep.
more than non-Muslim Britons and Americans.
May I read
So for
you
your
something?
viewers, I just want to make clear, you've been lied to about Muslim attitudes. I'm giving you the
Oh,
numbers.
but let me ask you, what was your position a few years ago on homosexuality?
My position when growing up was very hostile. That's
Very
yeah.
conservative, not hostile, probably very
hostile.
conservative.
It was hostile.
Okay, it was conservative.
Yeah,
Okay,
I've
so
been
if
very
I go to
and
some
I've
of the,
talked about how I've evolved on that.
okay, so if I go to some of the countries with homosexuality, 10 countries, homosexuality is a legal punishment
Yeah.
in at least death penalties, legal punishment in 10 countries. Afghanistan,
Yeah.
Saudi, Iran, Pakistan,
yes,
Yemen,
we know.
Qatar, Somalia.
What's the point?
UAE, Nigeria. This is where they're coming from. Okay, so Iran and Saudi, the only two national confirmed to have carried out government-sanctioned executions.
Horrific.
For that. Horrific.
Yeah.
Not one Shia majority nation is for same-sex marriage. Iran criminalizes.
And yet Muslim
Iraq-
Americans are.
Well,
Interestingly.
not at the highest
Because that shows
percentage as you.
integration.
No, not at the highest percentage as you think. I think the part where
More than most white Republicans.
the part where conservatives and Muslims, if you ask me, on why that Muslim vote went from 24% to 31% for Trump is because liberals got so caught in this LGBTQ community.
part of it.
Let me finish the thought. That I brought them here to sit down and talk and say, look, you have 2 daughters, I have 2 daughters, I have 2 sons, I have 4 kids. For me, this isn't a position of LGBTQ community or not. I don't have a problem with it. They work for me. I will literally take you to my office right now to meet some of these guys.
I got Muslims, I got gays, I got transgender. They all work for me. Actually, I hired them just so I could point to them at times like this to win an argument.
And give you a tour myself. So you meet some of my staff that I have. It's about the force that was down the throat of kids. It was forcing that we have to sit there and hear what LGBTQ is all about and all this stuff being taught by schools.
I'm not debating that had an impact. It had an impact, by the way, on Latino communities too.
It did.
There's a lot of Latino
and they went
Christians.
conservative. They don't like that.
But by the way, so 2 things. One, I'm not denying that. I said I'm the one who brought it up and said it was partly LGBTQ.
Sure, yeah.
But it wasn't the big driver. The big driver was Gaza, right? And number 2,
Well, by the way, just respectfully, we're going to find out if you're right or I'm right in 2028.
I agree.
You understand what I'm
Trend
saying?
continues.
Because
But
we'll
right now, what's interesting
Fair,
is
yeah.
right now, as of right now, 2026, Trump has totally destroyed that coalition. He had a lot of Muslim support, not anymore. He had a lot of Latino support.
know in
It's collapsed.
28.
I know. We'll see
We'll
if
know
it's
in
the
28,
same. Well,
yeah.
we'll also know in the midterms. But yes, that coalition he seemed to have built, that scary coalition for those of us on the left, he's his own worst enemy, Donald Trump. With ICE, he destroyed his Latino support. With Iran, he supported a lot of it, and Israel, he's destroyed a lot of his Muslim support. But I would make a wider point, which is, at the end of the day, and I say this to Muslim communities, you can't vote based just on religion or just on foreign policy. You cannot be single issue voters. As a Muslim American, you need to care about everything in America. You need to care about the economy. You need to care about healthcare. And I think most Muslim Americans do. And I think they make decisions. By the way, the big reason the Republican Party will not win over Muslims or Arab Americans in big numbers is because of the racism, Patrick, fundamentally.
That racism is BS. I don't think
What? You don't think Randy Fine's a racist?
Randy Fine's not my guy.
But he's a
Not-
Republican in Florida.
No, he's to me is
You don't think Donald Trump is a racist?
not at all.
When he says to Rashida Tlaib, you should go back to where you came from. She's
if you
from
don't
Michigan.
like America, go back.
She's born
I
and raised in
understand,
Michigan.
but
That's
if-
racist, Patrick.
if-
When I grew up, you
to
tell
me,
someone to go back to where they came from, you start a fight.
If you don't, listen, we're both
He calls
from the
Somalis garbage.
Dude, we're both
That's racist.
You
And
lived
know
in
it.
UK. I've lived in Middle East, but we're both from the same area region. We are what a lot of, if we walked in the streets and say we don't have a name, they will look at us in maybe a different way than they do the average guy. You're not a white guy, I'm not a white guy. Okay. When you're talking about all this stuff, you said Muslim, people coming in here. I'll tell you another thing that is a concern of mine. I want to know what you're going to say about this. When it comes down to age for marriage in some of these countries, give your rebuttal. I'm curious. So if a person comes from a country, or like in Sudan, the minimum age for marriage is 10 years old. Are you for that? I don't think you are. In Iran, the legal age for marriage is 13 years old.
Okay.
As young as 9 with parental consent. Are you for that? I'm certain you're not, okay? And I'm not saying you're taking these positions. Yemen, no legal
What is your
minimum
point?
wage.
I don't know where you're
to it.
going.
I'll ask you the question. Yemen, no legal minimum age. 1/3 of women 20 to 24 will marry before 18 years old. Iraq parliament in 2024 moved to allow age girls to marry as young as 9 years old under Jafari school law. Pakistan, 1.9 million child brides in Pakistan, 6th highest in the world, okay? By the way, the good news with that, I want to give that credit as well. Islamabad, Capital Territory, just changed the minimum age to 18. Good for them. They're making progress. Nigeria, over 50% of girls married before the age of 15.
What's the question, Patrick?
This is the question. Culturally, if you're coming from this environment to America, notice I didn't say every other country that's coming from Muslim. If you're coming from that culture to America, does that coincide? Because if you've lived there for 30, 40 years, and these are the values you've lived with, then you're coming here, there's a clash with the Western ideology. What do you say to that?
I would break this man's brain. Ilhan Omar breaks this man's brain. Ilhan Omar is a hijabi Somali woman and is infinitely more woke than Patrick Bet-David. And so am I. I grew up for the first 18 years of my life in a Muslim country. What the I mean, these guys care about anecdotes more than anything else, which is why I'm saying like it would be, I guess, somewhat powerful. But I guess in his mind, he would say, oh, you're doing this to fake. You're a phony. You secretly also believe it. Like he implied Mehdi is also secretly anti-trans, but he can't say it.
I will say two things. Number one, all of the social sciences show that when people move to a country within a generation, max 2, they do assimilate to local values. And I just gave you the numbers for it. Muslims in America and Britain who come from dictatorships support democracy more than non-Muslim Americans in Britain. The percentages are there. American Muslims are more open to homosexuality and the acceptability of homosexuality, having lived in the US, than white Christian evangelical Protestant. So the data shows that within generations, they do not, they do adapt or do assimilate, integrate, whatever word. These are all loaded phrases. And by the way, Europe and America are different, by the way, don't forget. Europe is a very secular place. So when you're moving there, it's actually very different. America is actually more hospitable to Muslims coming from those places because we are still very much a Christian country with very conservative attitudes. It's funny, Rob's on duty, I hope still. I got a request for Rob here. You mentioned you're giving me these child bride ages. Rob, pull up American states. How many of the states in America had child marriages until very recently? What's the age of consent? What's the lowest age of consent 15, in American 16, states till very recently? So when you're already at 13, 14, 15, until very recently, American states, that's now. You can see there are states that until very recently was 12, 13, 14. So America maybe doesn't get to give so many lessons on some of these things. And by the way, what is the biggest scandal in this country right now? It's the pedophile who was protected by the President of the United States. Donald Trump not just protected Jeffrey Epstein after lying and saying he would expose.
There are so many places I can go with that.
Please.
But I won't.
He also gave Ghislaine Maxwell a kind of a soft ride in prison. He also was going to appoint Matt Gaetz, a man who was accused by the House Ethics Committee of sleeping with a 17-year-old. He was going to make him Attorney General. Yeah. So please don't give lessons to other people now about ages of consent. Not you personally, but anyone in America. Let's clean up our own house first.
The question isn't about cleaning up our stuff. God knows we have a lot of stuff to do. FYI, when people start talking about Epstein, I can guarantee you no conservative podcaster has spoken about Epstein more than us. I guarantee, just so you know, we're not one that they sit there and say, hey, we love, because they're not going to talk about Epstein. Go online on YouTube when you leave here to just gain the credibility. Say,
you're talking about cultural clashes. That's the point you're making. There's a clash of cultures. I'm saying there's not.
You and I are sitting here, we're talking. Can you and I coexist?
Yes.
Do you think you and I can live in the same community?
Yes.
Do you think you and I can live in the same?
I mean, you live in a much bigger house on a richer street.
You're a pretty rich guy, bro. You're a multi-millionaire, Doug. Like, don't act like you're a small timer.
I read on the way here in a Spectator that you have a $75,000 a week house in the Hamptons. I can't get near that.
You believe this stuff? This is all fake.
It's not true.
That they
not
tell
true.
you.
He loves it.
You're so funny.
Fucking got his ass. Fucking got his ass. Hey, you rich. Hey, yo.
Vinny, we have to make sure we don't post pictures this summer where we're staying at because Mehdi is going to be talking shit to us.
$75,000 a week. Well done.
Yeah. Where were we at? We were talking about, okay, you and I can coexist.
Yes.
Why?
And my parents are from India, which has a lot of backward things going on.
But
a lot of child
you
marriage.
got a little bit of UK. You went to a good school. You went to Oxford. You
who
came through
who made the school happen? My parents from India.
Your parents.
They paid for it. They worked hard for it.
But
so they were immigrants.
It's an FYI. But, okay.
But what if Patrick Bet David in the 1960s said my dad shouldn't come
Do you
because
want me
he's
to
from
go
India?
to a different place? Let me take you to this next place. You ready? Okay, let me go to the next place. What religious groups that come here make the most money in America?
No idea.
Of course you do. Hinduism, number one.
Yeah.
$166,000.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, great.
You know that number. Yeah, great community.
Now being attacked by right-wing Republicans
Not
in Texas.
me.
No, I didn't say you. I said right-wing Republicans.
I'm telling you my
in Texas.
position. I know. And I have some, by the way, I have guys that are working here that say that. That's their position. But
That's
we
why
can
the Republican Party's racist and you shouldn't defend
No,
race.
we sit and we debate because we think that's the right way to do it. Because your book is called what?
Yeah, I'm
Win
open
the
debate.
Art of
Good
Debating
faith debate,
Argument.
not
Put the
racist.
link below, Rob, so if people want to go support the book, they have it. Watch this. Hinduism, $166,000, $200,000. Pretty good. It's contributing to society, right?
I'm a great admirer of the Hindu community.
Judaism, you're supportive of them? $115,000. You think they're net positive for America?
Yes.
Okay. Protestants, 82,500. Orthodox Christians, 78. Catholicism, 74. Islam, 68. Right? Atheists are 85. Okay, they're making $85,000. And then you got, what is it? Buddhism. Man, that's a bad shout out to Buddhists. Because you guys got to figure out a way to make money, guys. This is like serious stuff right there. They pray a lot. Yes. So to me, this isn't about skin color or racism. Like when I meet Indians in America, I got to tell you, the ones I've met, they love America. They actually love living here.
I get what you're saying, Patrick, but and this is a slight problem for you because you say I'm not speaking for Republican Party, but you are in the right-wing media space. There's no debate about that.
I'm not debating that.
Yeah, but you're an immigrant from Iran who came in as a refugee.
I have a slightly different view than they do. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you say Hinduism, great. Okay, go tell the Texas Republican Party. Go tell conservatives in Texas.
You know
do
why?
you know, let me finish my point. All these Hindus in Texas, well-off Hindus, they supported Trump and MAGA. And guess what? They're trying to build a temple in Houston, and people are protesting outside saying, take this demonic religion outside. Yeah. I'm no fan of Vivek Ramaswamy, right? I've interviewed him. We had a great clash, but I do admire him as a smart guy. He succeeded in life. He's super patriotic. He's very eloquent. He's running for governor of Ohio. Did you see the clip the other day? Guy stands up in the crowd. Groiper guy stands up, says, Hinduism's a pagan, demonic religion. Why should we have you lead us? This is what the Republican Party, for you to say they're not a racist party, when I'm seeing what they're doing to Vivek Ramaswamy, forget Muslims, what they're doing to Hindus in Texas, what they're doing to Hindus in Ohio. This is a white supremacist party. Yes.
White supremacist.
What's your definition of racism? Is nobody racist?
No one. I think.
What's your definition of racist, Patrick?
May I finish?
Please.
You're raising your voice. Why are you screaming? I'm sitting
I'm
right across from you, bro. Like, let's act American, not Middle Eastern.
You shouted earlier, but yes, Middle Eastern.
Fair enough. Okay. So to me, I think a part of it is, I think everybody has a little bit of bigotry in them, okay? Everybody. And I know it's going to sound like, what are you talking about? I think everybody is a little bit against some community. By the way, it could be as simple as, you're a Red Sox fan, I'm a Yankees fan, I can't stand you. There's no way we can coexist.
Agreed.
It could be you're from Boston, I'm from New York.
Tribalism. People are tribal.
By the way, that's natural.
Agreed.
That's not like, you were a kid, you were part of a gang, you're part of another gang. Hey, we're gonna
attacking a religious minority is not.
So that's that part. The other side is calling. Like if there's one thing, like I brought the what do you call it, Westmore that we're speaking to, and I'm like, you realize, like, for Democrats, why did they lose so much of their support during this period? Let me finish, and you can argue and say we didn't. I think some of the positions they took in COVID was out of control. I think some of the positions they took with LGBTQ, to me, was out of control. Calling everybody racist, a little too much. Calling everybody a bigot, a little too much. Calling and making everybody.
It's really funny that first he said everyone is racist, and then he's like, you know what the real problem is? Calling everybody racist. I feel like the real problem is the one that you admitted. If you truly believe that, yeah, everybody's a little racist. Who cares? Fuck it. Stop calling everybody racist. That's the real problem.
I feel like I'm a bad person.
You need to read the book, my friend. These are all straw man. Calling everybody a racist. I was very specific. I said Randy Fine's a racist. I said Donald Trump's a racist. And I said the Republican Party's indulged racism and white supremacy. I can stand by those with receipts.
Republican Party that racist.
If a party institutionally allows for racists to take power and do racist policies, what should I call it?
Oh my God.
Okay, let me give you one. Can I give you an example?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, when you came to America, you came in 1990?
Yep.
In 1990, I checked before I came here. George Bush Sr. was president.
Yes.
And he allowed in 122,000 refugees, of which 4% were from the Middle East. So you and your family, how many came from your family, if you don't mind me asking?
Me, my mom, my dad, my sister, four of
So
us.
4 of you were
But my dad came in 84 because my parents got a divorce, and then he came back in 1990 separately.
Okay, so
We
3
waited-
of you came on that
We did, yes.
as
We got
vetted
we waited,
refugees
we
from
went
Germany.
to Germany. From
Yep.
Germany, we came.
I read it,
yes.
story. You
Yep.
came in 1990, so you're part of the lucky 5,000 people
I
from
agree.
the Middle East.
I feel like I'm the
who got it.
luckiest man alive living in America.
Okay, and that was George Bush Sr.
Yes.
I'm not a man I'm a fan of, but he did that.
Sure.
He understood the response,
Yep.
as did Reagan.
Yep.
You know, Donald Trump since October has allowed in 6,069 refugees only. Not 122,000, only 6,069. And do you know that 6,066, 99.9% of them are from white South Africa? Only 3 are Afghan.
Dude.
That's the numbers.
Are you serious?
That's a fact.
Okay, you're serious.
Pull it up, Rob. 6,000 refugees, all of them are white South Africans fleeing from an imaginary
The
genocide.
previous guy brought more people than
120.
4 presidents combined.
Hold on, he brought in 125,000
He's trying to say, guys,
Can I finish?
time out. Let's get
100
jobs for our people.
No, we're
a
talking
little
about
bit.
refugees. Refugees are different. It's not about jobs. Refugees, your
Give me
international
specific,
obligation.
like you're talking
The refugee
H-1B,
program.
green card, which one are you talking? Okay,
Refugees,
got it.
vetted
Yeah.
by, the vetted program.
Sure.
Where you're vetted abroad. You check you're not a terrorist.
You fucking idiot. You. He's talking about you and your family specifically. Okay? That's who he's talking about.
All of that stuff.
That's
what
what we
happened
did.
to you?
Yes, 18 months
Biden did
we
it too. He allowed 125,000 people. He upped the cap.
Okay.
Trump dropped the cap with Stephen Miller to 7,500.
Okay.
And since October, he allowed in 6,069, according to the
I
Washington
want to know
Post.
where you're going with this.
He allowed in only 3 Afghans and 6,066 white people from South Africa. The 2 things I would say about that. Number 1, that's racist. You let in 99.9% of your refugees are white people who are not refugees, and you don't allow people from Iran, Iraq, Syria. And the second point is, Donald Trump wouldn't have allowed you into this country, and yet you sit and support. You voted for him 3 times. Donald Trump would not have allowed little Patrick Bet David into this country. How do you feel about that?
Kill shot.
So funny.
A genuine question.
You are so
Kill
funny.
shot.
It's a genuine question.
You're so funny. Kill shot, motherfucker. He's right. Bitch, you ain't white. You're a goddamn refugee too on top of that. Who fucking talks about refugees being scary coming from Muslim countries? Fuck you mean? Little Patrick.
He wouldn't have let little Patrick Bennett.
No Iranians were allowed in this year. So how would you have gotten
You know what would have happened? We would have waited 1 more year, 2 more years.
for a
until we
Democrat
did.
to come and let you in?
Bush Senior.
You're a bitch. That's not true.
Here, let us in. He was a Republican.
for a better
Don't act like
Republican. Okay, for a better Republican.
No, but that's
A non-racist
That's not the
Republican.
point. The part that
That is
you
the
have to-
point. He
it's
did not allow in
It's not.
That's not the point. What do you mean? This is your guy. This is your guy. Your guy hates you. Your guy doesn't want you.
Iranians,
Issues,
Iraqi.
Mehdi, is it fair to say issues are fluid? Things change. Meaning,
No, refugees are an obligation that America has always stuck to until Donald Trump.
what is an issue in 2020 may be different than what's a top 3 issue in 2016, then 2012,
Many.
then 2000.
Plenty.
Yeah, great. Guess what? What did his base want?
Who cares what his base wants?
That's who we voted for. That's
a
who we.
different argument. You're moving. Why are you talking about? Is he racist? I'm giving my evidence.
The-
He stopped all refugees
the-
from coming in from what did he call them? Shithole countries. Itself a racist phrase. And then he allowed in white people.
Would
from
you
South
disagree?
Africa.
Some of these places are shithole countries.
I don't think you call entire countries shithole.
You don't think some places
you
are
think
shithole-
generalizing about an entire place?
You think some places are not
What is
shithole
your
countries?
definition of racism, Patrick? Because you don't seem to think anything's racist. What do you define as racist? If you say there's no such thing as racism, fine, but be consistent.
No, I don't know if.
Nobody's a racist.
No, I don't know if. I think it's a weak argument. I think it's a weak position to say, hey, that guy doesn't like me and my race and where I'm
Great,
from.
but what is your definition of racism? If you don't have one, say so.
To be honest with you, if you want this,
I think if you call an entire country, entire people shit, garbage, low IQ, that's racist. We did that
I
to
think
Somalis.
every single person has an element of racism in there.
That's a different
from 1% to
argument.
99%.
You're moving the goalpost.
But you're asking racism. It's like not liking an ethnicity, not liking a community.
Yeah, not liking an
fair.
entire
Is
country.
that what you're looking for?
Yeah, if he says we're going to only have white people in and not shithole country people in, that's racist. Yes, I think that's racist. If that's not racist, I don't know what is. 99.9% of refugees are white South Africans. Come on.
Do you want to? Okay, Rob, can you do me a favor?
He calls
Can you-
all
can you do
Somalis
me a
low
favor? Can you do
IQ
me a
and
favor?
garbage.
Like this is the
That's
stuff
racist.
that you're saying right now.
It's all true.
Can you pull?
Why? Here's what I don't understand. Patrick Bet David acknowledges everyone's racist and that it's like, I guess, morally vague whether or not it's good or bad, right? So just own it. Like, it's probably the dumbest conversation to have, to be like, oh, I don't think Trump is racist. How do you say Trump is racist? Everybody racist. Trump, not racist. How does that make sense? So everyone is racist except for Donald Trump? You just said everyone's fucking racist except for Donald Trump. Why are you writing for him so hard? The conversation is over. The point, past the point of Mehdi being like, Donald Trump would not have let little Patrick into the country is done. right? From that point on, it's done. It's over. You're a cuck. You're defending a guy who objectively would not let you and your family into the country.
Biden's administration, who was the guy that was the transgender that we're supposed to leave?
That's what you're going to? When I quote the president making racist remarks, you got no comeback?
Wait a minute. What's...
It's so funny. Every time. Do Republicans even try to argue anymore on the points? Like Ben Shapiro, for all of his fucking faults and all of his failures, at least would like entertain the argument. The top dogs in the conservative sphere now just look at you like the whale meme and just go, well, Joe Biden was old. It's like, well, that's irrelevant to the point of contention, but thank you for bringing that up. Straight up, they don't even argue anymore. It's like there's two different rails. The conservative rail is just moving everywhere randomly. It has nothing to do with the actual point of contention.
The argument of DI with you that massively failed. Are you supportive of DI?
I don't know what
what the fuck does that mean? What? Joe Biden, transgender, DEI. What? Please tie this back to the conversation somehow. And the more they get hammered with like actual direct points, the less defensible the conversation becomes, the more unhinged the non sequiturs get. If this went on, I think, for longer than 2 hours and 30 minutes, if it went on for 3 hours, the last half hour would just be Patrick Bet-David grunting. It would just be Mehdi Hasan would be like, here's why Randy Fine is a racist supremacist, right? Here are the facts as to why Randy Fine is racist, right? Or is Israel first, whatever, right? And then Patrick Bet-David would just respond by going, and then maybe by some stroke of good luck, he could accidentally arrive at a talking point. I don't know, not even a talking point, just a thing. Biden old. Look over there. Pull up the numbers. Look over there. Biden is old.
What's your definition?
Are you supportive of DI?
I don't play. This is not right-wing bingo.
No.
Your words mean nothing to me. I'm from outside the right-wing media chamber. DEA is meaningless.
Guy, I talk to guys on the left-wing side. Like, what do you
see? But Mehdi let him get away with it. Don't let him get away with it, man. Come on. It's off the fucking rails. Yeah, Patrick Bet-David, Iranian style, doing mosaic defense like the fucking IRGC, bro. Yeah. I guess, you can get the boy out of Iran, but you can't get the IRGC out of the boy, God damn. He just said, fuck it, we're bombing. Fuck it, we're bombing Dubai. Fuck it, we're bombing Bahrain. That's what he keeps doing. He keeps slamming the bomb Bahrain button for no reason. Oh my God. What does the market think about this debate? Oh, everybody fucking thought Mehdi destroyed him.
You think I just talk to right-wing people?
No, but the way you say DEI and the transgender guy from Biden and Ilhan Omar, this is like right-wing bingo, Patrick.
Is this a good pick?
Yeah, Rachel Levine, I interviewed her on my show.
Was he phenomenal at what he did?
I'm sure she was very good at her job.
So you think
what's that got to do with Trump being racist towards Somalis?
You think
Patrick, you need to read the book.
Wait a minute.
Because in the book I deal with people like you.
This is what you do for a living. The difference with
you are deflecting.
This is not
Donald
deflecting.
Trump says all Somalis are garbage, low IQ people. Is that a racist statement?
Allow this to come to you.
Rachel Levine.
Do you think?
I'm going to answer your question.
Do you think this person was hired because they were the best person for a job or because he was playing politics?
Well, Rob,
that's a form of racism.
Rob, I'm going to read the second paragraph. Levine is a professor of pediatrics and psychiatry at Penn State College of Medicine. Previously served as a Pennsylvania physician general. So I think Rachel Levine is more qualified to work in the health department than Robert fucking Kennedy Jr., who has zero qualifications. You think RFK was hired for his medical qualifications?
You think?
No, Patrick. Do you think RFK Jr. was hired for his medical qualifications?
By the way, do you know how many people previous to him were doctors?
Do you know was RFK hired for his medical credentials? Yes or no?
RFK was hired because he was making the arguments.
Rachel Levine is a professor of pediatrics.
No, wait a minute. But you're saying RFK is not qualified for his job?
Not to be health secretary. No.
By a mile, I take
conspiracy theorist who doesn't even understand basic medicine.
You take a transgender to be this job, then
you think transgender people don't have intelligence?
No.
Is that a new attack on
no, you see what you're doing now? You see what you're doing now?
Yes, a credentialed transgender person is infinitely more qualified. The question is this, okay? Here, debate Lord Mehdi. You should have just straight up been like, You're literally about to die. You got shot in the gut. Okay? There's a bullet inside of you. Okay? In front of you are two people. One is an actual decorated doctor. Okay? Went to medical school, did the residency, been a doctor for 10 years. That doctor is transgender. The other person is actually Robert F. Kennedy. Let's do that. No qualifications, didn't go to med school, loves crystals. Which one would you choose if given the opportunity to save your fucking life? That's it. There's no way that he's going to be like, oh, I'm picking RFK Jr. That's just not happening. That won't matter. Patrick Bet David won't answer that question or any other question. Yes, a non-answer to that question is an answer to that question, chatter.
Gender person.
You're playing. See, the difference between you and I, no, I didn't go to Oxford and do debate 24/7 to see this as my life.
I gave you hard evidence of Trump's racism, and you said, Rob, pull up the transgender woman. That's what happened. Everyone watched you do it. But I said Trump allowed in 99% white people.
The point is, the previous guy picked people because of color. If there is any party that's
I'm not even
racist,
asking about that.
Was the previous guy, because they kept saying
that.
black this,
I'm not even
black
asking
that,
about that.
black this many female, this many transgender.
Trump did the same.
The left is the party of the racists.
Even if I concede that, it's irrelevant to my point that Donald Trump has blocked refugees like yourself. Patrick Bet David would not have been allowed into America
find a way to get
under
here.
Donald
You don't
Trump.
know me
You would have
well.
come in illegally.
I would have
You're
came here
pro-illegal immigration.
You're so
This
funny.
is so interesting
I would
today.
have made it here,
Pat,
buddy,
you heard it here.
legally.
You're going to clip Ilhan
I
Omar,
would've
clip
made it
that.
here legally.
Patrick Bet David said if he
Post
wasn't allowed in
it, have some
illegally,
fun with. You
he
see,
would come in illegally.
That's awesome. By the way, he does not realize that that's like the common immigrant story that he rails against all the time. He's not even making that as a joke. Okay? He's not even saying that as a joke. He just like genuinely doesn't understand that he is genuinely incapable of putting himself in the shoes of others, even if this situation is one-to-one comparable.
Difference between you and I, this doesn't bother me. I understand the game we're playing. I understand the conversation.
I'm not here for a game. I just said to you earlier, this stuff has real-world consequences.
Oh, this stuff has real-world consequences.
Three Muslims just got killed
this stuff has real-world
in a mosque
consequences.
in San Diego because Republican Party racist rhetoric. And do you know what? Republican congressmen couldn't even condemn it. I assume you condemn what happened in San Diego.
We 100% condemned it.
But you know, Republicans wouldn't do it until they were forced to do it. Brandon Gill was asked on the congressional corridor. I'm not asking you to speak. I'm telling you it's bad, right? That what they did, not condemning.
But do you realize you think it's also bad that everything we had to hear in 2022 with Biden getting elected was about how many black female candidate leadership team we're going to have?
Diversity is a good thing.
No, it's not.
Yes,
it's based on leadership. When he was president, we're going to find a way to have this percentage. Let me finish. This percentage of pilots got to be female and black. And by the way, Hollywood, you want to go to Hollywood, what standards they created? Do you remember the Hollywood standards? In order to win an Oscar.
That's not true. That's
Can you
bullshit.
please pull
debunked.
that?
The whole,
Can you pull that up, please?
Elon Musk propaganda. This has been debunked a million times. A million times.
What time are we
at
right now?
I got a flight to catch soon.
That's what I'm saying.
But this is an important conversation because I need you to concede that 99.9% white refugees from South Africa is a racist refugee policy.
Zero. I got
not allowing people in from Afghanistan and Syria.
Next time you come in, don't book a flight afterwards so we can go 4 hours because I'm enjoying this.
Next time you're coming on my show, we all heard you agree to my invitation. I hereby invite Patrick Bet David. You can bring Rob with him. If you need support, bring Rob with you.
So funny.
But we'll have you on.
We'll have a good time. Let me wrap it up with some one-word answers, and then let's go from there. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Since you already brought him up, I'll bring it up. So I'll give you a name.
Oh, Rob has just proved me right, by the way. 2 of 4 DEI standards. You don't have to. It's not something you have to tick some boxes.
What do you mean 2 of 4 DEI standards?
Pull up the standard.
Yeah, you have to have 2 of 4 DEI. They even said you have to have a underrepresented racial ethnic groups. An ensemble cast of at least 30% represent from 2 underrepresented. Some of them even disability.
First of all, diversity is a good thing, especially on screen.
Stop it.
I know you don't like that. I know it's a bad word. D-word is a bad word. Your people are like clutching their pearls.
You know why you're here?
All the valuetainment viewers are clutching their pearls because Mehdi said diversity.
Do you know why I'm talking to you? Do you know why I'm talking to you?
Because you needed to hear from me that you wouldn't be allowed into America if Trump was president.
Do you know why I'm talking to you?
You would have to come in illegally. That's
Mehdi, do your shtick. I'll let you finish, and then I'll say. Do you know why I'm talking to you? Why do you think I'm talking to you?
Please tell me.
Because you're good at what you do.
I appreciate that.
That's why you're here.
I appreciate that.
Imagine if I said, hey, Rob, moving forward, listen, we need 3 disabled, 2 black, 4 gay, 5 this.
I know you need to tell your audience.
No, I'm not doing
that. In fact, the person who does that is Hegseth right now. He's literally blocking black women and women from becoming generals and admirals.
You are so obsessed with Trump just asking for a job, bro. Just go and say, can I be part of this freaking cabinet?
He wouldn't give it to me because I'm brown.
I'm almost thinking you are so upset. It's like, these girls that are so in love with somebody secretly. It's like that's infatuated with.
I love that's the only argument you have.
Can I go? No, you lost this one, but it's okay.
No, I didn't, because technically you wouldn't be sitting here if Trump was president. You've already agreed.
I'm going to sell your book like no one's ever sold your book.
You are a great salesman.
Go buy this book.
I want to say something nice about you. I'm going to say you're a great salesman. Go for it.
By the way, the biggest part about this thing is I am so proud that we converted another socialist into capitalist. That is probably the proudest moment to somebody like my own. You did, and I give you credit. I'm so proud of you that you're publicly now a capitalist and you're creating jobs.
You can be a capitalist and a socialist.
Can we do the one-word answers, please? All right. Tommy Robinson.
Bigot.
Nigel Farage.
Overrated.
Sadiq Khan.
Underrated.
Ilhan Omar.
Patriot.
AOC.
Presidential.
Interesting. J.D. Vance.
Fraud.
Marco Rubio.
Little.
Trump.
Little Marco.
Okay, I got you.
I want to quote my man, Trump.
I had respect. Newsom.
Dude, he's like a kid. Dude, I swear to God, conservatives are so funny, dude. If you do that's why me wearing the Trump hat was such a good way to diffuse any conversation, like any heat off of any conversation. Like, they love when you make a mention of their God. That's why I carry this shit around all the time, okay? When you make any mentions to Donald Trump, all of a sudden, because they've decided in their worldview that you can't even mention Donald Trump, he's Adolf Hitler, like blah blah blah. That like if you crack a joke in the direction of Trump, that's like where you recognize his existence without immediately saying he's bad, they straight up melt like butter, bro.
Although Marco Rubio could be your president, by the way. Newsom.
Slick.
Interesting.
They're like Muslims, the white people showing interest in Islam. Yes, you're right. The Ummah loves a white boy that's like, oh, I say inshallah, I want to learn a little bit about Islam. And in the same vein, MAGA loves when a libtard is like even a little bit interested with Donald Trump, like even joking around about Donald Trump, but not in a negative way. Oh my God, they melt.
Idiot.
Bezos.
Spineless.
Spineless.
What's the point of having fuck you money if you never say fuck you? Just rolled over for Trump.
So you just want him to
He doesn't like Trump. I prefer the people who love Trump. I prefer the true believers.
Yeah.
These people who just hate Trump privately but roll over for him,
yeah.
Can't stand him.
Spencer Pratt. Joe Rogan.
Enigma.
Yeah,
I don't know what to make of him. Sometimes I'm like, interesting. Sometimes I'm like, what an idiot.
Have you guys ever done anything?
No, I've never done anything.
Well, you would do it though.
Would I go on Joe Rogan's show? There's a time when I said 100% yes. Now, maybe. I'd come on PBD.
Yeah.
I want to reach new audience.
Why did you say you wouldn't go? You said to Bassem you wouldn't go on a bunch of different podcasts.
Yeah, I didn't say I wouldn't. I said I struggle. Like Fox. I don't go on Fox. Maybe I should change everything. I've tried to have a hygiene rule. I talk about it in the book. Maybe I've just abandoned my hygiene rules.
I think you should go everywhere. I think you should
It's a tricky argument. There's pros and cons.
Do you know why?
There's pros and cons.
What's the con?
The cons are platforming people who don't deserve the legitimacy of mainstream platforms.
Okay,
that's a real.
So you're such a big deal. Like we shouldn't go to all these other places because.
No, like if I go on Fox, I'm basically telling people that's a legitimate news organization. I don't believe it's a legitimate news organization. It's a propaganda channel.
All right. Okay.
I don't want to be part of that.
Bibi.
Criminal.
Biden.
Criminal.
Hillary Clinton.
Annoying.
I'll finish with that one.
Wow.
So we'll finish with Hillary Clinton. She got a lot of credit, folks. This was a good conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Go order his book. Win the art of debating every
That's a horrible
argument.
Cover.
Win every argument.
I love that cover, but it can be misread. Win every argument, the art of debating, persuading, and public speaking.
We'll
and I've even persuaded.
Yeah, what the fuck is that cover, dog? Jesus Christ. All right, that was good. That was good fucking, don't miss the handshake.
Patrick today,
Mehdi,
he needed to be an illegal immigrant to get into Trump's America.
I enjoyed talking to you. I appreciate you for coming out and taking the time.
Thank you for
Thank you, brother. Yes. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Oh, man. Bye-bye. I was value-tained. I can't believe I watched a 2-hour debate, dude.